but I don't even think it is. This is more kind of par for the course of what we had expected previously.
मैं कब से स्ट्रीम ऑन करके बैठा हूं, कोई देख ही नहीं रहा मुझे.
Coming out swinging early into Rondo. Now yesterday obviously they really did start to hit a good form.
मैं कब से स्ट्रीम ऑन करके बैठा हूं, मैं कह रहा हूं कोई बंदा क्यों नहीं देख रहा मुझे.
On Rondo, you see they are one of these teams that's willing to just get involved with the action early. Again here already building themselves 4 elims to play off of. Surprised though to see that GOAT team still quite quiet.
टॉपजी की तरफ से एक नॉक हुआ टीटी का, आई थिंक मेटा का एक नॉक हुआ. सॉरी,
I was curious if when we got into Rondo that would change for them, as historically they were a bit more aggro back in the club open. The lesser teams.
अरोरा का भी एक नॉक है जो. अस्सलाम वालेकुम ब्रो एरिन. वालेकुम अस्सलाम, वेलकम टू स्ट्रीम. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं ठीक, आप कैसे हो? मैं कब से स्ट्रीम ऑन करके बैठा हूं, तकरीबन मुझे 7 मिनट हो गए हैं, लेकिन कोई मैसेज ही नहीं आ रहा किसी का. बाद में मुझे देखा कि वो पब्लिक ही नहीं हुई, लाइव गो ही नहीं हुई.
So I'm seeing something quite troubling in the leaderboards. Avalanche still have
थोड़ी स्ट्रीम बढ़ा देता हूँ
on their 3 members.
बिट्रेड वगैरह.
And even one of their players was taking a lot of damage. I don't know, they might get eliminated very soon if they don't get the res, if they don't
6 किलो हो चुके हैं. क्या बात है किनू. कल कैलकुलेशन स्टेज का ये टॉप 1 था भाई. 3% इन टॉप 3 वो. यस ब्रो, नाइस वन यार. किनू वहाँ पे नॉक हुआ है, लेकिन मे भी बच जाए. ओके, एटॉमिक नीचे है. डॉक शाही रेव हो गया वो, ठीक है. वालेकुम अस्सलाम, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं ठीक ठाक भाई. जो भी आ रहे हैं यार, ये इधर चैट इधर ना कर दो, ये चैट इधर कर दो, खुद को उधर ना कर दो इस तरह से.
There we go. Doc up to his old tricks early on, then at least with the elims.
गुड को थोड़ा छोटू ना कर दो, छोटू इधर ना कर दो.
Back to full power. I was having a quick glance over towards the map feed, but I haven't got the reading glasses on Max, so I couldn't quite spot out where that solo.
आती वैसे उल्फन फाइनल होगा. लेट्स सी. यार सुबह 10 बजे हैं, 10 बजे आ जाना सारे. बस लीग में क्या हिसाब है ये पीएमजीओ का? यार ये आज से नॉकआउट स्टेज है, 3 दिन का नॉकआउट होगा और 4 टीमों ने जाना है फाइनल्स में डायरेक्टली. 16 टीमों का होगा लास्ट चांस. और नहीं, मैं देखूं जरा इसके अंदर पीएमसी से लास्ट चांस है कि डायरेक्ट नॉकआउट से फाइनल्स है. हाँ ठीक है. सो 20 टीमें खेल रही हैं इस टाइम. 20 में से 16 4 जाएंगे डायरेक्ट फाइनल्स में, और बॉटम 16 जो होगी वो जाएगी उसके अंदर लास्ट चांस में. 16 लास्ट चांस के मैचेस 2 दिन के होंगे, उसमें 16 टीम खेलते हुए नजर आएगी. उसमें से 12 टीमें क्वालिफाई करेगी फाइनल्स में. 12 नॉकआउट, 4 नॉकआउट से और 12 ये लास्ट चांस से 16 टीमों का फाइनल होगा. और फाइनल से ऑलमोस्ट टॉप 4 टीमों ने जाना है आगे पीएमजीओ मेन इवेंट. क्वालिफाई वो टेकन इट. सो नाइस वन, नाइस वन.
And the circle is not too bad. So genuinely, I think after we have these early fights kind of wrap up, we're going to get to a moment where the game is going to get a little bit.
आज नॉकआउट स्टेज का डे 1 है बॉयज. यार मुझे इस तरह से मजा नहीं आ रहा यार, मजा नहीं आ रहा.
Going down as a typical Rondo, except for D2R that here are going to be losing 2 players out in the open. No nades though for Demo. He's actually very undiluted. Tier 1 helmet, Tier 1 vest, also very damaged.
ये ठीक है.
Just over a clip with the org. So I would say Demo here, sure, taking this fight is a good opportunity to get some early points.
ये ठीक है. उसे ना मजा नहीं आ रहा था, मेरा फेस इतना खोते जिड़ा आ रहा था. बस 3 दिन के मैचेस हैं. लेट्स सी कौन से जाती हैं भाई. चैंपियंस तो फुल बूम बाम कर रही है फाइनल्स के लिए. ईवो जापान फाइनल्स के लिए ईडब्ल्यूसी नहीं है. अच्छा 2 क्वालिफाई फॉर ईडब्ल्यूसी. अच्छा ओए उसने रेफ हील कर लिया उसने. उसे चाकू करवाने गया. नाइस वन. अरे डॉक नॉक हो गया, लेकिन वो लो है, उसे पता है ऑलरेडी. वो ऊपर से आएगा बैंस के तुम.
Top up close, fighting towards the stairs. It's a good peek. Nice confidence on it, but no connection on the
नाइस
shot.
वन भाई साहब। मंगोलियन टीम तो पेलम पाली कर रही है, चैंपियंस के 9 किल अरोरा के 7 किल हैं। और भाई कल ही बोल दिया था अरोरा और सीवन दोनों ने काम डाल देना है। देखो 2 मंगोलियन टीम है, दोनों टॉप ऑफ द लिस्ट बैठी हैं। इसी से अंदाजा आप लगा लो।
We're seeing this a lot back in the club open, right? They're one of these teams that are very willing to play it out this way, especially on Rondo. They know that they have a little bit more flexibility. But this fight in particular, this is the head-to-head between two of our teams, right, that were really neck and neck, constantly in a power struggle, back in that club open, Max. So this could be good to see where we're at a litmus test. I mean, you've got the recall back in for Misha here, so playing it a little bit
Even की
slower,
gun power on top है bro.
full form. But will GOAT team start it off with some elims?
अच्छा डिजिस्टेंट तो सेंटर में बैठी हुई है केजेड की, अच्छा C1 अच्छा जोन ले लेगी। Where is Aurora Gaming?
And you can see that
Aurora किधर है?
split here. There are two players in the front line just trying to create an entry point in the
अच्छा
zone.
ठीक है, अरोरा के बाद भी अच्छा सर्कल है।
Our recall tower, so they were just kind of testing, can we get into the zone? If not, you lose 2 players, you can go for the full reset. If you do get in the zone, you just have your 2 players on the recall tower, regroup with your 2 players in the actual phase 2 zone itself. So it's a good game plan from them. And yeah, Go Team, I would say a complete shift of playstyle compared to PMCO EEU, right? Because look at
जो भी स्ट्रीम पर नहीं आया, स्ट्रीम को लाइक करो, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो यार फटाफट से।
almost disrespecting the lobby, right? They were just looking so confident in that lobby. But here, you can't go away with disrespecting, I don't know, TT Project, Aurora, all of these big names right in this lobby. So of course, if you do one slight mistake, these are teams that are willing to punish you at the drop of a hat. Realistically,
इधर ही लगा देता हूँ साइड पे।
Go, I would say here putting a bigger
ये गोड और डिजिशन का फ्लैग क्यों नहीं लगते रशियन का? यार वो एक कंट्री से नहीं है ना, मसला ये है वो एक कंट्री से नहीं है प्लेयर्स, वो डिफरेंट कंट्रीज के प्लेयर्स हैं। वो आए भी PMCO वाली साइड से है ना, बाकी आए हैं सारे PMNC खेल के, PMNC मंगोलिया, PMNC ये काजिकिस्तान वगैरह, लेकिन वो आए हैं PMCO खेल के, क्लब ओपन खेल के, इसलिए। टच में ENC वालों ने जाती की है, अफ्रीका की 2 स्लॉट साउथ एशिया की है। क्या कर सकते हैं बबुआ? बॉयज फटाफट स्ट्रीम को लाइक करो यार, 35 सब्सक्राइबर्स रह गए हमारे।
Hey man, if this keeps up, we might as well rename some of our different groups. We're Group A effectively.
सर्कल दिखाओ, सर्कल दिखाओ।
The capital of Mongolia, mate. Like this is peak.
Okay. यार मुझे क्यों लग रहा है कि शेंग वाली 1080p नहीं है।
Capital of Mongolia in real life.
4K कर दिया, लेकिन फर्क कोई नहीं आया।
Did you Google that? Or did you just know that?
No, that's topical knowledge. I'm aware.
Oh, okay.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, जो भी आ रहा है सबको। फटा हो गया। बॉयज 9 किल 7 किल।
Okay, you know what? Geography with Jackie.
There you go.
Yeah. Learning here in PMGO EECA region. As Metacore, decent entry point to the west.
क्या आप जॉब करते हो? नो ब्रो, मैं जॉब नहीं करता। डॉक को कितना मजे का मैसेज आया पॉपअप होके, ये बंदा रिकॉल हुआ है। डॉक ने रिकॉल दिया या डॉक रिकॉल्ड हुआ है? यार इस मैच की प्रेडिक्शन अभी करते हैं, 5th सर्कल में करूंगा। 5th सर्कल में मुझे तो लग रहा है डिजिशन ले जाएगी जिस हिसाब से उन्हें जोन होल्ड किया, लेकिन अभी नहीं।
So Motion also making a mad dash in the play zone. A lot of teams here. The thing is, there's not going to be enough space for all of these teams, so we're going to start losing squads very soon here, Jackie. And actually, as I do look at the leaderboards,
यार जोन दिखाओ।
Not sure when it happened, but they were down for solo for the longest time. They did have a full reset, so good for them. Avalanche are
भाई जिसने अभी तक इंस्टाग्राम का ब्रॉडकास्ट ज्वाइन नहीं किया, लिंक मैंने पिन किया हुआ है, वो लाजमी जाकर चैनल ज्वाइन करो। वहां पे आपको ई स्पोर्ट्स से रिलेटेड क्विक अपडेट्स देखने को मिलेगी। याद आया एक चीज मैंने देखनी थी।
Bodes well for the end of the game for them. We were a bit worried that was going to be kind of a tepid start where you go out. It's always the sick, twisted element of Rondo, Max. I know it's the sort of thing you do. You get into a lobby, thin the herd down to a solo, and then just watch and wait until they recall to farm them for another 4 points all over again. You're a mean man like that, Max. But that's what's happening here. Already damage from downrange.
भाई कितने टीम क्वालिफाई होंगी EWC के लिए? EWC के लिए साउथ एशिया की 2 स्लॉट्स हैं, मैंने अपलोड की हुई है। मीना तुर्की की भी वो
They better reset quickly because otherwise some teams around them, like maybe even TGM in the city, could be looking to claim that real estate for themselves.
यार ये जोन से भी टीम है, ये अल वाली, इसने भी अच्छा वो कर लिया हुआ है।
As motion also looking to be, relatively center of this circle. They got some good cars hidden behind these walls.
जो भी नाम है 9 किल कर लिए, 9 चैंपियन, 4 आर्किड। पहली 3 टीमों के डबल डिजिट्स में जाने लगे हैं किल्स, और नीचे टीम 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 डबल 2 3 2 4 2। वो सालों प्रेडिक्ट करो यार, आप लोग क्या लगता है कौन सी टीम चैंपियन बनेगी यार? प्लीज गाइड कर दो।
Don't over risk things for now. See what you can do to try and keep yourself clean.
यार ये टूर्नामेंट्स का ना कल वो नाइस नॉक, अरे टॉप नॉक हो गया यार। ये हो रहे हैं नॉकआउट स्टेज के मैचेस, वो नाइस वन डॉग ने भाई 2 पिलमपाली कर दिया, 2 नॉक डाल दिया आर्क्रेड के, एक टॉप ने एक डॉक ने। अच्छी फाइट है। किल कंफर्म कर ले। अच्छा डॉक के बाद एंगल बंधेगा नहीं, अरे नहीं यार रिफल नॉक हो गया, अरे डॉक बची। चल ठीक है रेफस, अच्छा टॉप को रेफ दे दिया उसने। नाइस वन। अच्छा किसी और टीम ने नॉक किया मे बी, नहीं टॉपजी ने नॉक किया। ये बच्चा रैप हुआ, बच्चा रैप होते ही काम डाल दिया, बट ठीक है। सारे किल कंफर्म करो, प्लेयर रैप उठाओ। 10 किल हो चुके हैं ऑलमोस्ट इनके। और ये कहाँ जा रहा है? एमएक्स का प्लेयर था वो, एवे का, वो भी किल उठा रहे, 10 किल। ओ भाई साहब, रेफर्स को रेफ दे दो, प्लीज रेफर्स को रेफ दे दो यार। फिनिश ना होने देना उस जालम के बच्चे को, फिनिश हो जाएगा। नेड आया, अरे नेड आया, क्या पकड़ा है। अरे यार डॉक नॉक हो गया। नहीं यार शिट। यार ये टूर्नामेंट्स का हो रहा है नॉकआउट स्टेज, 3 दिन का नॉकआउट स्टेज होगा, उसमें से टॉप 4 जाएगी डायरेक्ट फाइनल्स में, बॉटम 16 जाएगी लास्ट चांस में। लास्ट चांस 2 दिन का होगा यार, एफएस भी नॉक, लास्ट चांस 2 दिन का होगा, और लास्ट चांस में 16 में से 12 टीम जाएगी। या पिंच हो गए हैं। हील कर ले टॉप जी, गया ये नेट से गया। ओए होए कोई ना 10 किल किए हैं, 10 किल। सच फ्री फायर के बैनिंग की तरह होना चाहिए पबजी का बैनिंग, इंशाल्लाह। बस हम फ्री फायर की भी स्ट्रीम करेंगे तकरीबन 7:30 के करीब।
Obviously, yesterday you were saying, Aurora, a very dominant team. They should out stage at the bare minimum. Probably your favorite.
चैंपियंस के भी 10 किल हो गए हैं भाई। चैंपियन डर खौफ ही नहीं है इस टीम के ऊपर किसी का। पुश आ गया। बहुत अच्छा नेट। ये नेट करवा कहाँ रहे हैं? अच्छा नेट, अरे नहीं यार भाई, ऊपर से पड़ गई। नाइस, एक नॉक किया उसने। अरे सारे ओपन आ गए यार, यूटिलिटी से लेते इजी था। ये आप लोग इशू तो नहीं हो रहा आप लोगों को यहाँ से?
They need to reset from it with a Nox coming over, so it'll take them a few seconds to recount from that fight and get themselves back up on their feet so they can keep moving, but do still have a duo to contend with.
Oh, this mountain to the west is just so strong. Afterlife, really good hold here from Ravo and Windy. Of course, Windy being one of our top, actually the top fragger, right, of Calibration.
Yeah.
I think they got 11 eliminations over the course of 4 matches played.
मैं GG done ने setup कर लूँ.
Like that, it could be looking good, but keep in mind they only have a duo right now, so things are going to get a bit scary if anyone.
EWC जाएंगे टोटल 16 टीम और EWC में किस रीजन की टीम होंगी? पाकिस्तान, नेपाल, बांग्लादेश होगी. EWC में 16 टीम. नो ब्रो, EWC में 16 नहीं जानी. PMGO मेन इवेंट जाना. EWC अभी बहुत दूर है. ये 16 में से जो 4 टीमें 12 टीमें वो जाएंगी और 16 फाइनल्स खेलेंगी PMGO EECA फाइनल्स. फिर वहां से 4 टीमों ने PMGO मेन इवेंट जाना.
They will be claiming the high ground for themselves, but will they be able to do it and survive? That is the question we'll have to answer very soon. TT Project also in a very similar situation, does have to make
Mongolia के 2 slots
in the distance. Currently one of our top squads in terms of elimination. Still got 4 players. Not a team you want to mess with. But Zerich has got the 6x on the org. That could be some good cheeky headshots. And if he finds Nox here, that could really hinder this game for the side of champions. But everyone here, the 9 circle has to go.
और जो भी स्ट्रीम पे नहीं आ रहे हैं स्ट्रीम को लाइक कर दो. टच वाले टिकट्स कहाँ से मिलेगी PMG? अभी अनाउंसमेंट नहीं हुई. जैसे अनाउंसमेंट होगी मैं आपको इंस्टाग्राम वगैरह पे बता दूंगा टिकट्स का.
And those fights are continuing with 27 plus taking shots from the uphill side. Mad Esports unloading, being able to get a few connections on. That's pre-pod from DG77 as well, getting an adjustment shot back over on the champions to make them a little bit more uncomfortable in their reign of domination. They've currently been running on this lobby here on Rondo. So we'll see how that one goes. Obviously for DG, what they're going to be looking like form-wise over the course of today. Thus far, slow burn here on Rondo, but room to breathe potentially into the later game. That's the rotate in as well from TT, pushing up a little bit. Mad still continuing. You can see as we join back over once again, it's another nice connection. Still being able to hit heavy with the org. Even if you're not quite getting these flushes off, you're making it very awkward for the push up to get an angle to really fight you on fair terms. So you should be able to take a clean duel on this one if they keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, the M4 is not played anymore. It's just org all over the place, it seems. And also cover
User can only letters underscore.
Actually, that's going to be a really good cover flare coming out from, I believe that was TGM side. Trying to create a bit of a transition point, an anchor point in the play zone to hopefully commit to their fight between themselves and Mad Esports.
अच्छा मिल गया मजा आने वाला इंशाल्लाह. टोटल टीम्स कितनी है यहाँ पे 20 टीम है नॉकआउट स्टेज में.
Still got 4 players. They still got the cars too, and they're looking to full send it. But you got to be careful. You're too slow. You are going to get naded on out by Mad Esports. Good opening knock. That should be also maybe flushed out very soon. That's some extra chip damage left, right, and center. They're looking so dominant, and TGM just playing so passive, not looking to commit to the fight. And just these nades alone could end up eliminating the entirety of their team. They need to commit. They need to push. If they delay it any further, they might get completely demolished in this game.
You got to give it. Let's see some of that confidence. Ooh, that's one that's going to knock the wind right out of your sails. The nade there landing underneath, blowing them to bits and really leaving them with just a thimble of firepower left. And that convergence from the back.
ज़्यादा ले हार्ड इसी से रीजन है, इसकी सोच छः होनी चाहिए थी. 4 हैं. 4 slots हैं.
You're effectively the cheese between 2 slices of bread, Max. That's not where you want to be.
Yeah, it's not going to be too comfortable for these teams. Come on, Mad Esports. The thing is, they got a pincer situation. I like what 27 Plus are attempting to achieve here by kind of wrapping up this fight and pushing it from the northern eastern edge. They got good ridge to work with. It's keeping them relatively safe, unless maybe TT Project or Champions look to take up that position for themselves later on in this game. Still, we've got 10 teams alive, and I'm telling you, it's going to go down to, I think we're going to go down to 5 teams upon the end of phase 6, going into phase 7. What a knock, though, from Windy, and that is going to be that one flushed on out. Good tower position. Afterlife could actually keep farming eliminations off the back of that spot. That tower is looking really strong in this zone. Aphis going to be spotted out from TT Project, and 27 Plus up to now 8 eliminations, just shy of making it to the big double digits. It's pre-pod. DG77 also locked in their own fight on this tower, but unfortunately Nomi overpeaks it and will get punished.
ये मंगोलिया की 3 टीम्स तो होनी चाहिए थी. 2 ही स्लॉट थी ब्रो मंगोलिया के.
Into the arm of pre-pod there, ready for action. Now the interesting thing as well, they leap themselves up off the back of the wipe they've just got themselves to guarantee some extra points.
भाई जो भी स्ट्रीम पे न्यू आ रहा है स्ट्रीम को लाइक करो यार फटाफट से.
Knocks we had seen from DG77 that have been unconverted up to that point. I feel like the knock rate they've got is going to be through the roof when we check things out stat-wise at the end. So especially now if they start to get themselves into a flow where it's not just damage, it's not just knocks, they're also actually converting.
तुर्की का हो गया PMGO. नहीं तुर्की का हो रहा है, चल रहा है ब्रो, तुर्की का भी चल रहा है.
Maybe they'll be a contender for some explosive stuff.
तुर्की का साथ चल रहा है. रात को उसके मैचेस होंगे. नॉकआउट स्टेज डे 2 है तुर्की का. यार आप लोगों ने मुझे जो मेरे से ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं ना, उन्होंने ना मेरे इंस्टाग्राम के ब्रॉडकास्ट को ज्वाइन किया हुआ. लिंक मैंने पिन किया हुआ, जाके ज्वाइन करो. रेजिस्टेंट चिकन निकाल लेगी. ओके लेट्स सी. 5 किलो हो चुके. नाइस. मेरी प्रेडिक्शन है टीम चैंपियंस के नाम 12 किल कर चुके हैं. जो भी स्ट्रीम पे नहीं आ रहा है स्ट्रीम को लाइक कर दो.
It's phase 6, we're about to go into phase 7. And as I thought, we are indeed down to half the lobby now in just a matter of, 2 minutes? We've got 5 teams remaining. Actually, just one full squad here in Mad Esports. The rest is going to be down to trios or duos, or even one solo in the case of SSE. But DG, they've got this tower. You've got to be careful. It's quite nadeable. One Molotov actually would be huge. I'm surprised Demo's committing to the nades and not the molly. But that's good. Oh, you know what? I take it back. That was it. He gets it right on the money. That's Freezer knocked on out. And now we need the backup. We need all of the champions to regroup on this fight. You need to eliminate them because otherwise, having a team behind you as you try and push into the circle, Jackie, it's not going to work out. We need to see a squad wipe happening.
मैंने रजिस्ट्रेंट का एक नॉक फिनिश कर दिया है और एक नॉक है. किनू जोन में ऑलरेडी आ चुका हुआ है. ओए होए होए.
See if you can really let yourself rip your way through. As it's dire straits out there, limited space to play with, and the squad still breathing down each other's.
उतार दे. अब वो इशू करेगा. मैड वाला प्लेयर इशू करेगा. ठीक है, डिजेस्टर आउट ऑफ जोन हो गया है. वहां से वो मारे ना अपना. दूसरा प्लेयर कहाँ पे है? किनू कहाँ पे गया?
So if you show even the tiniest bit of skin, Demo is dialed in right now. He's been an absolute madman with the elims we're seeing.
रजिस्टेंट को बहुत मुश्किल होगा. ओपन में जोन पकड़ना है इन्होंने. नाइस वन नॉक किया उसने. चल. ओए होए उसने एसएस को भी सपोर्ट किया हुआ है. उधर एक और बंदा है. नाइस. दो नॉक. किन्होंने भी नॉक किया. रजिस्टर का भी नॉक कर दिया. एक मैड का भी नॉक कर दिया. 3 दिन. अच्छा ओके, 1 किल मिला. 13 किलो हो चुके हैं. अरे ये कैसे नॉक हो गया है? मैड के प्लेयर ने नॉक किया है किनो को.
Your location at every single moment in time. Kino, though, actually knocked in the distance. That's going to be quite a hard one. I would even say just give up on him. Unfortunately, he's going to be in the blue possibly relatively soon. So that is even maybe going to be fully.
Koi na.
Esports. Yoink, point taken by Takinov. Up to 6 elims for Mad Esports.
Nice one.
The amount of presence they have in this circle right now. They're just all over the place. Sure, one player did get knocked, but it might be able to get reset.
Smoke नहीं है यार इसके पास कोई.
Takinov will be trying to.
अरे.
He gets punished. That's Demo out for the count.
इसका भी मारा. फिर भी 12-13 किल कर चुके हैं लड़के. Nice one यार.
Also still DG77 and a solo.
यार मुझे टाइम दो, मैं खाने के लिए कुछ लेके आ रहा हूँ. बहुत भूख लगी हुई है मुझे. वेट अ सेकंड बॉयज.
Oh, with the points you've got there already accrued for Windy, even just logistically thinking about trying to get the highest placement points as possible on this one, you're going to want to run the clock, keep your eye on the stopwatch, and then try and worm your way in for that second place. If you can find yourself in a world where Mad take DG77 on headstrong, and one of those two squads are removed first, that's going to be where Windy's eyes light up. He's good in these sort of moments as well. Keen for the clutch, very individually talented and self-sufficient in a late game scenario like this. Mad Esports They've had a lot of uncomfortable battles inside of this Rondo matchup, but how good are they when it comes to a more classic firefight? For DG, they've been warming up too, man. That's what I was saying, right? The amount of knocks they were actually able to find themselves. You could see they were putting good damage out consistently in this match. Now towards the tail end, they've hit a fever pitch. This is Windy's POV. He's seen a little bit of an opportunity again. The minute he plays his cards, though, he's effectively announcing to the lobby which angle he's playing from, loses a bit of that element of surprise. He's got a wall of smoke right now to keep them somewhat guessing on his specific location. So he wants to try and wait until the time is right, but pre-pod with the eyes dialed in, that's Windy gone. So Afterlife removed, we get our final two, but who's walking away with the chicken dinner?
I have to see who's going to be taking it. Not going to lie, Jackie, my feet is frozen, so please take it away.
All right, that's fine. I didn't see the message. We're all good.
All good.
Let's dial back into it and see where it goes from here then. So far, so calm. Nothing unnecessarily being thrown out from either of the two squads. As you've got Mad Esports setting themselves up still, just waiting for the jiggle out. Now, to be fair, the way they were playing it, it was nice connections from the backside. Takhanov was able to get some really good shots downrange on the champions, and it was surprising because you had them basically pinned in position where Demo was able to keep locked on them, right? And he was doing a good job of running interference. Takhanov was looking sick on the peaks. Isolating him could be the key to victory here, and with Freezer taking the fight, instantly gets the chip damage off and that initial knock over onto them. Yeah, okay, here we go. DG77 is starting to cook now, Max.
Yeah, it's going to get real dicey. The nades, I believe that might be right on the money. Takhanov knocked on down. Actually, not by the nade, but Zadira sprayed with the M4. And this is exactly why you hold on to your cover flares until the very end of these matches. And you know what? The solo player of Mad, he's like, no way, but the nades are coming on in. Can they get it? Can they snatch it away? And it will be actually secured by Zadira. That's an extra elimination point. And DG77 securing the first chicken dinner of the knockout stage.
Oh, you'll take that. You'll take that. That is a juicy cherry on top of your delicious dessert chicken dinner to start out the day. DG77, a big meteoric rise in the lobby on that one. They were coasting with about 2 elim points to their name relatively late into that game, and then we saw them hit that tempo. Back-to-back wipes, getting themselves into a great spot and handling some of the biggest quantities on the server in that one as well, Max, right? Taking out some of our leading squads to get themselves that final result. So fair play, that's a big game.
Yeah, they're going to scramble with motion, able to snatch away that tower. And I do think there was a clear mistake made by Champions. I think that them delaying the fight with DG77 opened up an opportunity for them to come back. They were given an inch, they took a mile, and you saw Champions, they couldn't use the rocks as proper cover because you had two teams actively looking at their location. And they just, after, were able to snatch away the position of Champions, and they still had cover flares, Jackie, which in finishes like that, when it's just a flat, open-ended finish, chuck a few down, you've got so many good angles to play for. And in this case, Mad Esports pushed downhill, fully in the open. I believe used most of their utility earlier versus TGM. What are you really going to do? In this case, there wasn't many options they had available for them. And DG77 just had a field day securing every single one of those points. Even the solo player that was trying to deny the point to the blue, but no, they had a different plan in mind. They secure it with that nade from Zadira. And
hello, Digistran, kitne kill hain? 5 8 10 11 किल हैं।
Yeah, this is what I was saying as well, mate. Zadira
मेरी डिजिस्ट्रेशन ने कल भी बैक टू बैक 2 चिकन मार देते हैं तकरीबन।
throughout that whole matchup.
वही मैं खाना खा लूं यार
The
तब
amount
तक।
of knocks he was able to get right then, they started to convert these into actual complete elims towards the tail end. Nomi also looking good for some of the impact. Good distribution of damage though between Zadira and Prepod. Prepod was looking like he was well up for it. We were seeing some of the close quarters combat. That man never looks scared. There's ice in his veins. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he was going crazy on day 1 too versus Mad Esports, right, in farm. He was just constantly trying to force a fight to come his way. He's one of the top new best fraggers in the Eastern European region, in my opinion. Though looking at Nomi, of course, he's a storied player. Actually, 95 elimination. Ooh, getting very close to 100 elims on a Rondo game. It's very rare we get to that point, but we almost got there on that first game. But I think Nomi, we saw that a little bit. I don't know if you would agree or not here, Jackie, but during PMCO EEU, he would tend to commit too much to a fight without any backup from his teammate, and he kind of fixed it towards the end of PMCO EEU. I want to see that Nomi in this tournament. I think it would be a lot more successful in the overall scheme of this event.
No, yeah, I think that's a very true sentiment to raise early. It gives us a good sort of time to telegraph that and see if that's something that will be a trend and has been fixed throughout the running for this tournament. Because if this is the sort of form they're bringing to the table, they're looking really good. Obviously recalibration's one thing, we can forget about it. Meat and potatoes of the action here. The team looked good, and so did Prepod, being selected as our winning player MVP for the team there. Good damage, good overall impact as well. That showed again why we were excited about this guy when he was thrown into the melee.
Not sure who's going to be our top fragger. There might be some players with more than 5 eliminations. I wouldn't be too surprised. But of course, the MVP has to be from the winning team, which in this case was DG77. Actually, that's a really good ratio of headshot. 38%. He was really accurate with those shots. But Windy! It's always Windy, Jackie. I don't know how he does it, but every time for Afterlife, from a new coming team too in this event, he gets 8 eliminations, almost 1.2k damage, then followed up by Prepod, Demo, Kino, and Windy. I don't know how he does it. Like, he is in a lineup of teams that is so incredibly stacked, and yet he prevails. He stands tall in the ending here and gets so many points for his team. So yeah, Windy, new global MVP contender. I know this is early to say, but like, genuinely, his sprays are madness.
Yeah, I think it goes further than that as well, where there is something about Windy where every round of ammunition he has, Max, that'll be converted into damage. It doesn't matter what he's doing. So regularly. He's always firing off rounds, but he's always getting chip damage. The guy is on point. It's really impressive to see. We were ranting and raving about him when we first sort of saw how good he is. Glad to see he's back in the top spot of showing us some of that today. Let's have a little bit of a look at the overall stats then off the back of that opening game and sort of give you the lay of the land of the big point earners. It's actually a tie in terms of the total points that we get brought through for both DG and Afterlife as well there, with just how many elims they had. Only difference being the chicken dinner, of course, as a tiebreaker mechanic that will be a benefit for DG. Towards the bottom end of things, this is relatively similar to what we saw yesterday, other than the fact that you've got Destined to Rise and TT down towards the bottom end of the bracket. Obviously, they were playing some great individual PUBG Mobile yesterday. Still, bit of a shame to see a slower start for Goat and Ark as well. Not really hitting some instant quick form on that one, Max.
Yeah, it was also unfortunate to see some teams get 1 point, 0 points on a rondo. I think there was Metacore, there was KZ Esports, our first chicken dinner team of day one in the calibration stage. So very unfortunate to see such a bad result on rondo. And again, because of the groups rotation, you technically don't have that many rondos to play over the course of these 3 days of knockout stage. So you really want to make them count when you can. But you know what? For that first rondo, they'll have to try and redeem it a little bit more. And I do believe it's kind of a knockoff effect of the plane path that was really rough. You normally would split the hot drop between both Yulin and Neox Factory. In this case, they were just like, you can't reach Neox whatsoever, so everyone's just concentrated in that one city of Yulin, and things just got really hectic. And I would even go to say unpredictable, that you don't know who's going to come out on top because you got so many factors thrown in that equation that you just have no idea what the result's going to be. But hopefully next rondo will be a kind of plane path, maybe even the double plane paths, because those are really fun to see come down.
Exactly. We had it once or twice back in the Club Open. It caused for some exciting moments, so we'll see if that's something that's in the cards eventually. There you go, though. First game wrapped up. Quick thoughts on that one. Any outliers potentially that either you were impressed by that maybe didn't get the best result there, Max, or anyone you were expecting to maybe see a little bit more of before we head to a break? Quick thoughts on that.
Ooh, champions. Got to make sure you clear your backside when you want to try and go for pushing the circle on the edge. I think that here they gave an opportunity to DG77, and that was the fumble. Otherwise, maybe it would have been a Champions Esport chicken dinner. So slight adjustments need to be made to see more wins coming out from this Mongolian super team.
All right, keep that in mind, Mongolian fans. We'll be back with some more action soon, so we'll see you in a couple minutes' time. Start the war!
ब्रेक दे दिया उन्होंने तो 2 मिनट के मैं बर्तन रख के आ रहा है, बैठा तो वैसे कोई है नहीं। चलो भाई खाना वगैरह खा लिया, थोड़ा सा वार्म अप हो जाए।
Today already, Max, felt like a far more classic start to the day. This is what we wanted, right? You know, we've had our coffees, we've sat down, eyes bright, tails bushy, and the games have been delivering thus far with some of our bigger names in terms of the squads, certainly coming out swinging. So that was a good start on Rondo, but as I imagine the viewers saw, if you didn't catch it, of course, a bit of a different map pool rotation today in terms of the games we're playing. So we're going to have only the one Erangel that's coming up next. Then it's a back-to-back Miramar, and then a final Rondo finish for the day. So room for some different strategy and potentially excitement as the day goes on, Max.
Yeah, no, it's going to get really exciting, but it does feel very odd, I do have to say, to have only one Erangel. Normally it's the one you have the most of.
I know.
Two, possibly up to 3 Erangels per day, but no, we only have one today, meaning that the next few days we'll have more Erangels because it changes every single day here for the knockout stage. But yeah, going into Erangel is going to be interesting to see mainly the hot drop situations. Normally most of them have been fixed right. I want to see them potentially mainly, farm location. I want to see military island, what's going to be happening over there. But outside of that, it's the grassy pastures back on the menu. Always good to see. And finally, Jackie, we're going to have a serious Erangel game happening today, which is going to make me very excited. Can't wait to see what these teams bring to the table.
For the first time in what feels like a long time, which is surprising, right? Because that's the thing. You're saying, we'll get a few more games of Erangel as we go. We had 5 yesterday, Max, back to back. But weirdly, they all kind of blended together into one. You know,
just one big game of Erangel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One hodgepodge, a smorgasbord, I believe the term would be. Although that would imply there's different
MX खेल रही है कि नहीं खेल रही? अरोरा तो खेल रही है, ठीक है.
Of green.
Your top 4 Tyson. Top 4 अभी तो यार नॉकआउट स्टेज है, फाइनल्स में पूछना. Finals
split next to Primorsk, Western Coastline, also a player, I think actually 2 players inside of Quarry.
T1 versus 277 की fight, okay, 277 का एक knock finish हो गया.
Instantly, one casualty to the hands of Kino of Champions Esport, the team that was not quite able to secure that chicken din on Rondo. They'll try and redeem it this time, but they're going to be in therapy here, which is surprising.
What happened to our King Arsenal? यार पाकिस्तान का मैच था ना, किसी एक तो बाहर होना था. Demon. Oh, nice one, fearless bro. This is Mongolia. Nice one. बहुत तगड़ा खेल रहे हैं यार ये लंडे अपने लौंडे है अभी नहीं, लेकिन फिर भी मजा आ रहा है.
Surrounded by champions players, what can you really do in this situation? And the thing is also, if
yes bro, he's out from
road when it comes to car spawn. Sometimes you'll just have nothing there. And in this case, I think they're just locked in this fight. And looking at the loadout, he's got the pump, he's got the dual MP7. Genuinely, such a terrible loadout. Not much can really do here. I think this is going to be an early death for the likes of 27 plus.
Yeah, this would be a sad way for things to go, as we touched on there with the map ball rotation. If you're thrown in with your one sort of more consistent quantity, and you get shown the exit,
healing नहीं है इसके पास.
That would be brutal. You're also effectively feeding points over towards a squad like Champions as well, that will be grabbing that opportunity with both hands and be walking away very happy, smiling from ear to ear. In fact, if they get this one clean, you don't even want to lose the one man though, so let's hope they can dispatch the rest of the squad quickly if they want to leave with their heads held high. Get Demo back up on his feet. What's his footwork looking like when it comes to an up-close encounter versus a nade to the face? dodges that one. Fearless takes a
But your time by करवा रहा क्या बात है?
Keep pressure on this as you will see the peak up. As Lamboy looking for
nice,
the whole
पीछे वाले को
back.
knock कर दिया यार.
Rosen gets unloaded by the clip and will go
nice,
down. Demo gets the adjustment off to finish that one, and the shot.
1v3 Kinu, bro.
Situation. So as you said,
Kinu,
mate,
bro.
that's our first squad down. Not what we expected to see, I don't imagine.
It was a really good plan from Champions. I think they didn't expect a hot drop with a 27 plus in this case. But what happened is they actually took so many good positions in Ferry Pier. They actually gave, maybe 1, 2, 3 buildings maximum to 27 plus, meaning they were very underlooted. Look at the final player there. He just had an AKM with, I think, barely any attachments and also a Scorpion, which... If you got
get this type of condition from. नहीं यार वो जोन का पता है किंग बहुत
this is a very smart way to do it, just denying loot early on, and in that case there was no comeback available for 27 plus. Though looking at another hot drop, it's going to be over to the western coast, also a very weird area for a hot drop it seems. Afterlife, got to be careful, they still got 4 of their members up and running about as Windy also there flushing out that point, confirming it for his teammate of Misha. Got to be careful, there's still one more. Going to be BCG Pro. Vaz a solo here. He's got a Uzi. Very low helmet and vest. I think this is going to be also game over for another team as he's just going to get swarmed straight on out by the entirety of Afterlife. Good damage actually there with the Uzi as he swaps to secondary, but it's just not going to be enough. Metacore eliminated, swept under the rug, and 2 early points secured by the good old Afterlife squad.
Yeah, Afterlife in it to win it today, it seems. Coming out swinging. Exciting stuff, man. You know, it's kind of crazy, right? Because obviously they did feel like the dark horse out of the teams that made it through dominantly when we were watching the Eastern European Club Open, right? They were the side that kind of took a little bit longer to get themselves into a groove and eventually were lapping some of the other squads we were really excited about. We were saying, oh, low blow, look how good they're playing. Then Afterlife came to life and gave us some absolute madness. Here, the fact it's now starting to look consistent over the first 2 games could be a very good telltale sign of this team really proving there's a lot of talent in this team. We'll keep with it, though. You did mention the GOAT squad, so let's see what they can do.
ये क्या हो रहा है? अरोरा की फाइट हो गई है.
We haven't said for a while, but he's instantly unloaded onto Doc and been able to get that opening knock towards the team.
अरे finish कर गया.
Will they be shining bright? Quick connection from Focus. That was a rapid shot. And Top's down on his last legs as Force will assist. Oh my, this is going very wrong for Aurora.
I'm surprised Aurora decided to commit to this fight when you see that the opposing squad of
charge loads up PMGO main event
early on in the match. It's very annoying to deal with the hovercraft, and you can see Doc, right? He was split away, which is typical Doc fashion, right? Likes to be split away from his team. You got a hovercraft, you can just rock up on that player, and then you can just create an opportunity because he's trying to move and not get squashed by it, right? And he puts himself in danger, and then you got an off angle from your teammates, and boom. You get that early knock, so that was very unfortunate for them getting caught off guard. But the hovercraft, you do need to respect it a little bit more. Aurora sent to an early grave for 3 of their members. Of course, no recall towers here, so they're going to be down to a solo for the rest of this game. And another hot... Okay, Jackie, we got way too many hot drops. I thought we were going to see way less. We're actually seeing more hot drops than in calibration. We had 2 in calibration. What was that? We had 4. We had 1 in Ferry Pier, 1 Western Coast, 1 to the bridge, and now we have 1 over here in apartments, and you also have 1.
Why it's not showing MN points? ये कर देंगे अगले मैच तक कर देंगे.
I'm genuinely confused. I have no idea.
South Asia के कितने हैं? South Asia के 3 slots हैं.
You were saying if it
PMGO
goes
main
any
event
longer than I believe day 1 of knockout, Bad Max would be out with the ruler, very upset.
जो भी stream पे नहीं आ रहे stream को फटाफट like करो यार.
Pleasant surprise. It is risky. And it is quite ballsy with how some of our teams are kind of throwing caution to the wind and being willing to take a lot of these committed fights right off the back of the plane path. But hey, it's giving us some good esports to watch.
North America's prizeful, na prizeful, na slow.
Yeah, man, kind of crazy. They're willing to get thrown into things
ऐसे ही है, bro. ऐसे ही है.
Destined to rise down, set up towards the shelter side.
They
loved this position. It's a great angle for the peak as well. You're gonna hear them coming. You can swing in. You are trapped in a choke point, and you have eaten the buckshot.
Yeah, I mean, he's just camping every single just entry.
उसकी लूट कर रहा है, इसके काम चेक कर.
We did have 2 near shelter finishes yesterday.
लूट करके
right? So
चला
shelter
गया.
is just a bit of a focal point here for PMGO Eastern Europe, Central Asia. It seems a lot of teams like to play around here. In this case, it's going to be the side of then D2R looking to claim a bit of that real estate for themselves. At least, you know, one team that's got a really good position, didn't have to fight for it, is Dagestan, right? DG77, they've got himself this heaven location locked on down in that split. And this is going to be really good, especially early on. Your dead center.
भाई इनसे टीम कब रिवील होगी? 10th of May को bro, 10th of May को.
DG77 over to the western side near Alamo, southern side of Yasnaya Fields. So they're going to be looking relatively strong. On this circle, I would recommend DG, just a quick regroup, especially onto Heaven. I would say right now it's a very, very strong position, as long as you're able to zone teams away successfully. Outside of that, Reefus, solo of Aurora here, Jackie. Can he make it to the play zone? Generally, not even sure. This is not going to be an easy one as a solo.
Well, Mad throwing bullets.
Nice one,
looking to clean up in the head versus Destin.
बहुत important है
squad
one
already
वाला.
fragmented. It's not looking too good for them as the numbers are getting worse and worse. And with the clean up from Betts, it's an easy pick to shut down the team. So they would be living up to their name on this one. You'd be a bit frustrated with how the opening on this game
Even के still 4 points हैं. ओरा का ये मैच अच्छा नहीं गया यार.
As well with a full squad wipe, so they'll have 4
एक player बचा
to
हुआ.
start this off.
पिछले मैच में 10 किल थे अरोरा गेमिंग के.
That as well with a read onto Avalanche. How are Avalanche going to be faring here? Obviously, we're, again, effectively just being sort of pushed around the lobby back on Rondo. And they're going to have a bit more fight in them in a head-to-head.
You can just coexist together. When you're around Mansion, these two buildings are kind of separate from each other. Avalanche don't want to stick around, surprisingly enough, even though it's not in a bad spot in this circle. I think they just found a better option up northeast. One of their teammates, Tommy, actually scouted out a free compound up there, so they're just going to send all of their forces up there. Which, actually, you know what? Sure, they could have stayed in Mansion, well, on the outskirts of Mansion, but it does potentially make your later rotation harder to execute because you're next to another team in the sense of KZ Esports here. So they're just like, you know what? We don't want to have any neighbors. We just want to have an easier early rotation upon phase 3, 4, 5, whenever they have to rotate away. So yeah, it's a good setup for the late game. Did they have to do it? No. But is it something that could reward them heavily later on down the line? Yes, definitely. So I think the Avalanche here are being very smart about their early game positions.
And just saying KHK will play with PMGO Turkey team. No bro, they are play with PMGO मीना रीजन्स की टीम. PMNC प्लेन्स हो रहे, वहाँ से कुछ टीमों ने जाना है. उसके अंदर कुछ मीना रीजन की डिफरेंट है. उनके मैचेस भी होंगे इंशाल्लाह बहुत जल्द. अभी तो PMNC प्लेन आज से स्टार्ट होगा. वो 3-4 दिन का इवेंट है. उसके बाद टीमों ने 5-6 टीमों ने जाना है PMGO मीना फाइनल्स के लिए. इंशाल्लाह आपको भाई सारी टूर्नामेंट्स कवर करेगा. बस आप लोगों ने स्ट्रीम पे आते रहना, प्यार दिखाते रहना.
Definitely don't bother. So we can see that implemented there from Avalanche with the move away. Tommy has been pretty consistently one of those players for him as well that does seem to try and
Naomi है, Jardira, Freezer है,
his positional play, more the macro sort of assessing, okay, do we need to piece out? Should I be somewhere else? The needed in the front lines.
Zone कटने लगा है, नहीं कहाँ कटने लगा.
To keep him alive on a shoestring back on Rondo even as well. So that still continues here so far. For DG77, no need to...
Champions अभी भी outer zone क्या कर रही है यार, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही.
A bit of an easier time of it in terms of just getting their loot on and slowly making their move.
3 टीमें मर चुकी हैं, अंदाजा लगा लो. थर्ड सर्कल के अंदर ही 3 टीमें मर चुकी हैं.
We do have a couple of squads in close proximity. Maybe even back down just on the exit.
Zone दिखाना थोड़ी देर.
As well, we could have that run in between Goat team and Destined to Rise. And then, of course, there's that one man that limped away from the early fight versus Goat team in Reefus as well. He's just trying to keep himself alive for now. See if there is any opportunities for some way of getting points on this game.
I just saw here, Jackie, we just got an airdrop exactly on the location of DG77. Like, they're on Heaven, they can't move away from this spot, and they got an airdrop that just fell right in the middle. Yeah, I wonder what kind of loot they got. I believe it was looted up by Nomi. Maybe they got an MG3, a P90. We saw the P90 being very strong yesterday, right? So a lot of the players were playing like head onto motion. But Circle did go around the southern fields of Yasnai Polyana, so it could be a very open-ended finish this time around, as Destined to Rise were able to exit successfully outside of Shelter, which is unfortunate that Mad Esports didn't want to give up on that fight. I wish they did. It was not really worth committing to a fight with D2I. It was also just on the edge of phase number 2. So in that case, a little bit of an L taken by Mad. Hopefully they can try and fix it moving forward, not taking any unnecessary fights like some of our northern teams we mentioned earlier. They've got cars. They're a little bit split between Museum and also this compound that Darling is holding up. The center of the circle, Alamo in particular, TT Project's got a really solid 2-2 split. I think this could be a really strong game for TT Project. We'll see if they can claim that chicken dinner this time around. As Goat Team's got the hovercraft, Jackie, that could be looking really strong in an open finish like this.
It's been a bit of a boon for them since the game began, so if they can keep it alive and use it as some nice cover to play off them, and an oppressive tool could be beneficial. Force close range angle, turns the tide.
उसमें वनमैन जो निकाला ना बहुत तगड़ा था.
With a shotty up close and blows them away in close proximity.
TT versus Escalating Esports. रेफर ने एक नॉक किया मोशन का.
Will they be snowed under? So far, it's good on the response back, but you've only
3
got
किल हो
one
चुके
player
हैं
left alive on the
2 किल कर.
Avalanche might actually upset this.
3 किल कर गया.
Even somehow staying alive.
और को उसको मोशन स्पोर्ट्स को 1-2 मार गया रेफर ने.
Oh, the downrange shot as well. He cleans up mop and bucket, Max.
24.
Sorry, I was looking at the fight. I was also looking at the elimination feed. Reefus just clutched up all of motion. He's still alive. He clutched up.
Champions push कर रही है. Champion third party करने आ रही है.
Solo. I think he got 2 or 3 eliminations off the back of that.
Champion third party.
Production. If we can get a replay, I really want to know what happened over there. Oh my goodness. The thing is, you don't want to overlook any of the members. Even as a solo, it could be Doc Top, even Reefus. You don't know. They can step up to the plate and get some absolutely crazy clutches, just like right now. But now Champions looking at their position, holding on a really strong 2-2 split. You've got to be careful though, getting very close to Destined to Rise. If you're going to take that fight, you might want to fully
मंगोलिया रीजन लाइक उनकी टीम इतनी तगड़ी है ना, वो आपस में खेल के इतने स्ट्रांग हुए हैं ना.
He's got an easy rotation to work with, it seems. But the thing is,
टीटी ने अपने सारे प्लेयर्स को रब दे दिया थे.
We're going to have a team crash that very soon. So Reefus double clutch back to back, maybe? Question mark. Could happen. Yeah.
Man, that's absolutely wild. You know, you kind of say it with half mind that it'll amount to not much, right? When I was like, oh, Rufus is still alive. He's found himself a bit of safety after Goat Team went in on him. A Goat Team actually going to test him again. That could be sweet irony if he's able to find a way to punish the team that removed the rest of the Aurora from this lobby. Reefus with the nades out. I mean, he should have a couple of crates to play off of to restock himself as well, considering the cleanup he went on. So he's got some good utility here. Spamming onto the front line, seeing if the bullets will connect and hold back the wave. Nades
गाड़ी पे गया.
over the top.
गाड़ी से गया. गाड़ी से उतरा. वो गाड़ी से उतरा. वो भाई साहब. ये अगर ये 1v3 कर गया ना, अगर ये 1v3 कर गया ना अदरवाइज.
And finally shut down.
बहुत low है.
Ruined Aurora's chances coming into the opener of this match.
Doc taught him well. That was a nade on a moving player in a car. He's got the angle. Got to be careful using the FPP mode in the smokes. Gonna get as much information.
अरे
being hidden away, but the nade is there for Moxie.
ये मैचेस कहाँ पर हो रहे हैं? ये हो रहे हैं PUBG Mobile Esports पे bro.
Match number 2, not able to get any placement points, but still 3 eliminations thanks to the redemption of Reefus as a solo. You know what? They'll know next time around to be a little bit more cautious on military items.
क्या वैसे गाड़ी से इसने बंदा उतारा था.
We only have one Erangel today, so you know what? Maybe have to rethink it for day 2 or 3 of knockout stage.
आर्क्रेड है, इसके पीछे टीटी है और मिड में गोट है और चैंपियंस का बैक भी क्लियर है, राइट लेफ्ट भी क्लियर है. चैंपियन ने बहुत कमाल की जगह ली हुई है. वैसे जैसे जोन टच होना है बड़े किल मिलने हैं चैंपियंस को. चैंपियंस का फील्डलेस कहाँ पे आया हुआ है भाई. आर्क्रेड वर्सेस गोट की फाइट होने लगी है मे बी.
Mate, already this has been a spicy
ये
game.
क्या हुआ है?
Excited to see where this goes from here. Then demo.
या थोड़ा वेट करता. अब इन्होंने निकलना है, आर्क्रेड ने आ जाना इधर. आर्क्रेड ने चैंपियंस की तरफ ना चले जाए.
They're actually coming out swinging on this one. Maybe they've heard me. They've gone, Jackie's been on us.
Oh, nice one. Oh, I think slamming देंगे.
Showing it, mate. You completely wipe out all of Aurora and now find yourself in an opportunity where if they could best Art Red, another side that we know has some
Champions वाले भी need कराए ना.
This would be a great test for them today on Erringhout. So far, the nades
kill confirm कर लिए. Central team's more stronger. Yes,
bro. A bit more soft off the back of that nade, blowing him to Smithereens. Betts as well goes down in the meantime for Destin to rise as well. And with how many vehicles you've got in this ditch side, they've got a lot of space to play off of. You've got good cover, the nade's going to roll in, you're going to be able to move your way out of that, and then you can piece out if you need to bail on it. It's DG that are continuing to keep that pressure on D2R as well. And for DG, they've been good in a lot of these firefights. Widespread as well for champions. They understand the lay of the land here. They've got that added benefit of the extra information.
I'm actually not a fan. I think champions are spreading themselves apart a little bit too much because you have D2R just behind them, southeast. I think that you got to regroup. If you want to do a 3-1 split, which actually they are starting to do right now, keeping one player to keep insight on those dips.
Mole playing MX is VP Mole.
To defend that
MX, let me check,
bro. In that spot for themselves. It's DG77 also having to leave heaven for the first time this game. They got a crate, right? They got an airdrop. So what kind of weapon did they get? I didn't see any airdrop weapons. Maybe it was an Orm and they just didn't decide to pick it up.
MX. No, bro. They will not play with MX.
The backside of D2R. That could be a fight coming up very soon. As also in the fields, it's going to be TGM. They see the Harry Potter Tower. The smokes are spreading up, making it very hard to hit those pinpoint grenades through the windows.
They will not playing.
They got all of the members here. Just
okay, चैंपियन स्पोर्ट D2R में पुश कर चुकी है. D2R के 3 नॉक फिनिश डाल चुकी है, 4 नॉक फिनिश डाल चुकी है. हैं? सीवन को जस्ट 1 किल मिला. सीवन के 4 किल तो पहले थे. किसी ने किल उठाए हैं सीवन के. बॉयज किसी ने चैंपियन स्पोर्ट के किल उठाए हैं. 4 तो पहले किल थे उनके. ये क्या हो रहा है? ये क्या हो रहा है? ये क्यों हो रहा है? किस लिए हो रहा है? किस वजह से हो रहा है?
And always quite switched on in terms of his approach to the game as well. So it's been fun to watch every time we've had him on our screens. It's the reason we get so excited with some of the plays he's been able to make and consistently being a top earner when it comes to Elim. So certainly don't, underestimate him. I imagine that would be one of the bigger factors for some of these teams that potentially, if they've not done their homework, Max, coming into this lobby, right? If you're thinking, we're a better side, we're a seasoned team, they would be, I think, a real issue to underestimate.
Definitely want to disrespect this squad. Though you've got to be careful. Ravo on the front line's got the first aid. He'll be A-okay. Actually, I didn't see who still has hovercraft. Go had a hovercraft earlier. I don't know if they lost it. Hovercrafts in these open finishes could be really strong just to maybe not drive defensive position, just crash in a hay bale or crate in the open, and you know what? You've got pretty much a building to work around. So if you do have a hovercraft, you could have a significant advantage in this game. I like what Afterlife are doing.
No,
in the Harry Potter
Tower. No finals सिर्फ LAN होने. ये होटल में बैठ के खेल रहे हैं रूम में.
Regroup over to his squad, and that's a good nade from Ravo to open up the fight with TGM. Initiation. Now the team is looking to also, I would say, you got to wrap it up. You can't let them live after that engagement. You need to wrap up the fight. You need to eliminate every single Buggy's unfortunately and the nade hits it.
तेरी है गंदा.
Now down to a trio. And Afterlife
1v2
everyone is getting knocked, eliminated all over the place. Ravo, can you redeem it as a solo player? He's going to be looking to make his way over to the buggy. Maybe looking to give up on the fight entirely. TGM also taking heavy casualties down to just a duo. For SSE, this is a golden opportunity for you to take this northern side for yourself. You need to engage. You need to third party. Just like on the last game on Aurora, SSE need to get involved in this conversation.
और third party आ गई है. Oh, बहुत अच्छा chance है इसके बाद.
The buckshot not going to work too well on the close range encounter. SSE showing us what they're made of as the stars do, trying to shine bright for them. Got the nade primed. It's a close miss on that one. Follow up back over.
Nice one, yaar.
Just not committed to. You turn your back for a split second, and that's how TGM exits the stage here, as they will go down off the back of that duel. Meanwhile, did we have the crash from DG77 all the way in?
गोड मार चुकी है. रजिस्टर ने गोड को मार दिया.
The players there on go and massively clean up as well.
Where is champions? So champion ने आधा सर्कल लिया हुआ है दोनों का.
Yeah, but good shots coming out from Nomi. Right, finally sticking with his team.
Register TTP ऊपर आ जाएगी.
Team he doesn't have one anymore. Zadira, Freezer, and Prepod taken out of this match entirely.
TTP ऊपर आ जाएगी मुझे लग रहा.
If he wants to pull off a late rotation, he can still do exactly that. But SSC are the ones that want to get involved in Seeds. They eliminated all of those northern teams.
Champions वालों का split मजे का.
Eliminated from this match. But now, actually going to put their focus on to Champions. I think got a little bit too sent on the circle. They could stay to the west and just chill. They don't have to take any of these fights. You can just spray from a distance and you will be A-OK.
मार दिया उन्होंने वैंस के दूं. ऐसे Star Soldiers वो भी मर गए हैं.
Eliminate each other and you get involved at the
और
last
भी
minute.
3v2
Don't do a
है.
fumble like the last game. This is the Champions chicken dinner to come here, Jackie. Unless a
Champions का आ जाना चिकन. अगर वो थोड़ा सा सही खेले ना, अगर उन्होंने ऊपर नीचे कोई चीज की ना छोटी बड़ी गेमें की तो खराब हो जाएगा सीन.
Is this a game where they'll be as hearty?
वो जो भी स्ट्रीम पर नहीं आने प्लीज स्ट्रीम को लाइक करो फटाफट से.
Aggressive peak. It's not looking too good for them. Lose out on their duel, meaning that it's a guaranteed second place now for one of these two teams between Champions and TT. As we get into our head-to-head, nades into the ditch. It's right on the vehicle. Blows the cover out of the way and creates a bit of space, making it more uncomfortable. They jump in the cars as well, and they can take a wide berth on this on the rotate. Ooh. You can see that 2-2 split. They can get into the back line here, Max, make this very uncomfortable.
It's even a 2-1-1 split, so they're really just trying to suffocate the entirety of TT Project. This is a really good game to just lock down that chicken dinner. No mess ups here, unless they get a little bit too close, and him in particular, one of their members is going to be a nade range of TT Projects. You've got to be a little bit careful. Still respect the team. They could be a menace.
Two teams in stroke.
They might just take a mile like last game.
Yeah, bro.
Fearless, yeah, I think he understands.
Match में बहुत जल्दी टीम में बढ़ी हैं.
This is not bad because it's actually using up a lot of resources of TT Project. But why is Demo sending it solo? What is happening? Is this going to be a back-to-back throw?
Fearless अच्छी position में है.
Still got 8 eliminations, so a good game, but it could be even more. As Atomic, that's a good peek. There you go, respectful. He knew he had that one in the bag. Unfortunately, no more grenades, only a Molotov and a flashbang. You know what? Even a flashbang could be really useful as you over-peek. Just put the flashbang down. Fearless has got the angle. Down to just a solo. It's Neos trying to get the hell out of dodge, but it's just not going to happen. The redemption comes on through, and it is going to be Champions Esports to claim the second chicken dinner of the day.
Wow, it played some great PUBG Mobile in the first game in terms of taking countless duels and walking away as the kings of the arena. But now here on Erangel coming out swinging with that champion chicken dinner. The finest royal dish for a great squad. So the Mongolian supremacy rising to the top once again, showing us just what they're made of. I did like the fight as well, mate, the way they were taking sort of various peaks, like you said, right? You go for effectively the quad split between the four players and then consistently bait out peaks where everyone's turning their attention. You're facing north, suddenly you're being shot from the back line. As soon as you try and react to that, you're being shot from the opposite side. It was good stagger on the fights, never overextending. They could play off each other's contact, but didn't leave themselves susceptible to just be fully wiped. It's a great final fight from there. Isolated some of the key names as well. Like Zerich has been a mean machine, so if you're instantly beaming onto him, makes it a bit more awkward for them. TT, though, at least for what it is, Max, good to see them taking away that second place.
भाई नोको स्टेज एक्सप्लेन कर दो यार. नोको स्टेज में थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर देता हूँ आपको.
Get a bigger game out of that one.
नोको स्टेज के अंदर ना 20 टीमें हैं. 3 दिन का ये इवेंट होगा. 3 दिन के इवेंट के बाद जो टॉप 4 टीम्स होंगी ना वो जाएंगी PMGO EECA फाइनल्स में. जो बॉटम 16 टीम्स होंगी ना वो खेलेंगी लास्ट चांस. लास्ट चांस 2 दिन का होगा. लास्ट चांस में 12 टीमें जाएंगी फाइनल्स में. 12 लास्ट चांस से 4 नॉकआउट से टोटल 16 टीमों के मैचेस होंगे. मैंने इंस्टाग्राम पे अपलोड की हुई है पोस्ट, आप जाके चेकआउट कर सकते हो.
And yeah, well-oiled machine on this match, and we'll see if they can claim some more chicken dinners. But the Mongolian super squads here have been doing so good. Game 1 Aurora, a ton of eliminations. Game 2 here for Champions, getting a ton of elims and also securing that chicken dinner finally. And I want to see, right, can we see them actually kind of outdo their Mongolian brethren in Aurora? Because I think a lot of people are like, Aurora is going to be the best team of Mongolia. But, man, this team is bringing up some big numbers in only 2 matches. So they are looking strong already.
Yeah, they really are. They've got a lot of moving pieces that facilitate it as well, where although this was maybe a bit of a quieter game from Demo, as an individual, he's someone that seems to be willing to fight the entire world and usually bring it home. Atomics look great from distance. Kino's been having some cinema when he's thrown into the fight. Highlighted here as our winning team MVP, actually, as well, so it's fitting we mention his name. Yeah, he's looked really good in the clutch. I think that's the more important thing, right? Again, someone that seems to be incredibly self-proficient when it comes down to situations where he's split from his squad. Even if he's in a duo or three-player setup, he's still so good at closing angles and sort of holding off various teams from range without having to worry about backups. So a self-sufficient player there. It's nice to see.
It's really nice in particular because you do, when you look at this roster, right, you're mainly looking at Demo that has been a PMGC champion in the past with IHC, but no, this time it's
basically just don't fall in bottom. जो बात है.
These points, and yet Kino, I think, was playing some exceptional gameplay. I like how they were not being too disrespectful to teams on the West. Those 2-2 splits, 3-1 splits, everything was just looking so controlling on this game, and they could have not even taken a single shot. I still feel like they would have gone away with an absolute banger of a match. Because again, the information is so important, and that is indeed what they were trying to play around and capitalize on this second game of today. Looking at the top fraggers though of this match, it is going to be Effie's from TT Project, followed by Kino, Moxie, Silence, and Fearless. And I do have to say, looking at Silence, and not just Silence, but the entirety of SSE Esports here, Jackie, it seems like they're just the most keen team to go for third parties. Every time there's an opportunity.
DG first match point. DG के first match में आते चिकन था उनका और 12-14 पॉइंट थे.
Successfully from that fight, they did it on game 1. They did it here once again. So a team to not be underestimated.
Yeah,
इसमें 21 पॉइंट उन्होंने निकाले मैच में.
Where you're going to see them being able to kind of weave their way up the rankings, because a lot of teams do seem to sort of forget about them. It's like a Dr. Dre situation, mate. You can't forget about Dre because he'll always be there. And that's what they've been doing. They've been getting away with those backstabs and being able to build points. It's a nice earner for them. You leave this one with 13 points, just the one behind the second place team there in TT. Not doom and gloom whatsoever. DG77 as well, starting to climb up a little bit, do get themselves 9 points off the back of that game. This is the more rough end of things, though. Bit of a move around in terms of our teams that have underperformed on that one. You can see Aurora obviously had the very rough start of the game, right? They basically got entirely wiped by Go.
DG has yeah, bro.
He did have some moments of greatness, not enough to give him.
Overall ranking दिखाएंगे इस मैच के बाद वैसे तो.
And for 72 as well, it was a bit of a brutal one, mate. Off the back of the hot drop, just got absolutely mauled. We are seeing a bit of a power shift already then.
Yeah, I'm genuinely still confused. I'm going to repeat what I said at the start of that game, that we had so many hot drops. 4 hot drops on an Erangel game. Again, we played in calibration. Why was that happening? Genuinely, I can't even
well, just 34.
I'm very confused. Just want to make a statement. But there's so much on the line, Jackie, because if you're in top 4, you go straight to the
34 subscribers रह गए. Please जल्दी करवा दो यार.
The LAN event in Jakarta for the PMGO Season 1 main event. This is very unnecessary. Some very unnecessary risks all around the board. I hope that we do see these adjusted moving into the next Erangel. So we only have one Erangel today. But yeah, so I genuinely...
Yesterday you said Aurora will dominate one side. Yeah, bro, don't worry.
You need to rectify this. You need to fix it, because otherwise you'll have to go on to the next
you
stage.
See,
you might just miss out on the final.
In the final...
Evil Max, man, he's slowly peaking here right now. He's going to get involved sooner, Jackie, because yeah, it made no sense to me. It was very odd.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, mate. You'll have that one vein that will start to get very engorged if this keeps happening. So hopefully, hopefully that won't occur. But there you go. That's game 2 wrapped up here. Our one and only Erangel for the day out the way. We'll move in. We're back to back. Bit of madness on Miramar when we return after the break. But that's how the lay of the land is looking for now. It's been exciting up to this point, mate. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of the day is going to go. Matt, quick thoughts on what we're going to be getting out of things as we move into Miramar? Anything you're excited for with a change of land?
Okay, I know I've been talking about top and his mini 14 all the time, but like, come on, you're going on to Miramar, which is like the DMR bolt action map, right? And I want to see him with the M1 Garand. We've been talking about it on day 1. It might just happen here this time around where he gets a big game with that long range action, but not only him. We saw
break na de raha main start karo please.
With those DMRs, and as we shift slowly but surely into update 4.4, when the DMRs are going to be even stronger and we are going to have ARs getting nerfed, I think that Miramar is going to be a map where long-range players like maybe Sleepy in the South Asian region is really going to step up to the plate and get some dominating performances. So, yeah, Miramar is going to be fun. Hopefully no hot drops. That's my one request. Again, that Erangel was just very weird.
Yeah, no, it was indeed. You never know, right? You know, we were kind of speculating that maybe it would be the Miramar and Rondos where things would be a little bit more hot drop centric, but hey, it's happened or Erangel, so we'll see where it goes. Join us though for that. We'll be getting into the flow of things on Miramar when we're back on your screens after the break. Start the war!
और सुनाओ यार, क्या हो रहा है आजकल? आज वर्जिन गोविंदा नहीं। Why South Korean teams are so good in Myanmar? No idea, bro. Why? Maybe रोटेशन इजी हो जाती है और थोड़ा सा लॉन्ग रोटेशन मैच है। वैसे पीएमजी साउथ एशिया में 3 से 4 लोग चाहिए, एक कम है यार। ब्रो मैंने एक व्लॉग अपलोड किया, वो किसी ने देखा है यार? मैं देखूँ यार किसने देखा वो वाला व्लॉग, कितने लोगों ने देखा? कंटेंट में आया पीएमजी पाकिस्तान व्लॉग, 140 बंदों ने देखा है और 948 व्यूज हैं उसके ऊपर। ट्राई करूंगा, अगर मैं गया तो इंशाल्लाह जरूर बनाऊंगा यार व्लॉग, अगर मैं गया तो। Weekend 25 PMGC only chicken win takes 5th position. Oh, nice one. PMC vlogs quality यार, क्वालिटी तो मेरी 4K में थी यार, ऐसे तो ना बोलो। फोर के में मैंने रिकॉर्ड किया था। क्वालिटी मीन्स क्वालिटी कंटेंट, अच्छा। हाँ यार, बस ना प्लेयर्स उस तरह से नहीं करते कोऑपरेट यार। पता नहीं कैसे कैसे बस टूटा टूटा फूटा बना दिया था मैंने। So portray other cast as well. I'm try bro. I'm trying. बाकी कास्टर्स वगैरह नहीं आते यार पोर्टल भाई से थोड़ी सी भाइयों वाला सीन है तो वो आ जाते हैं समझ रहे हो
Still on the battlegrounds. And the plane is going to be actually kind compared to what we had earlier on Rondo, right? It's going to be El Azahar all over to the northern edge of Valle del Mar. So teams should get access to their drop locations. Though one thing that I do have to say, usually, Jackie, if we do have a hot drop, it's always in Picado. I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but if it's going to happen in one city, it might just be good old Picado. Let's keep an eye out.
Yeah, let's see. We've got the centered up playing path for it, so maybe there's a chance. Let's see who's willing to attempt to take.
I think same ही आज सारी टीम सेम ही रहनी है जो मुझे लग रहा है ना
if that's going to be a question of topic. You can see a lot of
आज I think नीचे हुई टीम्स नहीं खेलेंगी बाकी चार ग्रुप्स खेलेंगे जो खेल रहे हैं
Could be. We've seen a lot of they could spread out. You got a decent amount of trash locations to loot.
Chicken prediction. Let's see both of our.
Might not be happening.
Let's see
a lot of fights happening there back in the Eastern
Ali Murtaza, bro, welcome to the stream.
Actually, the teams that were going for the hot drops, guess what? Didn't qualify. Didn't make it here to this land qualifier. As
मैं predict करता हूँ
I do see Aurora and Afterlife going for that location, so that's going to be an early clash. Two teams going towards Valle del Mar at the end of the playing path. So Picado seems like we might have a little bit of a fight.
कोड को टीम कोड को मैं गैस करता हूँ कि डिजिस्ट्रन का ड्रॉप क्लैश हो गया मैड के साथ
and hot drops and also not just hot drops with DG77 it just keeps on happening right now. They're making a statement. They mean business. Freezer getting one, so will Nomi
दो नौकरी डाल दी उन्होंने
high ground advantage, so that should be
अरोरा हैश 9 पे हैं चैंपियंस हैश 1 पे है
he's far away, will get involved eventually, but that is game. Ahmad again sent to an early grave on the
अरोरा वर्सेस अरोरा का फाइट हो फिटे हाल
many times and it's just not worth it.
टॉप जी नॉक है और ऐसे अलवा का अलवा कह रहा हूँ ये एविडेंस नहीं है आई थिंक इनका नाइस वन चार किल आ गए हैं लेट्स सी ओके मैं जाना चाहूंगा टीम गोट के साथ गोट की जरूरत
And I was trying to rack my mind if we saw Afterlife go there too many times. I believe there was quite a few where they
this final of what bro it's a knockout stage.
They were really headstrong on fighting, right? And they had like a 4-0 record on that, I think. But
knockout stage चल रही है ये.
Kind of different when you're facing Aurora on it, I suppose.
यहाँ से टॉप 4 ने डायरेक्ट फाइनल्स में जाना है और बॉटम 16 ने लास्ट चांस में जाना है.
Genuinely, I'm looking at the map, right? You've got locations east of there. You can go towards Minas del Valle if you want. You got Partona. Some teams have been very good, like Virtus Pro in the past would do a split near Partona. They would drop almost on the island and loot that location. There's no need to commit to Chumacera. In my opinion, this is a big mistake from Afterlife. It's the first Miramar, so I can forgive it. Right? I feel like I'm being like judging so many teams.
You're a stern
I'm not trying to be mean.
Stern but fair.
Yes, because I don't want to be too harsh on these teams. I think Afterlife has a lot.
Let's go. Let's see.
To PMGO. Genuinely, I think there's so much potential in this team. In particular, Windy has just been an absolute star throughout all of Eastern Europe and even some of these matches today and yesterday during calibration. You're just hindering yourself. You are taking a fight. I don't care. Sure, Aurora makes it a little bit harder. You could be fighting against anyone here. The fact you even lose just a single player, your odds of a good game go down significantly.
PMGO के फाइनल के स्लॉट का क्या सीन है PMGO का जो भी टॉप 1 होगा ना वो जाएगा PMGO मेन इवेंट
1000 meters away from Chumacera is just not worth it. Same for Mad Esports. But Mad Esports, I'm going to say, kind of more unforgivable because they just keep fighting DG77. I don't know if they have a rivalry happening. There's a bit of drama in the background. But that needs to be fixed because right now, if you commit to these drops, I believe they're not going to be able to even reach the final.
Which Wi-Fi you are using? मैं Wi-Fi नहीं use कर रहा, मैं Ethernet use कर रहा हूँ locally है ये.
Carry on with the like we said, right? Sort of the curse of ego, where you feel like, right, we've got to keep doing it until it does work. Eventually, cut your losses, go think a bit different, carve a space away. If you do feel like it's being a consistent trend of even that target head-to-head between two teams just not working out.
Bro, इंडोनेशिया की already 8-9 स्लॉट हैं. PMIO से एक स्लॉट है और जो PM पे इंडोनेशिया से एक स्लॉट है. 4-5 स्लॉट दूसरे से है. PMGO एशिया फाइनल इंडोनेशिया फाइनल्स वाली एक स्लॉट है. इनकी बड़ी स्लॉट्स हैं ब्रो, मैंने अपलोड किया था, आप इंस्टाग्राम पे जाके मेरे चेकआउट कर सकते हो पूरी स्लॉट्स. Alter is looking prominent H1 and dominating. Yes, they definitely win bro. उधर कोई कंपटीशन है, कोई टीम ही नहीं है Alter Egos के अलावा. 4 टीमों ने जाना है, टोटल 20 टीमें हैं, 4 अभी जाएंगी, 16 अगले अगले स्टेज से जाएंगी और 12 अगले स्टेज से जाएंगी, टोटल 16 हो जाएंगी.
Last time around had basically the afterlife effect on drop. So yeah, a lot of moving pieces.
Oh, D2 versus SSE.
Well, actually, we got
Star Soldier Esport.
Center of the circle. We have a big fight happening in Valle del Mar. It's going to be
मुक्के करा दिए ओ भाई, साइको पे फाइट आ गई अब तो.
Rise clashing with SSE. SSE don't like seeing them get involved.
MTO versus Meta की fight.
Quite a bit in those. They're very good at third party engagements, as we saw in game 1 on Rondo, game 2 on Orangle. I would like to see something somewhat similar here this time around. But yeah, a lot of moving pieces in this lobby, as Metacore will be losing grills.
Walaikum assalam, Birdman bro, welcome to the stream.
We've got so many good spots to go for. Again, you don't have to clash, and I do like the SSE. Sure, take a little bit of a beating here. Do get at least a bets, 1 elimination secured for free. So not too bad of a trade-off, but they just give it up. We don't want to commit. Win circle. There's so many good positions still open for the taking, and they will put their focus on those spots instead. So thumbs up to the side of SSE. Though this fight, it seems like Metacore are just locked down in this valley.
Boom and Global also in competition. Global कौन सी टीम है उसे? अरोरा को क्या हो गया? अरोरा पिलमपली कर रही है, अभी तो दूसरा तीसरा मैच है. टोटल 5 मैचेस होंगे. फिर जो नेक्स्ट फाइनल है उधर H1 मेन इवेंट और बाकी 15 टीम एलिमिनेट नहीं, जो फाइनल है फाइनल से 4 टीमें जाएंगी H1, 4 टीमें जाएंगी मेन इवेंट, बाकी एलिमिनेट. तो मैं आपका फैन हूं, जज़ाकल्लाह ब्रो. और जो भी स्ट्रीम पे आ रहे हैं काइंडली स्ट्रीम को लाइक कर देना.
Unfortunate flow for some of our squads here.
बुलबुल हैश टू पीएमपी इंडोनेशिया. ओके भाई, अल्ट्री को क्वालिफाइड नहीं है ना, या कर दो ये. अल्टर ईगो पीएमआईओ से क्वालिफाई कर सकती है.
We need to figure out a way to translate this to real life. It would be beautiful. Imagine how quick we'd be able to get you to work match into a vehicle, roll you down the hill.
Altigos qualify for C finals. Nice.
I would like to maybe not do.
हाँ, फाइनल्स में क्वालिफाई है, वहाँ से चैंपियन आना पड़ेगा उनको.
You know what? I'm actually scared of cars. I don't like it. I like watching car game, playing games like PUBG Mobile, or driving fake cars.
Yeah.
In real life, I'm terrified. I'd have a really bad time in that one.
Yeah, it's true. You know, not a lot of people know this, obviously, when we're not on air. But between shows, when we're kind of taking the shuttle back and forth from the hotels and stuff, when myself and Max are at events, he just screams the entire time. Be a 20-minute journey, Max just screaming the whole time. We just say, "It's all right, bud. You know, we're going to get out the car eventually." Doesn't stop, just yells the whole way.
I have to be sedated to go to a LAN event.
Normally,
like, it's just too. He's too loud right now. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fear of mine. Unfortunately, it happens.
It's a feature. It's a feature, not a bug.
It's a feature, not a bug. Yeah,
exactly.
It's true. Though looking at the feature of this game, which is going to be phase number 2, actually very hard shift down southwest, is going to be incorporating.
Even full form. Yes, bro. Even full form है. क्या अभी PMGO का फाइनल भी होगा? Yes, bro. होगा. फाइनल होगा. डीमो के साथ साथ भाई प्लेयर बहुत तगड़ा खेल रहे हैं, और लास्ट चांस जाए करना बिकॉज उनका सेम पैटर्न होता है और ऑफिशियल में. नहीं कट जाएगी, इतना भी नहीं बुरा खेल रही. एक ही मैच बुरा गया, रोंडो में 10 एलिमिनेशंस निकाले हैं उन्होंने. 0 है.
Going heavily down southwest, the eastern side is going to be fully stacked with teams. So actually, I want to see something similar to last game, where teams go for the wider rotations up north or south and just avoid those unnecessary early skirmishes. These little scrambles would be nice to see come on through. As I look at actually some of these rotations, Jackie, it seems like Aurora getting oddly close to champions. We'll see if that's going to result in a fight, or if the two teams are going to have a bit of a handshake and say, this is not worth it, let's give it up. And it seems like the handshake did come up.
Nice firm.
4 ग्रुप हैं, 4 में से टॉप 4 जाएंगे PMIO फाइनल्स में. 4 ग्रुप हैं PMIO फाइनल्स में. मैं भी बता देता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे आइडिया नहीं है अभी के लिए PMIO फाइनल्स सिटी फाइनल से जाएंगी टॉप 2 फ्रॉम ईस्ट सिटी से जानी है ब्रो टॉप 4 एडवांस हाँ 15 टीमें होगी लास्ट चांस में से 4 टीमें प्लेऑफ्स में जाएंगी जिसमें 16 टीम्स आउट गेम क्वालिफायर 12 टीम सिटी फाइनल 4 टीम सिटी लास्ट चांस से 32 टीमें होंगी और 8 टीमें फ्रॉम 2 ग्रुप बनेंगे फिर पर ग्रुप से 8 जाएंगी आप विकिपीडिया पे ना इसका स्केड्यूल देख सकते हो PMIO का
You'll take that with both arms, but until it's a clean firefight they're favored in, they're not going to put too many eggs in this basket.
Yeah, just wanted to
होता है यार कोई ना
similar positions. We don't have to actually I was going to say we don't have to waste ammo. Reefus has a different idea. It seems just like I just want to show that we're here, we're ready to fight. We just get actually a little bit of damage on one of the champion's members. So also good start, right? They got 4 eliminations in that early fight with Afterlife in Chumacera. So they are off to a decent amount of time and also getting all that loot. I believe most of their members should have tier 3 helmets and vest. Yeah, Dog's got a tier 3 vest. Tier 2 actually for the helmet and vest off tops. So, you know, might take a little bit of extra damage here this time around. But we're about to go into circle number 3. Hacienda currently
sounds like campus battle. Yes, bro. Same way he Turika.
And the circle does shift up north towards water treatment. Hacienda still in zone. This is going to favor teams like SSC, TT Project up north. TGM are looking super comfortable because their spot in particular is high ground. And this is going to be great to see all of those teams going for the mad dash in the center of the circle. So TGM might not get a lot of eliminations off the back of that, but they should have an easy time to get relatively far in this game in terms of placement points.
जैसा क्यों लग रहा है कि डॉग तो भाई बचाने वाला है बचाएगा यार उसके लिए तो नॉर्मल सी बात है डॉग के लिए ओ डॉग पे पुश आ गया और ये रेफर नॉक हो गया फिटे हाल डॉग ने एक नॉक किया दूसरा नॉक आई थिंक ओए क्या बच्चा
onto the Aurora players and already Rufus has been removed from the equation. You've got the tag back over onto the dock as well.
दो नॉक वो तेरी गया क्लच आने लगा डॉग का
Nice moves with the shotty up close to personal onto top.
ओके लास्ट रह गया
that one with ease. And even
डॉग आई थिंक ये 1v3 है
of the squad mates are they're downstairs with a pre-nade. It's a save idea from either one of them. They both turn the corner with
डॉग बैंस के दूं 1v3 कर गया ना ओए होए 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 बहुत प्यारा यार सोलो 5 kills
It was a bit awkward, the two players just literally almost touching each other with an A, just like, oh, what do we do?
बुरा खेलने की वजह से नहीं इनकी स्ट्रेटजी है पहले अच्छी तरह तैयारी करते हैं फिर आउट प्ले करते हैं
27 plus. Again, not quite able to get into that true late game 3 times.
भाई क्या ही मारा है उसने
Change up these fights, not taking unnecessary skirmishes early on in these matches on, no, it doesn't matter the battleground really, Miramar, Erangel or Rondo. It's been the same every time it seems. So, they did get one elimination on 2 Reefers of Aurora, so that's at least 1 extra point for their troubles. As over to the east, still so many teams, there's going to be, what is that, 6 squads getting a bit overly stacked over there. Choco Blocker, as you said. Destined to rise. Don't really have to get involved in this fight. They got a strong compound. I don't think any team would be willing to go to a fight because it's very unlikely we are going to have this compound in Circle 4. So the value of this spot is just going to go down as time goes by. And one team has been... I still have to talk about their position here, Jackie. SSC is in the center of the circle. No one's in like 1,000-meter radius of them. They are having a vacation on this Miramar. They might just get top 3 just by waiting.
भाई जो भी स्ट्रीम पे नहीं वाले स्ट्रीम को लाइक करो यार फटाफट से
Yeah, just
50 likes हुए 16 बंदे देख रहे हैं
the SSC classic, right? Of like we will just happily wait.
अली मुर्तजा
then third party. And it's been working. So hey, if no one contests them, maybe they'll get a nice little opportunity to continue thriving and find their time in the sun. You got that great center circle setup. If the zone continues to shift,
I think
they're going to be licking their lips. Could be the dream for them. It's everyone else that's going to be coming in effectively forced to scrap their way through one another. They do, yeah. It centers up perfectly on them. There you go, mate. They've been blessed.
Well, okay, this is like the perfect setup. Thing is, it is really hard to defend this particular compound because it's a warehouse. And warehouses in Miramar, they got like one wall going all around one part of it.
730 वो भी है यार.
Just very hard to
World
defend.
Series
So if they
Pakistan
want, they
को
can somewhat just give up the warehouse for free if a team looks to crash on it and just nade the warehouse. The walls will
ऐसे
randomly
भाई
create a
अरोड़ा
zero.
अगर
That
ना
can be very
पीएमजीओ
difficult to
में
defend
तो
with
बहुत
TYSOC.
टीम्स हैप्पी होंगे नहीं
But
नहीं
who will be
इजीली
willing
चले
to
जाएंगी
commit to the crash? That is going to be the question. Hopefully we'll answer it very soon in this game, as we have now a clash to the east. It's going to be KZ Esports versus Avalanche.
केजी वर्सेस
Seems like the two teams are going to
एवेलेंस
locked
की
in this
फाइट है
fight. Can't really escape it.
और टॉप जी के बाद मिनी आ चुकी है वॉइस
And
और
we've
टीटी
just
का
got
एक प्लेयर
the
नॉक
zero,
हो गया
so there's an extra ticking time. Back to
नाइस
back
वन
away
यार
from Jakura with the SM Abakan getting a nice opening knock, maybe looking for the back-to-back.
अरे नहीं
Going back into hiding, and he actually gets in FPP mode in that
स्मोक के अंदर पेल गया वो
But all of
नाइस
Avalanche now just fumbling against the
उसे
opposition
फिनिश
of
कर गया
Esports. That's 4 points headed their way. Maybe getting the results.
उसे फिनिश कर गया वो शायद आई
gets
थिंक
flushed on out as Arcred are looking for a cheeky third party here.
AZ Esports with a nade primed Moxie. How much Moxie has he got? Will the confidence be there? That's the question. Glory on the move back. The rest of Arcred trying to create space away as they do want to carve a path past this man.
ये लो जी कर लो बातें केजी भाई कर लो बातें
Will find that angle and quickly
टीमों से एमटीएन की फाइट हो रही है
Not really a great spot left here either. I mean, you pop the smoke, does have a vehicle to try and chase, but in reality, where does he go, man? Even if he sort of puts the pedal down to the metal, you're not going to get that much distance.
पता नहीं डैमेज भी हुआ है वो लो भी हुआ है पता नहीं क्यों नहीं मारा उसने बाद में
pop the smoke, stay in position. Could be a rotate over though, as there's another Moxie that's having a look in. That's Goat just off to the side, that are seeing if there is an opportunity when Arcred leave this setup towards the rocks to try and get stuck into that. So he might just subvert expectations and survive as a solo for at least a little while longer.
I'm really happy you bring up GOAT because of their position. It's, I was going to say, almost impossible for HC Esports to make it out of that position. Unless literally all of the shots miss from GOAT and Arcred combined, which I would say looks quite unlikely. Wait, there's no way. It actually makes over the road. One of the players. They do lose one. But yeah, they do get at least one player in the play zone. Yen just surviving, sending it in the open field. That was a lucky rotate, but I still think he's going to get picked off eventually, maybe by just another team.
आजकल कोई ग्लिच है स्मोक में बॉर्डर लाइन नजर आती है बंदे की बॉर्डर लाइन नजर आती है बंदे की क्या बात है तीन गोट की फाइट हो रही है गोट का एक नॉक है गोट पे जोन भी है फिर भी नॉक खाई जा रहे हैं कैसे समझ से बाहर है ये चीजें
They do want to get involved, and Neos does find a knock onto Star, so it is a bit risky, but so far it is paying off.
So far, so good. Start things as you mean for them to end with confidence here.
ओरा के 7 किल हो चुके हैं ओरा का एक प्लेयर नॉक फिनिशर रेफेल नॉक फिनिशर है आई थिंक
into the distance, the spread between them. Zark did have to completely fragment on their setup, of course, and just look to get their bodies down on the ground to stay alive long term. Reposition from TT, set their focus on getting into the zone and joining the rest of their teammates.
चैंपियन ने गेट कीप किया और मेटा का ओके
This is a good move. I like it from TT there. They just wanted to kind of
भाई चैंपियन बहुत तगड़ी टीम है गोट की फाइट हो गई है ओए
locked down in the center of the circle.
ये आर्केड फ्लाइक नॉक हुआ है ठीक है बाकी प्लेयर्स के है भी नहीं है इधर
Remember that was a good trade off for them. Though Goat, what is their next move gonna be? Don't have a lot of strong compounds to fight for. Maybe just crashing onto TT Project might be the game.
एंगल बना रहे हैं टीटी वाले पागल हुए हैं
They're coming back up. They're like, wait, the team of Arcred.
टीटी का प्लेयर नॉक होने लगा मे भी
Solo, they're sent in the open field. Effect, Neos getting involved. They want to try and maybe find some knocks here and there on the members of GOAT. Because if they do so, actually, you got a very slow chance, a very low, sorry, not low chance of getting knocked on.
तार दे ओए
Clearing the east would be a big.
यार प्राइसफुल का मसला ये है इसमें 20 टीमें हैं और 20 के अंदर डिवाइड होना है और साथ में ना इनके स्टेजेस ज्यादा हैं हमारे 4 दिन ना इनकी तकरीबन है ज्यादा स्टेजेस
We're not going to overcommit. We're not going to take an unnecessary risk to make this work out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll go back to the compound. This is the TT project we saw back in calibration, and again, they're playing the exact same playstyle, but this time in the knockout stage.
Oh, and this lob is harder than this. Oh, टॉप ने मारा है टॉप ने
taking a bit of hefty damage. Force in the meantime as well.
गोड का
taking some
11
shots
फिनिश
back. That's going to be him
गोड
going
क्या
down,
कर रही है
a bit more uncomfortable. We are starting to lose a few of our squads.
ओए
from the
टॉप
left
साहब
of
ने
the
fearless मार
firepower
दिया
as well, as one by one we're thinning the herd now and getting down to only a couple of teams remaining.
ओहो चिकन आ रहा है बस
It seems that this
अरोरा का चिकन आ रहा
see where we cook from here
गोड तो
then.
गई
Aurora
गियो
Gaming looking to get back
गियो
into
रे
the
बाबा
double with the
गियो
shots whizzing by from champions. MUCBP being blown up by SSE as well. That's the last man from them.
कहाँ नेड मोली करी जा रहा है वहाँ बंदा भी नहीं है पता है क्या हो रहे हैं ये
just playing tower defense in that position. Just trying to make sure no one gets even remotely close to their warehouse compound. Though to the west, exit out of Hacienda del Patron is going to be between the side of Motion
क्या
and
बात
team
है क्या ही
versus
बात
champions from Mongolia.
एजी की जगह एओआर आ गई ओरा आ
So
चुकी
do
है
keep that in mind that if they do take this fight, these two teams got to be cautious because you might not be left alone. Kano, again, this man's been an absolute beast on this opening day.
देखा है उसने देखा है नाइस वन है अरोरा कीरा करेगी बच के जाना बच के जाना अरे 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 उठेगा गाड़ी से 3 नॉक लास्ट रह गया यार ये चैंपियंस बहुत ही
And because of this, I think that Aurora see the elimination feed and see that champions are taking such a small amount of knocks, it's not really worth it to get too heavily involved. They will be sending a scout over to the west, which is going to be Zyol, but champions are still raring to go. So you don't want to overcommit. As Duchu, sole survivor here. Now he's going to be in nade range. One more
नाइस वन यार
and that is going to be Kino to
हैं डेमो कैसे नॉक फिनिश हो गया ये
6 eliminations, making a statement here today, Jackie, that they mean
अरोरा वाले ऊपर आ गए हैं गोड गई
They are pulling no punches. They've been playing some
ऐसे पीएमजी के मैचेस कितने हैं पर डे अभी तक मैच स्केड्यूल नहीं आया मैच स्केड्यूल नहीं आया
trend from them as they've got themselves those 6 elims. They're coasting through the game. They're looking good. They're looking for glory. Aurora similarly down the rankings in terms of overall points, but when it comes to the head-to-head in this lobby, also matching that level of energy. As both of these squads are down to a triple threat as well, so we'll keep that talking point in mind, see if that's going to be a bigger issue the longer this one goes on. Freezer and Prepod, the two representatives of DG77, left to fight out on this one. Couple shots out into the horizon, see if you can punish. Zol here as well. Limited cover just down towards the ridge line. So if they
वैसे क्या लगता है इस बार पीसी होटल में होगा ना स्टे पीएमजी सजे नहीं उधर नहीं होगा उससे अच्छा कोई होटल होगा गोड तो गई यहाँ से कितनी स्लोड है पीएमजी की यहाँ से 4 स्लो ओए अरे नाइस योल
Zol is cooking right now. They forgot about the angle.
But keep in mind,
जोर कितना मजे का एंगल लेके बैठा हुआ था लिटरली उन्होंने ऊपर कुछ किया और जोर साहब ने उधर ही पेलम पाली कर दिया
very soon indeed. But Doc going to get res back up again, a player that you want to keep alive as long as possible in these games. Good statement from
या ब्रो आपने पीसी से अच्छा होटल भी है लाहौर में लाइक पीसी जैसे ही कह सकते हो पीसी भी करवा सकते हैं वो उनके ऊपर है देखो कौन सा करवाते हैं क्योंकि वेन्यू के हिसाब से ना पीसी थोड़ा दूर पड़ जाना है पीसी के पास 2-3 होटल हैं और वेन्यू के पास 2-3 होटल हैं जो कि बहुत अच्छे हैं और पीसी जैसे ही हैं लग्जरी पीएमजी पार्क के ऑफलाइन पीएमजी पार्क के ऑफलाइन इवेंट में जाओगे यस इंशाल्लाह ब्रो पीसी इज कंसीडर मोर रिलायबल इसलिए यस ब्रो यस लेकिन ना जो उनको ट्रांसपोर्ट वगैरह का वो खर्चा पड़ जाना ना वो डॉग के नेड भैंस के तुम डॉग क्या कर रहे हैं यार टीटी वाले देख भाई किल लेने के चक्करों में आउट ऑफ जोन आए हैं उधर उनके खुद लग गए हैं
They are a force to be reckoned with, and your day of reckoning is potentially coming now. You've angered the beast. Nades uphill. Good tags from downrange as well.
I love to give. Up to give. टीम आ जाएगी 10 या 11 को
with a nade. It's a nice cast on it, but too shallow to impact on target.
Oh, nice one. अरे 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 बच गया बहुत प्यारी पोजीशन है जोर पे 7 किल डॉग के बैंस की तुम एक्सपो सेंटर में ना हाँ एक्सपो सेंटर वेन्यू है होटल की बात हो रही है ब्रो
it will make it slightly harder and at least keep the trio alive for right now.
I'm still unsure.
टाइम टू टाइम अपडेट देना
why
यार, अगर मैं गया तो
in
इंशाल्लाह
mid
जरूर
range are
दूंगा
some of
टाइम
the
टू टाइम
best
अपडेट.
made players in this lobby. Very surprising indeed, as Top does flush that one out, up to 12 eliminations for Aurora. Though SSE, we keep talking about
Aurora उस मैच में मारी जिस मैच में किसी की किल नहीं है.
They didn't shift since Circle 1, Jackie. They have yet to move an inch since that Phase 1 did pop in this game on Miramar. So a crazy, crazy Circle luck. Will it reward them with a chicken dinner, though? We'll have to wait and see. It's Prepod from DG77 still there with his teammate Freezer. Two of the main heavy fraggers of this roster. Behind these rocks, yet to be spotted by anyone, I do believe. But yeah, if TT Project here had still a full squad, Jackie, they could easily...
इंशाल्लाह अच्छा होगा, अच्छा होगा.
Now down to a duo, and the thing is also, Aurora, know you're there. They're just
मैं रहता हूँ लाहौर में.
deeper in the play zone and just possibly hold off the entirety
Doc
of the
and
players.
top.
So, as of right now, Aurora subverting expectations.
टीटी ने बहुत बड़ी गलती की है, बहुत बड़ी गलती की है यार.
They could be in a spot to get themselves a big point earner on this one. Be a great way to do it as well this late into the day in the third match.
यार फ्लैटी होटल का सर, फ्लैटी होटल अच्छा लेकिन दूर है ब्रो, वेन्यू के हिसाब से दूर है ये. पीसी फ्लैटी सारे होटल दूर हैं. जितना ट्रांसपोर्ट के ऊपर खर्चा पड़ जाना ना, इससे अच्छा वो पास कोई अच्छा लग्जरी होटल करवा लें.
Put some pressure back on as well. Meanwhile, Prepod keeping his nose clean and out of trouble. SSE off in the distance. They've been up to their old
12 kill हैं. टीटी
waiting, but Doc always fancies a fight. He gets the read out there. 70 to his name, but that's
वालेकुम अस्सलाम ब्रो, वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम. जो भी स्ट्रीम पे आ रहे हैं स्ट्रीम पर लाइक कर दो यार प्लीज. 31 रह गए बस. ये टॉप क्या, ये किस तरह इन्होंने पोजीशंस ली हुई है, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा यार.
I mean, they're going to be in the blue very soon, so this is going to be possible. At this point, maybe just...
एक पीछे है, दो आगे हैं, और नाइस टॉप 14 किल हो गए हैं. ये कैसी इन्हें स्प्लिट लिया? टॉप अरोरा के दो प्लेयर सेंटर में हैं, दो राइट पे हैं. अरे नहीं लड़के, नहीं 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 नहीं.
Actually going to get mollied on out by a member of SSE. They are in nade range, you've got to be careful. They might still be able to get the reset.
अरे नाइस वन ज़ोले, बहुत प्यारा.
Mate, Zol so far today has been the off-angle master. He's been keeping everyone guessing in terms of his placement and positioning, and it's been working well with some very crisp shots.
होटल कहाँ पे है जहाँ PMGO होना?
Like you say, though, of course, going down.
होटल नहीं, वो वेन्यू है.
Limited in terms of firepower.
स्केड्यूल कब अनाउंस होगा? स्केड्यूल तो अनाउंस है 14 से लेकर 17 को मैचेस हैं. जो मैचेस स्केड्यूल है वो अभी तक नहीं आया. कितनी टीम यार यहाँ से करेंगी टॉप 4 टीम्स PMGO मेन इवेंट. आई एम फ्रॉम लाहौर पाकिस्तान ब्रो.
Ooh, near shots.
Arre.
Hey Bell, but he exposes himself. Estes with a shot towards the rear, just as Freezer engages as well. So DG77 with a trade. Everyone picking each other off right now.
अरे ज़ोल भी गया.
Actually, you know what?
कितने किल करके गए? 13 किल करके गए हैं फिर भी. जी यार.
TGM, it enables Prepod and Freezer to play this ridge to its full potential, and because of that, they got access to the rock now. Actually, also got himself an M79, so he's got a little bit of an extra smoke grenade launcher to work with. It's a 2v4.
EECA कहाँ हो रहा है? ये हो रहा है काज़ाकिस्तान में.
It's going to be on the previous location of Ziolan top.
टॉप 3 जाएगी 4 ने. PMGO ECCA की टॉप 4 ने जाना ब्रो.
Keep in mind, SSC got a lot of eliminations this game, but they couldn't get access to the death crates, meaning they might be very low when it comes to utility.
मेरा रियल नेम है मोहम्मद मुनीब.
Even maybe ammo, as they were spraying quite a lot in this game.
जज़ाकल्लाह फॉर द सब्सक्राइब.
Also, last clip on his QBZ, so you got to be a little bit careful. But he does get
PMGO ECCA में ना टॉप 4 ने क्वालिफाई करना.
To work with, the SSC going to go
for ओहो डजिस्टिन. अगर रजिस्टर ने ये मार दिया ना इसका. नेड आ गया.
That's massive. Great play. You could see the intrigue, the eyes lighting up from pre-pod. Take the fight straight to them with the DBS. Freezer. Can he win this off the skin of his own back? It's a good engage, but it's not enough up close and personal.
इसके फाइनल्स हैं 8 and 10th मई को 8 मई से स्टार्ट होंगे. Raw Soldiers ले गए यार जिस.
The third party masters become the winning article.
What a game from Star Soldiers, epic, able to really hold a strong.
Boys, फटाफट यार 30 सब्सक्राइबर रह गए हैं.
There weren't many teams looking to crash their location, so they just held on to their.
Only 30 सब्सक्राइबर.
उनके
मैचेस का भी स्केड्यूल नहीं आया यार.
They held on to until the very finishing moments of this game, which is always.
PMGO मीना का भी ना स्केड्यूल नहीं आया.
They could heavily impact these ending moments in these matches. So really strong game here. A team that was looking to third parties so many times in the past on Rondo and Arangle, and here just able to.
क्योंकि उनके PMNC मीना प्लेन्स चल रहे हैं तो जैसे वेंड होगा उसके बाद स्केड्यूल आएगा.
So yeah, SSE not to be overlooked here. Could be a contender for our top.
मीना के 7 दिन के मैचेस हैं.
So, mate, I think again this is one now where everyone in the lobby needs to be very aware of them and actively trying to stop them.
By BMPS cover करोगे. I'm trying bro, I'm trying to cover everything.
Some of the best in the business as well.
जितना possible हो रहा है मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ.
I did love the heads-up call though that we saw. This fight right here, right? Pre-pod, wide swing with that DBS. Maybe there's a timeline there. He gets that shot off. You would dodge the nade because he hadn't gone back into cover just as it was pluming. Ooh, the different timeline we could have been living in.
Free Fire की watch party करेंगे ये matches के बाद PMGO.
Star Soldiers X Epic that claim that one. Here's the team stats breakdown.
FF start हो गया.
Really strong conversion rate from Elicio. Just over 500 damage, able to get 5 eliminations. So every knock he was able to find, he was able to pretty much instantly convert it into eliminations. So good presence from, again, our OG Western European back-to-back MVP in the PMPL days. This guy, it feels so weird to see him do well in a tournament like this. It's really taken me back to like the early 2020, 2021 vibes. So good on Elicio to step up. But yeah, every member, Mano in particular, had some good plays with that utility. And especially the Molotov. I don't know what you think about it, Jackie. The play of Aurora sending it on the center of the field that is in nade range of SSC, I think was a slight fumble on their part. I think maybe they had a better opportunity to crash onto SSC or maybe crash onto DG77 over to the east. But they tried to survive in the center. I think they had maybe better options available for them.
Yeah, it felt almost like a sort of scatter moment if the pressure's hitting you a little bit and you've kind of just gone for whatever option first came to mind rather than sort of taking a bit of a slower approach to it, right? But I suppose that's kind of the vibe we were getting out of that Miramar towards the sort of final sort of 6 to 10 minutes there. It was a lot more sort of forced fights on you where a lot of teams were sort of just thrown into the carnage and had to roll with the punches, I suppose. But yeah, hell of a game overall from some of our teams. A lot more explosive towards the tail end there. A lot of infighting, a lot of crazy crashes that were coming through as well. So good to see. Here's your overall match stats on that one as well. And that's right, everyone. That is game 3 that's now under our belt. Meaning, of course, there's only 2 more games left to go today. Following this, we are going to be getting another Miramar. So don't worry. If you enjoyed that, there'll be more of it. Our winning team, of course, let's give them their flowers in terms of the MVP that is selected. And it makes sense Elicio was playing a blinder in terms of some of the individual moments. You were highlighting him there as well, Max.
Yeah, an absolute OG when it comes to this esports scene. And yeah, good to see him able to get himself so much damage done. Again, though, you're looking at the healing done. It is insanely...
5 to 7 top qualifiers and BMPS के. Okay. BMPS I think watch party नहीं करने देंगे. वो strike दे देंगे otherwise. Okay, Duke. 7 kill, top 4 kill, जो 3 kill, Kinu 4 kill. Elicio MVP 5 kill. क्या बात.
Remaining in control of that position, zoning teams away, demanding respect, and they were doing just that. Every team that attempted to get even just remotely close were all.
मेरे साथ में कैलिब्रेशन मैचेस होंगे प्राइस फुल ही इतना कम है जी. नो कैलिब्रेशन मैचेस तब होते हैं जब 16 से ज़्यादा टीमें होती हैं. वहाँ है 20 टीमें तो कैलिब्रेशन मैचेस का क्या करना करवा कर. वहाँ ना ग्रुप होने हैं 16 की 16 टीमें होनी हैं उन्होंने खेलना है.
For SSC moving forward, as Aurora will be claiming second position with 19 points. Those elims are through the bloody roof right now.
Yeah, they were absolutely giving it. That's kind of what I was thinking. You know, obviously, like we've said, right, the MVP is off the back of the winning team. But in terms of the biggest damage we were seeing on the server, you could see Doc was having a field day. Like, there was points where you're like, right, 7 of limbs? How many more is he going to get? Where's this going to go? But the entire team were just getting stuck in and really claiming an awful lot off the back of it. It's a big momentum on that one. Let's check out the overall rankings, though. Is there a shift in the standings? Okay, so as it stands right now, you've still got champions in dedicated first place with DG77 not moving from second, but SSE climbing up from fourth into third place, and Aurora rocketing up the standings there, Max, up 5 rankings into fourth place.
I mean, Aurora, someone needs to teach them what a placement point is, because right now they're just like, we're just going to focus on the eliminations. They got 27 elims compared to the 5 placement points. Again, giving me kind of echoes of IH.
एक वीडियो हो जाए आपकी प्रेडिक्शन टॉप 3 को राउंड और इसे ओके ब्रो इंशाल्लाह कोशिश करूंगा मैं बनाऊं और रैंकिंग में अभी भी चैंपियंस टॉप पे जा रही है 3 मैचेस हो चुके हैं मसला ये है मैचेस का भी साल लिखना पड़ेगा कि कितने मैचेस किस किस टीम ने खेलने हैं
Jackie, all the teams that are currently here are involved in some way, shape or form in hot drops. So you know what? I'm not going to say I was right, but those hot drops are not working out for those teams.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say it, mate. But honestly, you're not wrong. That's the thing. Fundamentally, you're not wrong, right? They have kind of been cursed with either the unlucky stick of just forced to fight for it or willingly running into those hot drops when you could have turned tail. You could have bailed on it. Instead, they didn't cut their losses, and this is what it's resulting in. No real point earners for a lot of those squads being forced down towards the bottom end on day one. It might only be day one, but these things go by very quick, mate. And if they're not able to get themselves into a position to start to find some points here or there, because it's not that big of a barrier even, right? You're looking towards sort of mid of the pack portion right now to at least give yourself a life raft, an opportunity, right, as we go through the rest of the days. Just a couple games, that's all we need to see. But that is a story for another time. We'll be back in with Miramar after the break, so keep it locked for now and join us in a couple minutes' time, esports fans, as the fight will continue. Start the wall!
और फिर ब्रेक हो गई है 9 मिनट 2 मैचेस रह गए हैं 4th एंड 5th तब तक हम वो देख लें अपना FF के मैचेस देख लें FF this let's see yeah
अब बुलाते हैं उस टीम को जो पाकिस्तान में इंटरनेशनल लॉबीज का सबसे ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस अपने पास रखती है और हमेशा ही लाइन इवेंट्स में कोई न्यू सरप्राइज पैकेज लेकर आती है लेट्स वेलकम
ये है तकरीबन 7-8 दिनों का 8 से 10 दिन का इवेंट है 7 मिनट का वहाँ टाइम आया हुआ अभी के लिए एक टीम ने बॉयज इधर से जाना है फ्री फायर वर्ल्ड सीरीज में
अब बुलाते हैं उस टीम को जिनकी परफॉर्मेंस प्लेयर शफलिंग की वजह से डगमगाई जरूर लेकिन अब अपनी फाइनल पोल लाइनअप के साथ ये टीम दिन ब दिन इंप्रूव करती जा रही है और फ्री फायर वर्ल्ड सीरीज पाकिस्तान स्प्रिंग 2026 ग्रुप स्टेजेस को इन्होंने टॉप 2 पे एंड किया है वी हैव टीम रिजरेक्शन एक्स eSports
एक्शन पहले हॉटशॉट ई स्पोर्ट में था ना।
वो प्लेयर्स जिनका नाम कहीं गायब था, लेकिन अब ये टीम हमें हर इवेंट के फाइनल्स में एक अच्छी स्टैंडिंग पे देखने को मिलती है और अब ये ग्रुप स्टेजेस के एमवीपी के साथ इस फाइनल को विन करने के लिए भी बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट है। वी हैव टीम 07।
हॉटशॉट से बिगेस्ट राइवल ओके। King 07
एक टीम जिसका हर प्लेयर अपने आप में एक काबिलियत रखता है, वो टीम जिसने एक बड़े ब्रेक के बावजूद भी एक सॉलिड कमबैक करके दिखाया और आज के फाइनल्स के लिए इस टीम का हर प्लेयर बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट है। लेट्स वेलकम टीम खान ऑफिशियल।
मुझे लगा नहीं था करना।
वो टीम जिसने अपने एग्रेशन से हमारी एलीट टीम्स तक को डिफेंसिव होने पे मजबूर कर दिया, एक ऐसी अंडरडॉग टीम जिसने एलीट्स के दरमियान अपना डर बनाया। यस, वी हैव टीम बैक।
ना ये एलसीडी वाला सीन क्या बड़ा मजे का। सीटिंग वगैरह ना देखो चेंज हो रही है, डिस्प्ले वगैरह ये और कोई भी इतना लाइक जो कैमरा मैन वगैरह परे हैं लेकिन वो स्टेज के ऊपर नहीं जा रहे, उधर से दूर से शूट ले रहे।
गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान to Prime Minister, Youth Program and Tap Mat and Tap Shop as well, क्योंकि उन्होंने ही इस इवेंट को पॉसिबल बनाया है। और साथ ही मैं आपको ये बताता चलूं गाइस कि आज जो ये 12 टीम्स आप देख रहे हैं, इन्होंने एक लंबा सफर तय किया है इन गेम क्वालिफायर्स,
ये कराची में हो रहा है, पाकिस्तान
और फिर
कराची में।
आज का ये फाइनल भी उसी सफर का हिस्सा बन रहा है। अब ये टीम्स
ब्रो पीएमएनसी
ये हम
ओ वर्ल्ड सीरीज
में जान लेंगे।
दोनों डिफरेंट हैं।
वक्त नहीं लगेगा गाइस ये जानने में कि आज का जो स्टार्ट हो रहा है या टीम्स की परफॉर्मेंस जो है वो कैसी रहने वाली है। मेरा ख्याल है कि ज्यादा एक जो परफॉर्मेंस की हम बात ही कर रहे हैं, उसमें अंडरडॉग्स ने एक बहुत बड़ा किरदार इस इवेंट में अदा किया है, इस कंपटीशन को मजीद मजेदार बना के। मेरा ख्याल है हम अपने कास्टर्स की तरफ चलते हैं, जानते हैं और फिर कुछ ही लम्हात में गाइस आप लोगों को ये 12 टीम्स इन बैटलफील्ड एक्शन में देखने को मिलेंगी। तो सिट टाइट एंड एंजॉय द गेम। ओवर टू यू कास्टर्स।
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, FIFA World Series 2026 Springs Pakistan Qualifiers के ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में आप सबको तहे दिल से खुश आमदीद। प्रेजेंटेड बाय टैप शॉप, पावर्ड बाय टैपमेट, और इसके पार्टनर्स हैं कनेक्टिविटी पार्टनर, और साथ साथ में मल्टीनेट की अगर हम बात करें वो भी हमारे साथ।
क्या लगता है पीएमजी अच्छा होगा? नहीं बहुत अच्छा होगा, बहुत अच्छा होगा।
मिनिस्टर्स यूथ प्रोग्राम
बहुत अच्छा होगा।
पाकिस्तान, मैं हूं आपका सुलेमान सल्लू आफरीदी और मेरे साथ मौजूद रहेंगे और रहते भी हैं हमजा फारूकी। अस्सलाम वालेकुम हमजा, कैसे आप? ठीक ठाक है, खैरियत से हैं?
बिल्कुल, उम्मीद करूंगा ठीक ठाक आप भी खैर खैरियत से होंगे। देखने वाले तमाम ही व्यूअर्स शानदार होंगे जी। आ चुके हैं एक ऐसे मैदान के साथ जिसका सभी को था इंतजार, ग्रैंड फाइनल्स ऑफ फ्री फायर वर्ल्ड सीरीज पाकिस्तान स्प्रिंग 2026 के आज मैचेस खेले जा रहे हैं। सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग बात यह है कि ये तमाम मैचेस जो खेले जाएंगे
ये 2 दिन का 3 दिन का बॉयज
फॉर्मेट की बेस पे देखने को मिलने वाले हैं। मतलब कि कौन सी टीम पहले चैंपियन रश को अपने एक्टिवेट करते हुए दिखाई दी जाएगी और कौन सी टीम है जो एक्टिवेट होने के बाद दूसरी टीम्स के रास्तों का कांटा बनेगी।
बिल्कुल, जिस तरह आपने चैंपियन रश की बात करी है, इसी चैंपियन रश के साथ
अच्छा ये चैंपियन है वही है हमारा जो पबजी में वो होता है स्मैश रूल।
टारगेट है फर्स्ट मैच में, अगर हो सकता है पॉसिबल, वैसे तो होगा नहीं, लेकिन सेकंड मैच में भी हो सकता है, थर्ड मैच में भी हो सकता है। हमने ज्यादातर टीम्स लोकल टूर्नामेंट्स में भी देखी जो कि 2 मैचेस में और 3 मैचेस में भी।
अच्छा पॉइंट, अच्छा 80 पॉइंट का थ्रेशोल्ड है, उसके बाद जिस टीम ने चिकन निकाले वो टीम चैंपियन बन जाएगी। 80 पॉइंट्स या हमारा स्टार्टिंग में ये आया था, लेकिन उसके बाद उन्होंने कह देता है #1 डे 1 के जो पॉइंट्स होंगे ना उसके पॉइंट से 10 पॉइंट्स आगे का रखिए, चिकन जो भी निकालेगा वो चैंपियन बनेगी।
रश फॉर्मेट जो है वो आपका एक्टिवेट हो जाएगा, बट यहाँ ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। सेकंड मैच हो, थर्ड मैच हो, जैसी 80 पॉइंट्स यहाँ पे एक
लास्ट में मैं रजिस्टर नहीं उठाया था,
कंप्लीट हो जाएगा 80 पॉइंट्स के साथ।
ओ सोल्जर्स ने उठाया था, स्टार सोल्जर्स ने।
एक पूया के फ्रेम के साथ एक चैंपियन बनने के लिए आप तैयार रहेंगे। जस्ट लाइक डाउडी ने जिस तरह से बात करी है कि वक्त आ चुका है,
अच्छा 12 9 8 7 6 5 4
और ये वाकई में इंतजार की घड़ियां खत्म हो जाती है और आज की रात, आज की शाम बनेगी
टोटल एलिमिनेशंस रैंकिंग लास्ट में।
अच्छा
ट्राई ब्रेकर रूल्स है, नंबर ऑफ बोया, फिर है टोटल एलिमिनेशन, फिर है रैंकिंग लास्ट मैच। हमारा भी ऑलमोस्ट इतना ऐसा ही होता है, पहले चिकन देखते हैं, फिर एलिमिनेशन देखते हैं, फिर लास्ट मैच में रैंक देखते हैं।
0-0 के साथ, यानी कि 11 और 12 की जो स्टैंडिंग्स रहेगी वो 0 पॉइंट के साथ। अगर उनके पास किल्स हुए 1 या 2 हुए या 3 हुए तो अपने साथ 3 पॉइंट्स या 2 पॉइंट्स या 1 पॉइंट किल के साथ ही वो अपने साथ ऐड कर जाएंगे। उसके साथ भी अगर कुछ पॉइंट्स अगर बराबर रहे, फर्स्ट या सेकंड नंबर की जो टीम होगी या थर्ड नंबर की, फोर्थ नंबर की टीम होगी, अपनी स्टैंडिंग सेकंड नंबर पे।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम, मैं ठीक ठाक बॉयज, आप कैसे हो?
अगर आप बात करिए सारे किल्स के ऊपर भी बात जाएगी, बट लास्ट मैच की जो रैंकिंग होगी उसी में पता चल जाएगा कौन सी टीम फर्स्ट पे रहेगी और जो सेकंड पे होगी वो फर्स्ट पे आ सकती है कि नहीं आ सकती। ग्रैंड फाइनल्स
2 मैचेस बड़े हैं, ठीक है। वालेकुम अस्सलाम, मैं ठीक ठाक, आप कैसे हो ब्रो? यार ये फ्री फायर का एनसी नहीं कह सकते, ये फ्री फायर का यहाँ से ना EWC की स्लॉट जानी, जैसे हमारा PMG साउथ एशिया के बाद PMG मेन इवेंट से स्लॉट जानी है, इनकी यहाँ से स्लॉट जानी है, तो ये बड़ा वर्थ इट वाला टूर्नामेंट है फ्री फायर कम्युनिटी के लिए ना। टॉप 1 जो भी टीम होगी वो इसको वर्ल्ड कप जाएगी
और उसमें वो टीम बुया ले जाती है 10 मैचेस तक। अगर ऐसा हुआ, वैसे ज्यादातर हम यही देखते हैं 7वें 8वें मैच में और 10 लास्ट मैच तक भी ये बात जाती है, बट ये है कि अगर कोई टीम
PMG में स्मैश मुझे नहीं लगता होगा
जो एलिजिबल होगी अपने पॉइंट्स के साथ ही, वो टीम यानी कि जो एक
टोटल 10 मैचेस हैं,
एलिजिबल ना भी हो 80 पॉइंट्स
टुडे स्केड्यूल 10 मैचेस आज खेलने हैं,
जो नंबर 1 पे
इतने मैचेस
ओवरऑल स्टैंडिंग्स जो के फर्स्ट पे रहेगी वो चैंपियन बन जाएगी। हमारे साथ फर्स्ट नंबर की टीम वो चैंपियन बन जाएगी।
अच्छा 7:38 पे 38 पे स्टार्ट होगा, 12 बजे तक 1 2 7 8 9 10 11
कलहारी मैप
12
मैच का आगाज
5 घंटे,
उसके बाद सेकंड, फिर गैट्री, थर्ड
यस फ्री फायर WC ब्रो।
हम बात करें सुलहारा और फिफ्थ
ये फिर टाइम में ऊपर कर दिया इन्होंने, हन्नों
फिर से कलहारी मैप देखने को मिलेगा।
यार मजे का रहना वो भी कराची में भाई, हमारा दिल हो नहीं इंशाल्लाह अच्छा होगा ब्रो, अच्छा होगा, टेंशन क्यों ले रहे हो यार?
10 मैचों का
टेंशन क्यों ले रहे हो?
अब हमें पता नहीं सल्लू के ये कितने मैचेस में आज का फाइनल कंप्लीट होने वाला। एग्जैक्टली 10 होते हैं, 5 होते हैं, 6 होते हैं, 4 होते हैं, कितने
वैसे
होते
ना
हैं
एक पिक्चर तो बनती है यार
मालूम
इनकी,
नहीं है। तो मैं अपनी ऑडियंस से भी ये राय जानना चाहूंगा कि उनको
एक
क्या
पिक्चर
लगता
तो
है
बनती है यार पोस्ट
जो
करने के लिए।
मैचेस है ये पूरे 10 मैचेस हो पाएंगे, क्योंकि ग्रुप स्टेजेस के कॉम्पिटिशंस को देख के तो ये पता चल रहा है, क्योंकि जब ग्रुप स्टेजेस का आगाज हुआ था आर्गॉन के बूया से हुआ था, जबकि सबकी तवक्को में ये था कि टोटल विनर्स, हॉटशॉट, रिजरेक्शंस, डीमन स्प्राइट, ये इलीट टीम्स कुछ करते हुए दिखाई दी जाएंगी, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हुआ है, क्योंकि पूरे ग्रुप स्टेजेस में यंगस्टर्स का जितना बड़ा एक कह सकते हैं कि एक टीम के लिए परफॉर्मेंस देना है अपनी, जैसे कि छोटू हो गया, जिस तरीके से दादा हो गए, और भी कई प्लेयर्स हैं जिन्होंने जो है अपने आप को मनवाया ग्रुप स्टेजेस में। और अभी के लिए हमने जो कि एक देखा था कि एक इंटरव्यू में जो है छोटू का जब डाउटी ले रहे थे तो उन्होंने ये बात कही थी कि ग्रुप स्टेजेस में मैं कहीं पे भी किसी टीम से नहीं डरा हूं, ना कि मेरी टीम डरी है, और हमने प्रॉपर एक कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ अपने ग्रुप स्टेजेस को प्ले किया है। तो आप जब डाउडी ने पूछा कि ग्रैंड फाइनल में कोई ऐसी टीम है जो कि आपको रोक सकती है या आपके लिए चौक कर सकती है, उनका कहना था नहीं। उनका कहना था नहीं। तो खूबसूरत स्टेटमेंट है उनकी जानिब से, क्योंकि ग्रुप स्टेजेस के MVP भी हैं, तो ये कॉन्फिडेंस उनके लिए आज के लिए बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है।
और साथ साथ में जिस तरह से आपने बात करी है के राफे, वो कहते हैं कि कौन सी टीम आपके लिए इजी पीजी पीस ऑफ केक है, वो है IBAN eSports। ये भी एक स्टेटमेंट रही है राफे की तरफ से। लेट्स सी क्या होता है। सब अपनी अपनी उम्मीदों के साथ इस मैदान में उतरे हैं। 12 की 12 टीम जिस उम्मीद के साथ कि इस फ्री फायर वर्ल्ड सीरीज 2026 इस स्प्रिंग पाकिस्तान क्वालिफायर्स के ग्रैंड फाइनल्स के बाद चैंपियन बनने के बाद वो कौन सी टीम होगी जो सऊदी अरेबिया रियाद में जो वर्ल्ड कप eSports वर्ल्ड कप होने जा रहा है 2026, उसमें पाकिस्तान को रिप्रेजेंट करेगी। आज ये फैसला हो जाएगा। फैसले की घड़ी आ चुकी है, लेकिन बस कुछ ही देर है, कुछ ही लम्हा है। वो वक्त, वो लम्हा, वो यहाँ पे जो हिस्ट्री है, वो कौन सी टीम इतिहास के पन्नों पे अपना नाम लिखेगी।
और जो भी स्ट्रीम पे नहीं आ रहे स्ट्रीम को लाइक करो यार फटाफट से।
मौजूद है, लीजिए हम बात ही कर रहे थे। अफलातून के स्टैट्स भी यहाँ पे आ चुके हैं। एलिमिनेशंस 80, डैमेज 59, 403 के साथ ही एसिस्ट की अगर बात 90 और नॉकडाउन्स की अगर हम बात करें 108 100, यानी कि सेंचुरी नॉकडाउन्स में। स्नाइपर है ना, दूर से करे तो क्या करे, नॉक्स तो दिला रहे हैं, बट वही वाली बात है, कभी कभी आप एक नॉक दिला देते हैं, बट आईजीएल साथ में ही है, हंटर है, हंटिंग पर जब निकलते हैं तो उनके साथ जो रशर है, जो प्रिंस है, वो भी यही कहते हैं कि कप्तान आपने आवाज दे दी है तो चलें, क्यों ना आपको कर दिखाएं। और यहाँ पे हमारे साथ उसमें मिड रेंज में अगर हम देखें बहुत तगड़ी एक्यूरेसी रखने वाले समी, टोटल विनर्स यहाँ पे कंप्लीट है। और कंपैरिजन स्टैट्स की अगर हम बात करें यहाँ पे फ्रॉम ग्रुप स्टेजेस, जो कि टोटल विनर्स वर्सेस रेजरेक्शन,
बिल्कुल 48 समथिंग एलिमिनेशंस का जो है यहाँ पे डिफरेंस हमें देखने को मिलते हुए दिखाई दिया जा रहा है, जिसमें अगर आप डैमेज को भी देखें, टोटल विनर्स ऑब्वियसली जो कि टॉप 1 पे जो है उन्होंने इख्तिताम किया है। नॉकडाउन्स में भी काफी फर्क आ जाता है। रिवाइवल्स में अगर देखा जाए तो सिर्फ 5 का फर्क है। रिजरेक्शन eSports ने अपनी पोजीशंस के हिसाब से जैसे कि हमने देख रहे हैं कि
में हर गेम का एडब्ल्यूसी रियाद में, यस ब्रो, यस रियाद में होना है हर किसी का।
लेकिन वही बात आ जाती है कि टॉप 1 और फिर आप जिस स्पॉट पे मौजूद है,
वर्ल्ड कप हो ही रियाद में रहा, तो इसलिए वो रियाद में होगा ना।
ने ग्रुप स्टेजेस को टॉप पे एंड किया है, और रिजरेक्शन eSports का हेड टू हेड अगर देखा जाए तो फर्क जरूर दिखाई दिया जा रहा है, लेकिन ये फर्क आज के लिए कोई मायने नहीं रखता है, क्योंकि बिल्कुल शुरू से स्टार्ट है, बिल्कुल एक ग्रैंड फाइनल्स के मैचेस हैं। एक फर्स्ट गेम से दोनों टीम्स प्ले कर रही हैं, फर्स्ट मैच से दोनों टीम्स के स्टैट्स देखे जाएंगे कि कहां पे, क्योंकि एक बड़ा कंपेटिटर है रिजरेक्शन eSports टोटल विनर्स के लिए। क्यों ये बात कर रहा हूं, क्योंकि टीम टोटल विनर्स eSports और रिजरेक्शंस की एक अलग ही राइवलरी हमने ग्रुप स्टेजेस में देखी है, जो कि अक्सरियत हमें बरमूदा मैप में देखने को मिली है, लेकिन पुरगेटरी, कलाहारी। तो मैं ये जानना चाहूंगा सलू, ये जो कलाहारी मैच से आगाज है, रिजरेक्शन eSports के लिए नंबर ऑफ चांसेस, टोटल विनर्स eSports के लिए भी नंबर ऑफ चांसेस, बट थर्ड वन को हम भूल रहे हैं, हॉट शॉट eSports, जिन्होंने एक वक्तों में अपना एक इस मैप के अंदर ऑरा जमाते हुए रखते हुए दिखाई दिए गए थे।
आपने बिल्कुल सही बात करी। परसेंटेज थी टीम हॉट शॉट की, बट वो छीन ले गई है टीम रिजरेक्शन की। परसेंटेज ज्यादा है, पर इस हॉट शॉट की बात करें, ठीक है, एक लाइन में फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड की स्टैंडिंग तो होती है। यहाँ पे रैंकिंग इसलिए भी दी जाती है कि कहीं ना कहीं ये रैंकिंग आपसे चली जाए। फर्स्ट पे है तो आप सेकंड पे आ जाएंगे, सेकंड पे तो थर्ड पे आ जाएंगे, थर्ड नंबर की जो टीम है वो फर्स्ट पे आ जाएगी। तो इस तरीके के लम्हात, इस तरह के
मैच स्टार्ट मैच स्टार्ट बॉयज, मैच स्टार्ट हो चुका है। दुनिया
stands for hot droppy. They're not going to be playing this game though, so they're going to be out for the count. They'll be joining us tomorrow for day 2 of knockout stage. As this playing path also not too bad, maybe a little bit rough for some of the western teams that like to go around El Pozo, Monte Nuevo, etc, etc. Otherwise, Torre Almada down to Partona. Again, I would love to see some teams kind of take up this location, Partona, set up shop over there. Many strong teams have set up shop in those locations in the past. It's got some really good ridges, a lot also of split buildings and mini compounds, so you can easily get a lot of loot, and especially a lot of car spawn. So if you really want to get some very specific car spawn, go down there, you will be a-okay. Looking at the map, we are seeing then DG77 going in good old Picado, but again, because of the group rotation, their main competition, right, might not be fully involved. Actually, no, what am I saying? Mad Esports are in Group A. No, so they're still playing. So are we going to see Mad go for it once again? I'm looking at the map. I don't see them yet. Oh, no, Mad went for El Azahar. Okay, thumbs up. Mad changed things up. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mad. No hot drop in good old Picado this time around. That is a big positive in my eyes.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. They really have been kind of, he basically battled time and time again, mostly through their own fault of willing to go for it. So this it shows signs of progress and at least being able to keep your head above water, self-preservation and all that. If you're not consistently going for these hot drops, it's a better adjustment. So we'll see how that comes to the standings at the end of this one, if they're able to actually get a few points on the board, and what our other teams that are coming in are going to be looking like in terms of their performance as well. We got some good names as well that are at least being thrown into their lobby. I think on average, if you're kind of thinking about the sort of skill level that it really is viable from Group E, right? There's a lot of talent there that we hadn't seen play. Like Vicious were looking very good, unsurprisingly so. It makes sense. Back in calibration, they had some great showing, so I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. 777 as well, having some firepower that could actually bring a bit of spice to this lobby. And Amex, for me, I think it'd be very fun, mate. I think it'd be nice to see what they're showing up with. It feels like at times you either get two sides of the coin. Either it's quiet or it is incredibly aggro and they will have the most elims in the lobby somehow.
I mean, the thing is, when you're looking at Amix, it's not just the roster that's looking really strong, despite actually we do have a little bit of a hot drop happening in Truck Stop. Actually, I didn't see it happening because the team's color is so similar. So actually, no,
I thought it was just one big squad.
Yeah, I was like, they have 8 players on the team. Yeah. It was like, oh, that's a little bit too much. Is this a new game mode I didn't know of? No, he's going to have a little bit of a hot drop in Truck Stop, it seems. You do have a decent amount of car spawns if you want, so they can leave this vicinity very quickly if they want. So we do have probably a reset. Not sure what's happening there. But also, yeah, looking at Amix, the roster's looking really strong, but on the background here, Jackie, we do have players such as Old Boy and
chalo yaar, focus.
Global player in the past, right? He's coaching for the team, and Purple also back in the day was part of Virtus Pro when the org joined PUBG Mobile Esport. So they had a lot of really knowledgeable people in the background setting up the team for success. Though success is not what Tiger is going to encounter this game, as he is going to get swiftly eliminated from this game by the opposition of KZ Esports. Not the best way to go. Metacore got to be cautious though. Decent angle behind this window. Got a little bit of extra elevation. But yeah, to wrap up my point, Amix, they're a cool team. Pay attention to them because they could go hard in today's 2 matches.
Oh yeah, hit them with the Waka Flocka maneuvers. Go hard in the paint. We'll see if that's what they're going to be pulling out today. I'd like to see it, mate. Again, they're an impressive team, right? We like to rally behind them if they do show us some of that confidence as well, because they're explosive, they're fun to watch.
Evo Japan kya hai? Evo Japan kya hai? Evo Japan is a taken tournament, bro. हर साल होता है. इसके जो फाइनल टॉप 8 में चले गए हैं हमारे 3 पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर्स हैं, उनके कल मैचेस होंगे.
Playing with that semblance of a strategic game with good macro.
तो बाद 10वें मैचेस हैं उनके.
Mate, he was running as well. Full sprint. Instantly whips it out, hits the shot. Okay, yeah, all right. Well, there you go, Max. That's just a nice shot.
Just pause in the open, spray down with the M249. The normally.
भाई जो भी स्ट्रीम पे न्यू आ रहे हैं प्लीज स्ट्रीम को लाइक कर दो.
No idea because he was running out in the open and yet Cyrex
गुस्सा देगा, गुस्सा देखो.
Disrespect going for the BM, shooting his death crate, making sure that they don't commit to another hot drop over here. So far, it's heavily in favor of KZ Esports. The nade though is looking good, almost getting the double knock off the back of that. Again, gotta be careful. We'll be able to crawl back to safety and get rezzed up by his teammate of Jakura. Though Moxie also getting knocked. You gotta be careful. Grills though, I would say sure you got a decent ridge to work with. I don't know why he's pushing forward here. You might want to try and leave this area entirely. It's just not worth it. This teammate is just going to get picked up, and oh my goodness, the spray's coming on through. KZ mean business.
Taken 3 खेलते थे हम.
Easy points locked down by this team.
Yes bro, 3 पाकिस्तानी हैं. एक पाकिस्तानी तो आपस में लड़के लाइक बाहर हो गए हैं. आपस में खेल के ना लाइक एक ने बाहर होना था. 2 यार कम से कम 4 हो जाने थे, बस एक ऊपर नीचे हो गया. यहाँ से टॉप 4 ने क्वालिफाई होना है मेन इवेंट के लिए, लेकिन अभी के लिए ये चल रहा है नॉकआउट स्टेज। यहाँ से टॉप 4 जाएगी मेन और PMGO ECCA फाइनल्स, बॉटम 16 जाएगी लास्ट चांस में 16 का दोबारा मैच होंगे, 16 में से टॉप 12 जाएगी डायरेक्टली फाइनल्स में। नॉकआउट स्टेज से 4 टीमें, लास्ट चांस से 12 टीमें, 16 टीम्स का मैचेस होंगे, तो 16 में से टॉप 4 जाएंगी PMGO मेन इवेंट। आइट इस बार PMGC जा सकेगी या नहीं, लेट्स सी। देखो अगर मेहनत करेंगी तो जरूर जाएंगी। इस बार पाकिस्तान के PMGC पॉइंट्स भी एंड हो चुके हैं। जिस टीम ने भी जाना है उन्होंने क्वालिफाई होकर ही जाना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है।
And you've got some teams like Vicious, they're dead center. They've got a 2-2 split. Again, a team that I think a lot of people are expecting to be a favorite in this tournament for EECA. And they're very confident. Phase 1, going to hold the 2-2, wait for Circle 2. Based on whatever the Circle goes, they'll regroup as a full squad. So they should be looking very comfortable. Though, you know what, Jackie? I have a bit of a question for you because I like having your insight. It's fun casting with you these tournaments. And I want to know, back in Eastern Europe, I asked you which was your favorite player in that region. I want to know, do you have another favorite player going in the Eastern European Central Asia region that you're always excited?
आने वाला जो साउथ एशिया में है इसमें टॉप 2 वर्ल्ड कप में खेलेंगी। टॉप 2 नहीं खेलेंगी, आप यही समझ लो टॉप 2 खेलेंगी, लेकिन ना वो टॉप 2 पॉइंट्स की बेसिस में जाएंगी, रैंक की बेसिस से नहीं जाएंगी। जैसे फ्री फायर का लैंड भी एक्सपो में हो रहा है, नहीं वो कराची में हो रहा है, कराची में। या ब्रो ये सारा कुछ जो आप कुछ पूछ रहे हो ना, वो मैंने इंस्टाग्राम पे अपलोड किया, आप वहां से जाके चेकआउट कर सकते हो सब चीजें। जो स्लॉट्स है ना PMGO मेन इवेंट की, इंडोनेशिया आई थिंक 6 स्लॉट्स हैं। क्रिप्टो का ड्रीम पूरा होना चाहिए इंशाल्लाह यार।
But he never overcommits. He's taking peaks just for the sake of sort of being a presence. So he doesn't throw himself to the wind and go down, right? He's never a free eater.
इस मैच में सीव चैंपियन स्पोर्ट के 46 पॉइंट्स हैं। जी
For the crash, like Demo's there, so only one guy, sure. But anytime you peak, it feels like he's making a good show of being able to actually keep space.
अपने वाले से 3 टीमें पहले जाएंगी PMGO मेन इवेंट, फिर 3 में से 2 टीमें जाएंगी वर्ल्ड कप।
Impressive to watch for me. So I'd say regionally right now, he's been the more consistent.
तीन जैसे IC ने क्वालिफाई किया था वो सब देखा है, देखिए समझ नहीं। IC ने तो PMGC पॉइंट से क्वालिफाई किया था ना, इस बार PMGC पॉइंट्स नहीं है, इस बार आपको रैंक बेस पे क्वालिफाई करना पड़ेगा। इंशाल्लाह मजा आएगा, इंशाल्लाह अच्छा होगा स्टेज।
One PMGC, I think it was PMGC 2023 in Istanbul, a lot of people were saying, oh, the players that stepped up for that team was Alex, was Godless, was Zyol. But I think Demo kind of fits a very similar role to Reefus, for example, right? Which is maybe not the top frag of the team, but when he needs to step up to keep his team alive or even just do something as a solo, he can do exactly that. So actually Demo, I think, is a very, very good answer from your side. So I approve it. Thumbs up on that one.
Nice.
And actually, I'm thinking...
Got the Maxman sticker.
Yeah, you got it. But we're talking about, some big names like Demo's a big name.
फ्री फायर लगाओ यार, ये PMGO ये वाले 2 मैच रह गए, इसके बाद फ्री फायर का लगाते हो, इसके 10 मैचेस हैं, इसी होकर देखेंगे।
Theorize who it could be. Windy. Coney, I would say, would be the #1 contender for the Rookie Award because the guy came out of nowhere in 2026. He's like, no, this is my battlegrounds. And he's been absolutely shredding it. So really, Windy could be going the entire way if he keeps up these kind of numbers to be the rookie of this season in EECA.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. I completely mirror your sentiment on that one. I think, again, right, sure, it's only one day, but knowing what we know from what we saw back in the Club Open from this man, very talented. Seems like, honestly, I was kind of worried for him that maybe that would be a matter of rising tide. Is it going to get harder when he's playing against bigger names, potentially teams that he's, sort of like, oh, I've grown up watching you guys achieve greatness. Now I'm in the server against you. No, doesn't give a damn. No sweat, cold, just being able to play consistently good PUBG Mobile time and time again. If he
आपने पॉइंट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन समझाया था, उसमें जिसके ज़्यादा पॉइंट्स होंगे वो यस ब्रो।
He's looks really talented, mate. So I'd love to see it as well because it'd be one of those talents where you think.
हाँ मैं देखा, अभी हम फ्री फायर देख रहे थे। यस ब्रो, साउथ एशिया से जो भी पॉइंट्स पे ऊपर होगा 2 स्लॉट जाएंगे WC के लिए।
teams. Really, hey, keep an eye out because he's on currently an August team. Who knows, maybe in the future he could get picked up by some of the biggest squads in PUBG Mobile Esports currently. Looking at Destined to Rise though, taking
ऐसे एक टाइम पे हमारा फ्लैश होता था कि टीम से ओके
it seems like he's just going to get swarmed by these players. TGM, they mean business. They want to get those early eliminations if they can.
Oh, D2R.
It's not really worth it, but they know they have the man advantage, right? So they're just
nice.
like, why the hell not? Might as well send
नॉक कर दिया उसने. अरे क्या हो गया? फिटे यार घूम ही जा रहा है अंदर चला जा कम से कम.
It's going to be enough actually. Yes, okay. TGM able to find himself that extra point. So GG well played, and that is going to be D2R.
चला 40 points
early grave here on this second.
Simply PMGO एशिया में अच्छा खेलना पड़ेगा. और PMGO मेन इवेंट में भी. गोड गई. गोड 2 नॉक हो गए.
It's an isolated environment here. It's been a little bit rough. Similar things could be said right now though about what's happening to Goats. Lambs to the slaughter, it seems, for TT Project, as they've got complete open.
But जो भी stream पे नहीं वो आ रहे stream को like कर दो यार.
Wheels screeching to a halt, and 2 of the goats being removed very early. So that's not the.
Thank you so much for the subscribe to Netto, bro.
Again, you know the weird thing is, mate, Goat were one of those sides where I thought mentally coming into it before we had even seen recalibration, before we got into day 1 of knockouts. They would actually have potential viability to be contending for some top
player leave कर देते हैं और कम्युनिटी में ट्रेंडा खोल कर इधर. नो आइडिया ब्रो, ये तो i8 वाले खुद ही बता सकते हैं. या जो प्लेयर्स लीव करते हैं ये वो ही बता सकते हैं.
MUCBP was looking really good on that team. Ayato as well had some good consistency. But yeah, they've kind of been struggling a little bit. So a bit of a rough one. Let's see what DG77 have got for us though. Always a known quantity when it comes to showing us the good stuff. And they're going to get thrown into action here. Pre-pod in the back line with
Zadira.
Trying to pull up to close the gap.
MX भी ऊपर से आ रही, थर्ड पार्टी कर सकते हैं वो.
Third party from AMX, they're just
nice,
200 meters away from this fight. They hear the shots happening, but that's going to be DG77 winning the fight and also keeping every single member in a very healthy condition. So if you are AMX, maybe just don't go for it. And actually, as I say that, they're just going to keep on moving straight forward towards that circle of phase.
आपको नहीं लगता रुशान की जगह ज़ैफ़ा होना चाहिए था? कहाँ पे ज़ैफ़ा होना चाहिए था?
I don't know what what's happening here. Is like the Mongolian magnet. They just keep clashing in some way. These matches has been happening on Erangel and happening also here on good old Miramar.
खान ने जो बनाया, खान ने कौन सी टीम बनाई है? खान ने तो अभी टीम बनाई नहीं है. और एक टीम से सिर्फ 2 ही प्लेयर्स उठा सकते हैं, 2 से ज्यादा नहीं उठा सकते. पोर्टी कैसे क्वालिफाई करेगी PMGC के लिए? ब्रो वीडियो बनाई हुई आप जाकर देख सकते हो. स्पैम ना करो यूसुफ ब्रो. मैं आपको वीडियो दे देता हूँ, जाकर देख लो आप. मैं आपको लिंक देता हूँ, वेट करो. वो जो ब्रो नहीं बनाई वो र्यूमर्स हैं, अभी टीम फाइनलाइज नहीं हुई. एंड एक टीम से सिर्फ 2 ही प्लेयर्स उठा सकते हैं, 2 से ज्यादा नहीं ले सकते. तो 40 से अगर IQ फलक उठा रहे हैं तो और ज्यादा नहीं ले सकते. यूसुफ ब्रो ये मैंने लिंक दिया, वो जाकर देख लो आप.
Spike, living on a sliver of HP, he was hoping that just before the blue would nip him down, he'd be able to get the follow-up pump off from the DBS, but no, Frieza, ice cold at least in the 1v1, does win out on that one. So for the AMX squad, if they were looking to convert and get themselves a nice chunk of points off the back of this, it's looking very rough for them. Down to obviously just the solo with limited HP, and the zone might even be enough to thin them out, so that could be them going down soon. Champions as well removed from the equation here as they fall early to Aurora. So a back-to-back head-to-head that's resulted in a bit of a stalemate there.
I love this engage from Aurora. One of the cleanest fights, or at least push. Whoa, no. Okay, gee. Wait. Who did that? He's trying to knock his teammate? Was that a strat? You're trying to just control the elimination feed? Like, oh, we can fight us, and then they just pushing it? What?
Last date क्या है? 10th of May को voice announcement होगी.
Okay, yeah, just maybe give up. Just like, okay, he's... okay. Well, Aurora gonna give up that high ground position, looking to reposition.
Aurora डॉग साहब ने 2 नॉक कर दिए यार. आप लोग मुझे मैच देखने नहीं देते, कमेंट पर आई जाते हो बार-बार.
Earlier here, Jackie, so not really worth overcommitting versus SSE. You can just try and hold them off in the zone. Just control that your team. As now over to DG77, Shaw able to come out successfully of the fight with AMX. They did lose 2 players in the process. Nomi and Prepod out of this game, down to Freezer and Zadira. Zadira again in EEU, right? Doing so many strong fights in his favor. It's good Molotov pushing Warrior away from that little defensive position. Where's the backup? There it is. It's Zadira joining the fray. And with a shotgun, he gets Warrior. That is going to be an easy point secured. Maybe Zadira could reach that 10 elimination threshold here.
There we go. We're starting to cook then. Things getting intense. Can this deadly duo go the extra mile? See just what they can squeeze out of this one. Goat going down as well in the end there. Removed from the equation as the final 2 members are picked off. TGM joining them in the coffins as they're also taken out of commission. And the battle continues between the rest of our squads.
मौके बजाय नेट फेंक दिया क्या ही बात है क्या ही बात है
Those on you, mate. Give yourself some HP to play with. Freezer with the downrange shots as well. Gets the adjustment back over as Avalanche look to carve a bar.
चैंपियंस वाले कैसे मरे यार 2 मर के 2 किल करके मर गए अरोरा के 3 किल हो चुके हैं नाइस वन
Tommy usually a good head on his shoulders in terms of self-preservation, so he falls further back, leaving the rest of the squad to attempt to assist. Chip damage is good.
ये क्या था भाई
right through. Goodbye Tommy. Goodbye
स्मोक के अंदर 2 बंदे मारे हैं जदीरा भाई ये क्या कर रहे हो
Finalize this fight, hopefully. Yeah, good again. FPP in the smoke, just such a good strat to keep your body hidden. While keeping
dog knock ho gaya
possibly located. But Freezer can get in the car right. He knows that he doesn't want to let them go and pull off those reses. The thing is, they should have done it a little bit sooner. I think they took a bit
APG हाँ मजे का नाम था
the res on his teammate seems. And now they even got backup from their 4th member.
जदीरा तीसरा नॉक जदीरा क्या कर रहा है जदीरा नॉक हो गया
classic from this player. Now it's down to the final member. He's got some nades, so still not committing to the heal-offs. And I think DG77 know they are in full control of this area of the map. Using the ridges to its full potential. As Molodoy bleeding on out. Freezer just got to wait it out because Zadira does get knocked in the process. So in solo, he's got no more nades, no more Molotovs, just one more smoke to work with. As he does actually have a smoke blooming on out. But he still hasn't got time for the res. He's pushing it up close quarter.
अरे यार
but it's just not going to work.
I think वो भी 1v3 कर गया
will survive and will survive it as a duo in this game.
Ah man, you'd be fuming, wouldn't you?
APG 40 का स्पॉन्सर पता नहीं कर सकते हैं कि नहीं मुझे नहीं आइडिया इस चीज का
maybe even getting 1
ये तो APG बता सकती है
but yeah, not meant to be. Still good running for them considering how early they lost a lot of firepower on that team. So DG
ना वो तेरी क्या डॉग फिर नॉक हो गया डॉग क्या कर रहा है यार 2 दफा नॉक हुआ इस बार तो फिनिश भी हो गया
and hard committing onto him as well. So Aurora
गाड़ी से उतरा डॉग
firepower they've got to play with. Doc always up for a fight. He's already got himself those 2 elims to play off. With him being removed,
वॉइस स्ट्रीम को लाइक कर दो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दो सिर्फ 21 लाइक्स रह गए हैं ओ सब्सक्राइबर्स रह गए हैं
everything we've seen from Aurora when it comes to why they're so far up the standings has been elims. It's just been the entire team taking no prisoners, right?
APG मंगोलिया की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है नहीं APG जो चाइना की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है पहले सीजन में फाइनल्स के बाद कौन सा इवेंट आएगा PMGO मेन इवेंट आएगा iPhone 13 bro
TT Project again, they're just in such good angle. Every time we look at their POV, Jackie, I feel like they're just in these amazingly oppressive locations that they can just take shots with very minimal risk.
क्या बचा?
A little bit overcooked for Neos, but still not over peeking it, being respectful. Doesn't want to take a risk of getting knocked on out. As I said, actually does go a little bit too far up, but does get some nade damage onto Doran.
APG हो यार और पहले की सब कुछ जो बात
is now joining the fray. Again, decent damage, and that's going to be enough to eliminate Doran. The entirety of Vicious that for their first game here only get 1 elimination and 1 placement point here, I do believe. So not the case.
40 WC तक कोई स्पॉन्सर नहीं लेगी कोई IC में PMGC के बाद लिस्ट कर दिया अगर कोई बनना मेन कर तो शायद ले
and really, you know, give us a good run for their money in the lobby. Show us the sort of firepower they're made of. Effectively, I was expecting like
main event के बाद PUBG World Cup आएगा.
But yeah, not here, not now. And there's only 1 more game to go tonight as well, so maybe they can recover things on Rondo. That was their first game of the day, and it's been a bit of a sad start to it. what are the rest of our squads going to be showing us? Head count here in terms of the utility that's available between these squads. Clear winner in the forefront being TT. So much offensive and defensive utility with 15 smokes in the backpack. That's going to be big for them late game.
Or very strong in it, because it could be an open-ended on the road. So if you do have a little bit of a tougher time to execute that rotation, that movement into a strong POI, those smokes could be an absolute godsend. Reefus, that's a random smoke chucked over the ridge. Gets a little bit of damage, so Avalanche might want to try and pull back. They know their nade range, so you don't want to go and control that range too much.
ये कहेंगे मैच नहीं देख हाँ बार-बार जवाब मैच का वो मजा नहीं आता
The northern side of the road is slightly still in circle, but the team that's being gifted an amazing spot this time around, very similar to SSE last game, is going to be
अपनी टीम बताओ एनसी यार मेरी वही टीम होगी जो ऑफिशियली अनाउंसमेंट होगी मेरी अपनी कोई टीम नहीं है जो कि मुझे लगे मैं कौन सा कोच हूँ मैं कुछ कह दूंगा फिर 2-3 फैंस उठ के कहेंगे आपने इस प्लेयर क्यों नहीं लिया आपने इस टीम के प्लेयर क्यों नहीं लिया तो भाई आप इन चीज़ों से दूर ही बेहतर है अरोड़ा वैसे एवेलेंस 3v2 की फाइट जोन दोनों टीम के पास नहीं एवेलेंस बैक जा रही है अरोड़ा सामने पुश कर रही है लेकिन अरोड़ा के लग जाएंगे मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन खत्म हो गया ब्रो खत्म हो गई पैसा बड़ा लग रहा था और प्लेस अच्छे नहीं मिल रहे थे मेरे पास इन्वेस्टर नहीं था कोई अच्छा सा मुझे लग रहा है अरोड़ा यहाँ से मूव करेगी वो ऊपर ज्यादा रही और जोन कटा ना अरोड़ा के लग जाने हैं Why Doc is not bro Doc is playing seriously आपने आई थिंक लास्ट मैच ने कहा डॉक ने सोलो 7 किल्स मारे हैं रोंडो में आई थिंक टॉप 3-4 किल मारे हैं क्लच किया है डॉक ने announcement होगी 10th मई को ओके क्या खत्म टाटा बाय बाय अरे शैक पे रुक जाते ओ
They actually went where they got a few knocks right over to the east. This is a good entry point though.
Nice Molotov.
This Molotov, it's looking good. It's looking strong, and that is going to cook the competition. What a fight from Aurora, claiming 4 eliminations.
क्या वैसे यार इनका था 2 बंदे आगे चले गए हैं और एफएस को उन्होंने बोला शैक पे रुकिए हम आगे जाएंगे वो बाहर निकल के मारेगा तो उसको मारी क्या दिमाग है यार इस टीम का
Very interesting rotation as Aurora send it to the east. TT Project send it to the northern side, reclaiming that high ground position for themselves in the 2-1 split. I think they were overly split earlier. That did cause the demise of FE's, one of their members.
अब जोन अगर अरोड़ा को फेवर करे तो फिर थोड़ा सा काम बन सकता है अगर जोन थोड़ा सा ऊपर नीचे गड़बड़ कर गया ना फिर मुश्किल हो जाएगा क्योंकि उनके पास एक आधी व्हीकल है वो भी तबाह कर देंगे फ्री फायर का लैंड मजे का यार मजे का हो रहा है देखते हैं ये मैच खत्म होता है ना फिर देखते हैं वो
with the vehicles to work with, so they've got good timing on this. We'll see how it cooks late game.
Yeah, मेरा WC
something huge. It'd be nice
to see World Cup
back to their winning ways with Aurora having that little bit of cover to play with. making his move up.
वो सिर्फ 20 सब्सक्राइबर्स रह गए हमारे 19,000 सब्सक्राइबर्स कंप्लीट होने में तो भाइयों थोड़ी सी आप लोगों से गुजारिश है हमारी थोड़ा सा नजरे करम करें हम पे तब तक आपका भाई नहीं इसमें ये मैच एंड होता है ना फ्री फायर का वो भी बनाएंगे थंबनेल भी 19 सब्सक्राइबर है
thing is, this area is all about terrain knowledge. If you know which are strong dips and ridges to work with, you could get
PUBG का लैंड के बारे तो मुझे नहीं आइडिया यार
if you're able to transition successfully in really strong spots and remain completely undetected, you might get some cheeky placement points on this game. Making it to top 3, definitely doable, even for the likes of 777, Mad Esports.
ENC नवंबर में ब्रो नवंबर में अब ना 3 टीमों का फड्डा होना है आपस में ओजी जो ओजी हो ना ओजी हो वो तो ऑलरेडी कंपाउंड में बैठी हुई है
like TT Project crashes them and then they get third partied by Aurora, then things are going to get a bit dicey.
फ्री फायर की ऑडियंस नहीं आके फायदा नहीं इसकी स्ट्रीम करना। मेरे फॉलोअर्स में तो ये PMGO की भी नहीं ऑडियंस है, मैं फिर भी कर ही रहा हूँ। मैं 2-2 वाचिंग में बैठा हुआ था, तो मैंने टेकन की स्ट्रीम की है और लास्ट ईयर मैंने फ्री फायर की थी, मसला नहीं है। ब्रदर टीम्स पाकिस्तान कब जाएंगी? 11th of March को ब्रो, और 11th of May को, सॉरी। अरे चिट्टे हाल। ओके टीटी ने दोनों मार दिए, नाइस वन। उसे रैप उठा सकते हो, रैप उठा सकते हो, रैप उठा सकते हो। 34 सेकंड है यार, रैप उठा सकते हो। जोन है, जोन है, जोन है। गाड़ी आगे ले, गाड़ी आगे ले, और टन 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 टन। चल 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 चल, आगे रीच है उनके पास, कंपाउंड की रीच। क्या ओजी हो बैंस की, तुम खुद में बड़ी हुई है, बाहर देख ही नहीं रही। कंपाउंड के अंदर बड़ी हुई है, चारों उन्होंने एंगल पकड़े हुए हैं। वैसे अच्छी बात है, मैं तो चाहता हूँ ना ही देखे। GT50 Pro है ब्रो, GT50 Pro है। और शाम बाहर हो गया ईगो से, यस ब्रो। यार आप लोगों ने मेरे इंस्टाग्राम का ब्रॉडकास्ट नहीं ज्वाइन किया हुआ, जो मेरे से क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं, मैंने पिन किया हुआ, जाके फॉलो करो और ज्वाइन करो इंस्टाग्राम के ब्रॉडकास्ट को। वहां पे मैं हर एक चीज की अपडेट देता हूँ। आप लोगों को कुछ पूछने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, आपको मैसेज टाइप करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, आपको उससे पहले इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल जाएगी। जो आ रहा है स्ट्रीम पे, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करते जाओ। ओके, और अरोड़ा आ गए जोन में, क्या ही कहने, क्या ही कहने, क्या ही कहने। वो ग्रीन कलर का कौन सी टीम है? मेरे पास है गूगल पिक्सल 6 Pro, ये भी मैंने कैमरे के लिए लिया है, वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करने के लिए मेनली, रील्स वगैरह ना। बच्चों बच्चों बच्चों, टेकन का फाइनल सुबह 10 बजे होगा, तो आप लोग जरूर आ जाना।
The emphasis on fighting TT Project, and actually looking at TT Project, they're actually kind of moving away from the fight, it seems. They're going for the low ground on the road. They don't want to get too close. They want to let the fight break out between Ozrox and Aurora so they can third party it. TT tries to capitalize on opportunity thrown their way. But they don't want to be too quick. But same plan for Aurora. The two teams are just waiting. They're like, please, we want a third party. But everyone is trying to also avoid being the first one.
कितनी FPS इस पे गेम वगैरह नहीं मैं खेलता ब्रो, वैसे 60 FPS आते हैं, वो भी लैगी लैगी।
We know a fight's coming, but when and who will be the one to pull the trigger first?
When does that engage? And how do you squeeze the most out of the opportunity that will present itself very soon?
वो प्रेडिक्ट करो 3 टीमों में से कौन सी टीम चिकन निकालेगी, अरोड़ा, टीटी या OZO? 3v3 है, तो मैं फेवर, मेरा जो है ना जाता है प्रेडिक्शन, वो जाती है टीटी को। वह सबसे लास्ट पे जोन आना है अरोड़ा के पास। इंडिया का कोई प्लेयर नहीं है, इंडिया ने स्पॉन्सर किया हुआ है। एसटीयूर का एक प्लेयर है जो कि फाइनल्स में बैठा हुआ है, वो जापान के।
Thinking about cooking one, maybe cast it out as a bit of an info nade. Neos spotted. Does he get the read? It's a good off angle. Top should have the advantage on the face here, but the height. If he gets this one out, could be a free pick. He calls for the wrap back though. Plays in the buddy system with his teammate here in Reefers. And this is TT on the move. Bounce on the nade down towards the ridge side. Smoke goes up. Neos.
ये नेड अच्छा हो टॉप, तो ये नेड अच्छा हो तो मजा आना, नहीं तो मजा नहीं। उधर डबल नेड।
I do not recommend going in that position too.
ओए बहुत लिट्टा ब्रो। नाइस वन, टोपे ने नॉक कर दिया, फिनिश भी कर दिया, नाइस वन। 5 किलो हो चुके हैं रोड़ा। ओके ओजी, ओके वीक हो गए, 3v2 रह गए बॉयज। अरे नहीं है, नहीं लड़के नहीं, टॉप नॉक होने लगा, मुझे गट फीलिंग आ रही है।
in this game as Effect Zerich. Effect is perfectly executing those throws on the utility. That's a knock and a flush.
Knock कर देना उसको TT के player को.
Wounded down to a solo and getting swarmed by TT Project. Not swarmed, actually, it's just one member.
अरे रेफर knock हो गया.
He's going YOLO mode as Zerich has got the good backup. The nades are perfect. They're beautiful.
अरे वो भी knock हो गया. अरे TT का चिकन हो गया देखा ना. ये पाकिस्तान का व्लॉग चाहिए टाइसन जी. ओके इंशाल्लाह I'm trying.
Brilliantly there towards the tail end. The nades in the back blowing a pipeline in for TT. Shout out to Effect with a great engage, and as the chaos erupts, they're able to keep themselves calm and collective and weave their way through to pick up the pieces and lock that one down. Hell of a final fight, quite calm and collective until suddenly it wasn't. All hell breaks loose and they withstand. That's big, Max. A hell of a result there for TT. We were saying back in recalibration, right? Team looked very consistent, very reserved, similar stylings on display here, and it pays off for them. Not only is it that 10-point chicken dinner, it's the 13 elims.
Price full है $36,000 bro. और कितनी कंट्रीज हैं? डिफरेंट कंट्रीज है, जो मर्जी जाके खेल सकता है. फ्री फायर का लैंड इवेंट किधर हो रहा है? कराची में.
टैकिंग जो कि अच्छी लगती है काफी शुरू में.
एक मैच हो भी गया है
करना, बट एक गेम में पोजीशंस का भी रोल प्ले है जो कि आपको 3-4 मैचेस के बाद पता चलेगा.
एक मैच हो भी गया. टोटल विनर्स टॉप 1 पे आए हैं.
I wish we saw a little bit more aggression from Ozrox. I think they just
prediction for Taken final. इंशाल्लाह पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर ही लेके जाएगा. आतिफ के हाई चांस हैं.
Good nades. You can see here in this replay, they got some good damage on Aurora, but they wish they had effect on their team, because those nades, oh boy, were they pinpoint accurate, able to create a strong opening fight for them and able to clean up shop and get that chicken dinner here on match 4 of day 1 of knockout stage. And looking at the elimination spread, Effect and Zerich
इधर से टॉप 4 जाएगी ग्रैंड फाइनल्स. जो बॉटम
to be contenders for the MVP of the game.
जो बॉटम 16 होगी वो लास्ट चांस के लिए जाएंगी.
With how they were playing that one, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Zerich again, he's been very consistent in terms of the distance firefights with his rifling skills, but Effect, it was all of that nade play, the grenadier action, just being able to get that big nade into the compound, not one
Arsalan बाहर हो गया
where he completely ruined their lifeline. Do agree with your sentiment as well. I felt like Ozorox, as much as in their minds, I think they were thinking, okay, you know what? Best case scenario, we're only going to get a couple of elims out of this. We'll just play for the placements. At a certain point, it was really playing not to lose rather than playing to win, which didn't do them any favours. So unfortunate stuff there towards the tail end, but good signs for TT. Here's our overall stats from the game as well from match 4. That's right, match 4 already done and dusted, and another new team walking away with a chicken dinner on the day. So it's been getting spicy thus far, and it does mean we're getting close to our final
बाकी है
game of
नॉकआउट
the
की.
day.
ब्रो आज डे 1 है, बाकी भी 2 दिन पड़े हुए. मैंने इसके ऊपर वीडियो बनाई हुई है कि ब्रो आप जाके चेकआउट कर सकते हो, और अगर पोस्ट देखनी है वो मैं इंस्टाग्राम पे चेकआउट कर सकते हो. Wilson is so good. Yes bro, Wilson back to back 2 times EWC champions हैं. अंदाजा लगा लो.
TT Project is some of the best, if not the single best in this lobby. They're so respectful of the competition, yet able to strike
20 subscribers left. Kindly follow
timing and strong
करते
positions,
हैं.
and so far it's been able to get so many points claimed by this roster. So I'm very happy with their performance with these points earned so far today. Looking at the MVP though, it's of course going to be none other than Zerich. Could have been Effect, but Zerich is the man making it happen this time around with actually a decent 20% headshot ratio. So he's been having an absolute field day, it seems. But looking at the top players, I do believe a lot of them are going to be indeed on the side of TT Project, but also DG77 in Freezer and Zadiro, the deadly duo here from DG77.
Oh man, there you go. The boys showing up.
Oh wait,
instantly showing us what they're made of.
Look, Zadiro and Freezer got on the top fraggers of this game, but their survival time is not even reaching the 19-minute mark. So they were alive for a short period of time, Jackie, but they made it count.
No, they certainly did. They certainly did. They were throwing themselves into basically anyone that was willing to scrap. That does seem to be the DG77 way, to be honest, bud. So, yeah, shout out to them. Low survival time, high impact. That's what we like to see.
भाई फ्री फायर के लिए
Let's
ना
have a
देख
look,
लें
though,
देख
at
लें
how
उस
things
कौन
went
सी टीम
down in terms of the biggest
उल्सन
points
टीम है नहीं
earners
टीम
off the
टेकर में
back
टीम है
of
टेकर
that
में सिर्फ
game.
एक
Like we
प्लेयर
said,
होता है वैसे
it's
कोरिया का है
not
उल्सन
only that chicken dinner injection of 10
एक्सपो
points
सेंटर
for
बहुत
the
अच्छा
win
वेन्यू है
for
अगर आपने
DT,
वार्ड
it's
शो
also
देखा
defending
होगा तो
means
अगर हम बात करें तो वो भी हमारे साथ देखने को मिल सकते हैं
3-point game.
अच्छा वेन्यू है
That's finger looking
एक्सपो
good,
सेंटर
Max.
Oh, it is really
बहुत
gonna be a
बड़ा
big
वेन्यू
game.
अच्छा है लाइक होल है
Also,
अब
it's kind of
वहाँ पे
also
अब
creates a
देखो
big
वो
gap
किस
from
तरह से
3.10
सारे
to
सेट
10
वगैरह
for
लगाते
Aurora, and
हैं
they
क्या
kind of
करते
plateau
हैं
off at teams that are getting 9, 9,
ये
8,
तो
7,
मैं आप
6,
लोगों के
5
साथ साथ
points.
बेताब
This is
हूँ
all on the first half of the leaderboard, so even less points on the second half, it seems. But yeah, a few teams
देखने
here
के
not
लिए
able to have the
काहे
kickoff
होता है
performance they
काहे
were hoping
होता है
for their first game. The one team that comes to mind is going to be Vicious, that looking back at their rotation had a very strong early game 2-2 split, and I feel like they kept the 2-2 split mid-rotation, and they gave an opportunity, I think it was Doc from Aurora, to get that elimination and kind of punish that split rotation. So hopefully they will try and maybe tighten up their splits moving forward, because that was just not it this time around on Miramar. As looking at the overall rankings, none other than DG77 will be crowned your current first place team with 52 points.
Yeah, there you
बना
go.
दें
Moving up from second into first with that shift from champions going down 2 ranking placements to third, and TT Project taking away that second place spot, climbing all the way up from fourth. Hell of a shift in the dynamics so far, so things are starting to get quite spicy out there. And I think it's also very good as well that we're seeing the fact that although this was sort of tail end of the day for some of our teams, and we got the newcomers coming in from Group E, most of those points were being able to be hoovered up by the teams that have still been playing as well. So if you're playing a good majority of your games today, you are at least being able to maximize your time on the battleground. Whereas similar things can't be said for all of the teams that came in to play their opening card. Amix there, still in 17th place off the back of the one game. That is 5 points, you'll take it. It's not the worst case scenario. I suppose that card would actually be thrown the way of the Vicious. Unsurprising, well, surprising even would be the more adequate word, mate. They've had a bit of a rough one on that, Max. I was kind of thinking they're going to be coming out swinging on that game, but 19th place with only 2 points earned. Not what we thought would happen.
Yeah, we could have seen a little bit more. Actually, I'm also going to be a bit critical on the side of Ozrock. Sure, they do get 9 points, which if you get anything close to a 10-point average, you're looking good, right? In one
एक्सपो
game.
सेंटर अच्छा है अच्छा
They could have, off the back of
है
that
ब्रो
position,
अच्छा
got
है
way more points. So this is not the game that's like kind of proven me that Ozrock's mean business in this tournament, right? I need to see a little bit more. Maybe when they're tested in some of these matches, then we can see what they can actually bring to the EECA table. But yeah, actually, I didn't have even time to talk about it during the leaderboards here, Jackie. We saw actually quite a big gap. I think it was between 6th and 7th place, like around top 5, top 6 position being created. So, and keep in mind, top 4 are the slots that are going to push you right into the finals here for PMGO EECA. So we might already have some teams separating themselves from the rest of this lobby in, what is that now, 4 games only, which is a significant statement to be made this early on in this tournament.
No, it's a hell of a leap, mate. You're keeping your heads above water. And again, it's one of those where there is so much more benefits that come from being able to take one of those top 4 spots, right, than the potential negatives if you're not able to get it there. The extra games you've got to play, the extra investment, it gets way harder. It gets way, way harder. But we're not going to waste any time for the viewers at home. Max, we're going to be heading straight into our last game of the day very soon as Rondo is getting ready to go. And that is going to be our crowning match, our last game of day 1 here today for the knockout stage, being the bookend, of course, where we started things back on Rondo towards the beginning of the show a few hours ago now. Differences, though, Max, obviously different lay of the land, right, with Group E coming into the fray. So we'll see how that changes things. Anyone from Group E you think that's going to be thriving in the Rondo chaos here?
Oh, no doubt, Amix. Yeah, I'm hoping Amix are going to do well on that map. I mean, every single player on that team is just pure fragging power. Of course, you could also be looking at Vicious, but game 1 was a little bit, for them, a little bit dodgy, so it didn't work out as they were expecting.
डटे रहते हैं और जिस तरह से अभी रैप्टर ने अपने 2 प्लेयर्स को सेव किया, मींस के एक प्लेयर को सेव किया और उसके बाद फिर डीपी डोमिनेटर्स को डोमिनेट किया है टीम रिजर्वेशन की तरफ से
कोई कैमरामैन आसपास नहीं नजर आ रहा
लॉन्च किया गया था जिस तरह से वॉल्स को डिस्ट्रॉय ना किया जाए
स्टेज
और
पे ना
उससे फिर जैसी ओपन हुआ तो आपको बहुत अच्छा
किस
शॉट लगा
चीज
था।
के
आप
क्वालिफाई
जैसे
कर रहे
ओपन
हैं?
करते हैं आपका
पीएमजीओ
शॉट कनेक्ट
मेन
नहीं
इवेंट
होता,
के लिए
आपको
ब्रो।
देखना पड़ता है भाई कि प्लेयर है किस तरफ। लेकिन जिस तरह से अगर हम एक यहाँ पे एक कंट्रोल करने की बात करें, एक एमिंग की बात करें, वो बढ़िया थी, जबरदस्ती आखिर तक
हर
कोशिश कर रहे
टीम
थे,
पे
लेकिन
सिंगल
फाइनली अब
है।
हम जाएंगे हमारे आज के सेकंड मैच की तरफ। चलते हैं, हमारा सेकंड मैच स्टार्ट हो चुका है।
सेकंड गेम हमारा जो कि स्टार्ट हो चुका है। पुरगेटरी मैप है, तमाम टीम्स
जो
अपने
पाकिस्तान,
लैंडिंग
नो
स्पॉट्स
ब्रो,
पे जाने के
वो
लिए
इंडोनेशिया
तैयार
में
है।
पाकिस्तान में सिर्फ
कहां पे
एशिया होना है।
क्लैशेस हो रहे हैं, कहां पे क्या मामलात बन रहे हैं, इसको देखना होगा। बैक लीड अपने स्पॉट पे जा रही है, टीम रिजरेक्शंस अपने स्पॉट पे जा रही है, डीपी भी
इंशाल्लाह
अपने
इंशाल्लाह
स्पॉट्स पे
अच्छा होगा।
एलिमिनेशंस गैदर करने के लिए जाएंगे। लेकिन इस बार उनके लिए कोई क्लैश नहीं देखने को मिल रहा है, या फिर मिल रहा है तो वो भी देखेंगे इस वक्त के लिए। लेकिन तमाम ही टीम्स अभी तक के लिए अगर हम शुरुआती लैंडिंग्स को देखें तो अपने अपने स्पॉट्स पे बिल्कुल सेफ ही रीच कर रहे
दो
हैं।
मैच हो
कहीं
चुके हैं,
पे भी
तीसरा
एक
मैच
एक्स्ट्रा
है।
क्लैशेस की आवाज नहीं आते हुए दिखाई दी जा रही है। स्काई हॉक्स का क्लैश कहीं ना कहीं एंड आर्मी के साथ हमारा बनते हुए दिखाई दिया जा रहा है। प्लेयर्स इस वक्त लिए रेडी हैं, अपने वेपन्स को चुन के, जो कि एक कह सकते हैं कि जो भी मिलते हैं उनके साथ फाइट करने के लिए तैयार हो चुके हैं। डिनॉकुलर्स को भी यूज किया जा रहा है। टोटल विनर्स भी अपने स्पॉट पे जा चुके हैं। फोर्ज के एरिया पे भी अपनी टीम उनकी लैंड होते हुए दिखाई दी जाएगी। खान ऑफिसर्स और साथ ही कन्फाइड ई स्पोर्ट्स भी अपने एरिया पे ही देखने को मिलेंगे। कुछ एरिया बहुत ही खाली दिखाई दिए जा रहे हैं, उनका भी जिक्र किया जाएगा। लेकिन टीम रिजरेक्शन ई स्पोर्ट्स अभी के लिए लूट में मसरूफ है। स्काई हॉक्स को स्मार्टी का नुकसान होते हुए दिखाई दिया गया है।
ब्रो फ्री फायर का हर साल टूर्नामेंट होता है, पबजी का 4 साल बाद आया। क्या
राव एक स्पॉट
अच्छा होगा, साउथ एशियन चला अच्छा होगा,
और
नो डाउट अच्छा होगा।
अब स्पॉट से एक फॉल बैक जो है ये इनका कितना एक जोर का रहता है, या फिर जो है दोबारा से अपने प्लेयर्स को रिवाइव देके उसी फाइट में इन्वॉल्व होने के लिए पहुंचेंगे, ये भी एक सवालिया निशान रहेगा। 2 मिनट का खेल मुकम्मल होते हुए अभी एक टीम को बहुत ज्यादा नुकसान
नहीं भाई,
मिल
जो
चुका है,
पीएमजीओ
और वो है
पाकिस्तान में
टीम
होगा,
एंड
वो
जो कि
पीएमजीओ
पिछले
मेन
गेम
इवेंट
में
के लिए
भी
क्वालिफिकेशन
अच्छे
होगी।
एलिमिनेशंस के साथ 9th स्पॉट पे एलिमिनेट होते हुए दिखाई दी गई थी। हॉट शॉट बिल्कुल रेडी टू गो है, एक प्लेयर रनर्स आगे जा भी चुके हैं। हॉट शॉट के लियो और स्टार्स दोनों ही एक गाड़ी का इस्तेमाल करते हुए अपने स्पॉट से एक दूसरे एंगल की तरफ बढ़ते हुए दिखाई दिए जा रहे हैं। फायर ब्रिगेड का एरिया जो कि अब टीम हॉट शॉट ई स्पोर्ट्स के ही अंडर में आते हुए दिखाई दिया जा रहा है।
लगाओ
टीम
जो
07 के साथ ये
स्पॉन्सरशिप
मुकाबला
वो है ना, टैबमेट ने
आइंदा आने
स्पॉन्सर
वाला
किया हुआ
रहते
है।
हुए दिखाई
फ्री
दिया जा
फायर
सकता
ने
है। लेकिन
उनके लाइक
12
जो
की
भी
12
बैग
टीम्स
पे उनके
हैं।
कपड़े हैं या
2.5 मिनट का
बैकपैक है,
ऑलमोस्ट गेम भी
उसके
कंप्लीट हो
ऊपर
चुका है।
प्रिंट
टीम
किया हुआ है
रिजरेक्शंस ई
उसके,
स्पोर्ट्स भी अब
समझ
अपने
रहे हो?
एरिया से मूव कर रही है, तो कहीं ना कहीं तो एक बड़ी फाइट की एक अलामत हो सकती है टीम रिजरेक्शंस का भी इस तरीके से मूव करना, क्योंकि इस गेम में जो कि पॉइंट्स को गैदर करना है। अभी भी आप डिफरेंस देखें तो इस वक्त लिए 26 पॉइंट टोटल विनर्स से
ब्रो मैंने ऑलरेडी ये चीजें अपने यूट्यूब चैनल पे, इंस्टाग्राम हैंडल पे इतनी दफा एक्सप्लेन की हुई है। अब एक ही चीज बार बार पूछ रहे हो, मैं उस पर कुछ नहीं कह सकता, माजरत मेरी तरफ से।
बैक के बुलेट भी इस वक्त लिए अपनी टीम के साथ ही मौजूद रहेंगे। मुजम्मिल सामने स्पॉट हो चुका है, क्रेडिट के साथ ही यहाँ पे जो कि लॉक किया जा रहा है इस अटैक को। लेकिन अब फॉल बैक भी लिया जाएगा। इटाची का कवर प्रोवाइड होते हुए दिखाई दिया जा रहा है, डैमेज मिल चुका है। बैक फैजान को स्नैपर शॉट लग जाएगा। मुजम्मिल इस वक्त लिए बिल्कुल लेट चुके हैं इस जगह पे, ताकि उनको ओह माय गॉड बैक दादा अटैक किया, नॉक किया। फैजान को भी इटाची नॉक करते हुए दिखाई दिए जाएंगे। लेकिन अब इटाची के पास भी क्या कोई खतरा मौजूद है? नहीं, अभी तक के लिए बिल्कुल भी नहीं। बुलेट इस वक्त लिए मौजूद जरूर है। टीम रिजरेक्शंस के 2 प्लेयर्स उनके एकदम सामने मौजूद है। मुजम्मिल स्टिल नॉक है, कोई रिवाइव देने के लिए वहां नहीं पहुंच पाया है। लेकिन इटाची की क्या ये काविशें रहेंगी कि वो अपने ही एक टीममेट को रिवाइव पॉसिबल करे। डीमन स्प्राइट डोमिनेटर्स इस वक्त लिए 4 एलिमिनेशंस के साथ है। कन्फाइड ई स्पोर्ट्स को आज के पहले के बाद दूसरे मुकाबले में भी बहुत ही जल्दी एलिमिनेट कर दिया जाएगा, और कन्फाइड ई स्पोर्ट्स का खेल भी इस गेम से इख्तिताम की तरफ बढ़ा दिया गया
वाले खेल रहे हैं। पीएमजी का क्या फायदा होगा
ब्रो?
वो पीएमजी मेन इवेंट में क्वालिफाई होंगे। हर रीजन के अलग-अलग पीएमजी हो रहे हैं, और वहां कुछ कुछ लोड जाने हैं पीएमजी मेन इवेंट के लिए,
क्योंकि ओवरऑल स्टैंडिंग्स में बहुत ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं है। उनके पास भी 14 पॉइंट हैं, जो कि पिछले पिछले गेम में उन्होंने हासिल किए हैं, बट इस गेम में क्या बनता है ये भी देखेंगे। खैर अभी के लिए मेरे साथ जो कि जुड़ चुके हैं हमारे सादी, जो कि एक और कास्टर हैं जिन्होंने आज एक बार फिर से हमारे इस क्रू को ज्वाइन किया है। और आप लोगों को साथ ही बताते चलें जो कि ये हमारा एक इवेंट चल रहा है, लैंड इवेंट, जो कि इस वक्त लिए कराची में जो कि टीम्स प्ले कर भी रही हैं, प्राइम मिनिस्टर यूथ प्रोग्राम और इसी के साथ टैप मैट टैप शॉप, जिनकी वजह से ये एक मुमकिन हुआ है। सो थैंक यू सो मच प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स यूथ प्रोग्राम, और साथ ही जो कि मैच की तरफ भी जो है वापसी आए तो आर्गॉन ई स्पोर्ट जो कि पिछली बार बहुत जल्दी एलिमिनेट हुई थी। तो साथ ही क्या लग रहा है आपको, सेकंड गेम इस वक्त लिए चलता हुआ दिखाई दिया जा रहा है, तो सेकंड गेम में कोई प्रेडिक्शन आपकी, जो कि एक कन्फाइड ई स्पोर्ट्स भी एलिमिनेट हो चुकी है और आने वाली टीम्स की जो फाइट है उसमें
हाँ वो जैसे स्टार्ट होगा फिर रोंडो लगाएंगे अपना, अभी स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ।
जिस तरह की आपने मैचेस की बात की तो मैचेस तो बहुत ही उम्दा चल रहे हैं। खैर कासम यहाँ पर शॉट लगा चुके हैं, नॉकडाउन पहले ले चुके हैं। ये फाइट चल रही है टीम बैक एलिट्स वर्सेस टीम आर्गॉन की। हम वापस से आएंगे,
नेशनल तो हमारा भी नहीं है, रीजनल इवेंट ब्रो, मैंने बोला रीजनल इवेंट हो रहे हैं।
बैक एलिट्स की बात करते हैं तो टीम बैक एलिट्स इस टाइम पर अटैक करने के लिए हो चुके हैं तैयार। पहली बैटल जो बनी थी क्रॉस रोड पर टीम रिजर्वेक्शंस के साथ बनी थी, लेकिन अभी
हर किसी के रीजनल इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं, जैसे पाकिस्तान में साउथ एशिया रीजन है, वहाँ सेंट्रल एशिया रीजन है।
चुका है, नॉकडाउन कंफर्म किया जा चुका है एंड बुलेट काफी ज्यादा दूर मौजूद दिखाई दे जा रहे हैं। क्या टीम आर्गॉन ई स्पोर्ट्स ये काफी आराम से अपने एलिमिनेशंस कंफर्म करेंगे? बिल्कुल दादा यहाँ पर निकलने की ट्राई तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इनका निकलना
हो गया, स्टार्ट हो गया रोंडो। लास्ट मैच है आज के दिन का।
For the knockout stage of PMGO EECA, it's going to be Rondo for groups A, B, D, and E. And this is going to be one plane. Do we have the double plane? Unfortunately not, and it's going to be a very eastern plane going straight down to Rinjiang. And meaning this time, Neox Factory is in reach of these dropping teams. How many teams are going to see make it over there, though? That is the question. But also, Yulin, if you go for a bit of a stretch, you could make it. So I think that this time, we might not just have a crazy party in one city. We might have actually the eliminations being spread across those two main focal points here on Rondo.
Bro, अपलोड किया हुआ अर्सलान ब्रो, आप जाके इंस्टाग्राम पे देख सकते हो, मैंने पोस्ट बनाई हुई है हर रीजन की ना, टीम्स की मैंने पोस्ट बनाई हुई है। साउथ एशिया से 3 स्लॉट हैं, EECA से 4 हैं, मीना से 6 हैं, इंडोनेशिया से आई थिंक 5 हैं, तुर्की से भी 5 हैं। बाकी डिटेल से आप जाके इंस्टाग्राम पे देख सकते हो मेरे। अच्छा थोड़ा सा और एनर्जी में स्ट्रीम किया कर, इस तरह तो मजा नहीं आता यार। वो ना मैं बस क्या बोलूं, छोड़ो।
Not surprising that champions want a piece of the action. Amix as well, always up for a fight. They've landed. The horses are off. Let's see where the hot drop takes us.
Oh, he's looking for a weapon here. Spikey finds a pan, and an M79. It's not a weapon. Some of his teammates are going to be able to find himself some knocks. Good elimination secured early on from Team Amix. Havlik should be rezzed up pretty soon by his squad mate. There should be Spike to go for the reset on his player.
जिस टाइम हैश1 पे आई हुई है 52 पॉइंट के साथ, क्या ही बात है। ये मजे की चीज की है, इन्होंने रिकॉल भी ऐड किया हुआ है ना साथ।
Capital of Mongolia here, Jackie. That no, I'm sure you still remember the name. It slipped my mind, unfortunately. It is the capital of Mongolia here. It's Neox Factory. There's going to be on the menu for these boys, as they will also go for a quick reset onto good old Kino.
Reset, retool. And see if they can find a way to keep on fighting strong on this one. Where this is going to take us, the Avalanche for a few seconds there, bubbling back up with the shots coming by. They're down to just a duo. Atomic on the move, trying to sniff out the location of Top, who ironically is on a higher elevation. Ooh, Naylor good. Yeah, chip damage off the back of that one, mate. Instant conversion. He blows them off. Didn't realize just how on the money that was. That's a hell of an opener.
Yeah, but they do have Reefers next to Fongtun, southwest, actually between Fongtun and Lanpo, currently southwest of the circle. So that's going to be a quick reset. No one's near Reefers too, so easy access to a recall tower this game. Outside of that, everyone else should have also a quick reset for Avalanche. I wonder if we're going to have a similar play to Avalanche this game, Jackie, where the solo is just alone for like the first 5 minutes of the game before we actually can get access to a recall tower. It's KZ. Ooh, Jakura able to find himself a good opening knock through that window frame. But back to good old cheeky Neox Factory is going to be the off angle of TGM looking to claim a few lives of Amix. And that's a good opening spray here with the JS9, one of the strongest weapons in this map. The SMG meta is real on Rondo, as back over here next to a recall tower, Ozrox and KZ Esports. That's a decent nade. It does flush out one member, and the spray is on the money. That's Jaikura to get 2 eliminations up to himself. But will they be able to get the full squad wipe? That one we have to wait and see, as they do now claim full control of this recall tower. So, Ozrox, they have to leave this area to go for the reset, and that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, cut your losses, make sure you can get back into the fight. No point losing out on every single chance to get points on this one. So back out and look for a bit of a return to form later on. Champions have been able to effectively play the lay of the land here on Neox for the most part. But can TGM throw any kind of big spanner or other tools that might be available?
और जो भी स्ट्रीम पर न्यू आ रहे हैं स्ट्रीम को लाइक कर दो.
Was able to get himself those 4 elims. It was good play. Oh, iron sight spam up top. Not really the best tool for the trade from a distance firefight like this. Trade out with the weaponry available.
2 kill हो चुके हैं. TGM के 4 हो चुके हैं.
Get the stims in as well. To top yourself back up. Kino nearly shut down there. He's taken a ton of damage. He's got a little bit of cover to play off where they got nades as well. So if they get visual on him, with this one being so cooked, it could just blow him down. Yeah, there we go.
Beautiful nade coming out from Sanich. Generation of Miracle. Just becoming the loot goblins, really, of Neon.
WatchParty कर रहे हो, बोलो तो सही. Bro, बोल रहा हूँ. मैं काम कर रहा था छोटा सा एक.
Tier 3 vests and helmets if they can find one. In this case, we do have Sanich.
Maximum का वॉल्यूम बढ़ा देते हैं.
A few more shots to the head.
बढ़ा दिया.
Going to be in a really tough spot to res, but keep in mind the demo is very far away from this location. He's actually over to Bamboo, so even though C1 don't look in full control of this fight, losing actually 1 and now soon to be a 2nd member in Fearless. There you go. He's going to actually confirm himself early on. They're just going to put their focus on Atomic in a 1v3 scenario, because keep in mind that also Retro is nowhere to be seen for TGM. He's over northwest of Lo Huaxian. So he's controlling a recall tower of his own.
दोनों ने एक दूसरे ने टन एटॉमिक फिटे हाल.
Apparently not, as he's also going to be sent out of
चैंपियन के रिकॉल दे दिया उससे. ठीक है, 2 का रिकॉल खत्म हो गया.
Life very soon.
Yeah, be able to run it right back. Never miss a beat. Keep yourself amongst all the action. Okay. Let's see where this goes then. And how things will
Indian Pakistan South Asia में खेलेगी पाकिस्तान. No bro, India region अपने region में खेलेगा बस. India में PUBG ban है इसलिए.
About trees, Max. You never know where they're going to be. Sometimes they
E4 क्यों खत्म की? Because
quite aggressive.
ऐसे ही दिल कर रहा था.
It's been known in the wild that trees will attack on sight if they feel threatened.
Yeah, I mean, they are like the Ents of Lord of the Rings, you know? They'll just start moving and just grab your car and just yeet you into oblivion out in the blue. You never know.
Exactly.
Trees are your real enemy in this one.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's how they get you. You got to be aware. Remember that, guys, when you're outside touching grass in between watching games, PUBG Mobile. Be careful of the trees, as they will sneak up on you quick smart.
Actually, I just thought that would be a great collab, because we have so many collabs, right? We have one with Lord of the Rings and the trees. If you just do too much damage to them, they just come to life and just wreck your team. I don't know. I think that would be kind of funny. That's a collab idea. We'll see if the PUBG Mobile team will bring that up eventually. Though, here we go. 777 and Goat going to encroach on their own terrain.
सुबह 5:30 बजे नहीं 10 बजे boys.
Still got a recall for the entire squad. Looking at Goat team. They do also, I believe, yeah, they both have actually a full recall available if they want. So they can take a few risks early on. Might be actually turning a profit in the early stages of this Rondo game. Top also knocked on down. But keep in mind, most of their members did get recalled except for Refus. If they lose anyone but Refus, that is game over. That player is not coming back to life. That is the end of their adventure on day 1 of knockout stage. As this is the angle of Zyol, he's jumping on down. A risky play, but it pays off. Zyol getting a free point here, and they will get the reset onto top. Refus
10 बजे मैच होगा पाकिस्तान टाइम का तभी.
But top, you can't let him go out now.
Stay alive, stay in the fight. See what you can do. Dark, belly down on the ground. It could be a nice angle for the nade to bounce directly onto his lap. Responds back onto Molodoi, though. It's a good connection to at least create a little bit of space between the two.
और न्यूज़ स्टोरी पे सुबह को 6:30 लिखे हो। नहीं, सुबह 10 बजे है, 10 AM मैच था ब्रो। मैंने प्लेयर से खुद पूछा। डू यू प्रेफर डीबीएस एस्ट्रल के या व्हाई नॉट? लेकिन एस्ट्रल के मैं ज़्यादा प्रेफर करता हूँ, डीबीएस में से वैसे भी नहीं चलती नहीं थी।
DG77 had a 2-2 split for the longest time in the dead center of the circle. But now you've got to try and regroup as they are fighting and clashing with Ozrox. Good angle from Bad Boy with the JS9. It's going to be a bit of an even Steven trade-off as Ozrox will be able to also survive.
That's why Evo Japan, bro.
He's looking so good with the Org JS9 Wombo combo loadout. And that's 3 eliminations up for themselves. Pre-pod though, he is camping around.
Aurora versus Avalanche की fight.
The end for DG77. They will be brought back to life very soon this match indeed. They still got one member trying to make it work out. And by the way, this fight to the west we saw in the city, right? Between those two teams, including Aurora. Not sure what's happening. The two teams, Jackie, got involved in early fights, meaning whoever gets eliminated are fully out of this game. It's very unnecessary, but yet Avalanche are so adamant on committing to the fight, which I do believe is a slight mistake at this point of the game.
It could be a bit of a rough one for them.
So no kar de.
Yeah, that's clean, mate. You know what? I was kind of worried when you look at the squad they're going up against.
24 घंटे का डिफरेंस है। इंडिया की कोई स्लॉट नहीं है ब्रो, कोई स्लॉट नहीं है पीएमजीओ में।
Just off the back of the placement points, we were hoping that you come into this one and absolutely show us what you're made of in terms of the fighting potential. Taking it straight to DG77 is one way to show us that you're not scared of the actual tussle between teams. And they do win out with that nice opening nade. More to do, though, as DG can reset and recall. Sorry, it's his own teammate, Max. He's safe. He's safe. Yeah. But maybe not here.
I was a little bit confused for a second, but here we go. It's down to Aurora, the final player. It's Yoli. The final member. He's on the slither.
Ooh, 1v3. Chop. Kamal hai yaar. Heavy.
Back to life here. He has to go for the heal up.
Heavy one, heavy one, heavy one.
So the blue zone does not do that much damage, but oh my goodness. Way too close.
Heavy one yaar. Kya khel gaya.
It could have been brutal. Could have been brutal, but they are able to find their way through on that one and pick up the pieces, even in that awkward encounter. So it's all good. They save their bacon now and get the full squad wipe off of it. Avalanche again being the punching bag of the lobby in these matches.
Nice one.
So a little bit of an unfortunate encounter there. Meanwhile, we see the drive-by from Goat Team on screen as well. They're going to keep themselves out of dodge for now, taking their time.
ऐसा PMGO मेन इवेंट के लिए क्वालिफाई अभी कोई भी टीम PMGO मेन इवेंट के लिए क्वालिफाइड नहीं हुई ब्रो अभी सबके मैचेस चल रहे हैं
They got 2-2 split, still got control of the recall tower, so if anyone wants to try and go for a last minute reset, you'll have to fight DG77 to make that one happen. Champions actually demo somewhat scouting with his vehicle, trying to get some insight on where teams are currently located. A lot of actually, I'm going to say it, most
recall I think fourth बंदे को भी recall कर देंगे वो.
Circle are overtaken, are controlled by a squad or two. So now it's going to be down to terrain knowledge if you are late to bloom in this game, such as GOAT, such as KZ Esports, such as even TGM or Champions. You might have to wrestle away some of these spots too. Also, Aurora, right, to the western side.
उनको बुलाया था खुद.
Right now, look at the elimination, at the leaderboards on the right side.
PUBG
get the reset
शायद.
On good old Reefus. No soldiers left behind, as they will be entering over to the west. But again, because they've been fighting for so long in that city, right, to the western edge, Jackie, they don't have a lot of intel. They don't know where any teams are located in this zone, so they're going to go somewhat blind in circle number 3, heading into circle 4.
और आगे चारों प्लेयर्स रिकॉल हो गए हैं.
Yeah, limited information and scope of the lay of the land that might be more problematic for some teams. Having a little bit of a look at the rotates here as well over on the map feed. You got that potential.
यहाँ से 4 slots हैं 4.
Champions and Aurora where they could run into one another and then Goat down on the bottom side as well coming up towards KZ. So room for some spice to be thrown into the mix pretty soon, where they could be forced into some awkward encounters. The Vicious up on the forefront of the POV right now, though. Obviously, first game for them wasn't the dream, that's fair to say. Into this one so far, they found a couple of points here and there. Ko has got 2 of his
फ्री
own.
फायर के
Boris
एक ही
with the
दिन
one
के
for the
फाइनल
back
है 10
in
मैचेस
terms of
हैं
the
टोटल
elims, and they've got a little bit of space to set up on right now. Looking to see if they can catch anyone that comes towards them. The reset
मैंने
for
ऑलरेडी
Aurora
इसकी
off the
पोस्ट
back
की
of
हुई
the
है पुदीना ब्रो
fabulous
जाके आप
leads
देख
out
सकते
in
हो मेरे
the blue.
इंस्टाग्राम पे
Means that they're still taking their time to
PMGO
get
मेन इवेंट की सारी
up
स्लॉट
line
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मैंने
around the
बताई
back
हुई
of
है
champions as well. So we'll actually end up a little bit more centered up off the back of their rotating towards the zone.
इंस्टाग्राम पे जाके चेकआउट कर
They've got
सकते
to
हो
try and move in. Oh, Dorian going to reposition a death crate just so they can have some excess loot inside the building. Cool new feature that's been added last year. If you do not have the opportunity to get everything in those crates, just pick it up, reposition in the building, and you'll be good to go. So really good use of that feature from Doran. Who knows, maybe you got 10 grenades in that death crate. We don't know.
गोड
Just be a mini red
गोड
zone
के
there,
प्लेयर चेंज है
depending what was inside of it. Aurora, yeah, still trying to make their rotate. As you said, trying to avoid champions by going for that wider southern rotation away from them. I don't know what it is. Again, the Mongolian magnet, they just keep getting close to each other. Every game it's happened on Miramar, it's happened on Erangel. It just keeps happening time and time and time again, it seems. Though good off angle.
साउथ एशिया का तो बस ये 4 दिन का इवेंट है EECA के तो 8-9 दिनों का इवेंट है साउथ एशिया में है ही 16 टीमें हैं तो लो जी 2 नॉक हो चुके हैं अरोरा के
Yeah, man. No chance whatsoever there, really, off the back of that. It was quite a distant shot from Demo. He piped up and absolutely punishes. God, everyone is just being pinned into position, really, aren't they? You've gone down again to just top, and as I say that, he gets eliminated. So Aurora finding themselves to fight through the blue encounter, but not surviving when they go head-to-head versus their brethren in Champions. KZ do run into GOAT as well. This looked like a fight that would slowly boil up, and now we've hit that fever pitch. Maybe the Vicious also looking for a chance to see what they could steal out of this one. They're in the vehicles close by. Do they want to get stuck into it with GOAT going down? Doran pulls up. Yeah, they'll steal away some points on contact as well. GOAT removed. KZ being able to at least hoover up a majority, but Moxie falls to the might of Doran.
Really happy with Vicious third party and GOAT. That was a golden opportunity to get free eliminations in this game and also maybe facilitate your own transition in the next circle, just clearing your backside. So Vicious again in full control and way better game compared to their previous Miramar, as you stated, right? They want to try and make up for that poor start in the knockout stage, and they're doing exactly that. Now Valo here scoped in with the Org 3x scope, looking at the players of Amix that are also currently yet to be making their way in the play zone. So this is going to be having the rotation that will unfold at some point in time. But if they can pop the wheels on those cars, doing it by foot, going to be almost impossible. So they've got to keep those vehicles in good, healthy condition. By the way, back to the fight of Aurora versus Champions. I love how Champions just fully leveraged that man advantage. They get 2 knocks and instantly just fully send it. We know we can afford to go for a little bit of an over-aggressive fight because we have that 4v2 advantage. And it doesn't matter who they're fighting. Aurora, we don't care. We'll send it regardless. A really good, confident play from them. As unfortunately, can't say the same for Amix. That rotation in the open areas of Rondo are just so tough to execute sometimes. And Vicious just farming points, maybe looking to claim their 7th elimination. They're having an absolute field day on this Rondo match here, Jackie.
Yeah, having a whale of a time and playing it the way we were hoping they would as well, right? Where they just come out absolutely gunning for elims and being willing to take a lot of these more aggressive encounters. We know how individually talented they are, and we're seeing that. It's a nice reposition as well from IC, who gets another tap out straight towards the cranium of another player. So being able to put the pressure back on 777 there, opening up the first knock against them. Destined to rise head-to-head versus Champions, and they're actually making it look good. Okay, that's a back and forth then, as they will get a couple of pot shots down onto the team. It's a wide berth from them with Meta just ahead. So a bit of a clash going on center stage on this one. Do wonder as well, mate. You're looking towards the top end, up towards the north there, with Mad Team and TGM close to one another. A lot of opportunities for us to lose a ton of squads here quickly if everyone gets thrown into a bit of chaos.
I do have to say, I love what Vicious are currently doing, setting up players on this road. You've got a lot of roads on Rondo. It's very specific to Rondo in particular as a map. They have these roads just digging right through some elevated terrain like hills and mountains. And actually, if you go down there and you set up a few cover flares, which is exactly what
और मर गई है सीमन अभी लाइव 8 किल कर चुकी है नाइस 56 पॉइंट हो चुके हैं रजिस्ट्रेशन का अभी भी 1 किल हुआ है
So thumbs up to them. Unfortunately though, That fortress is not going to be in circle number 5, so they will have to start to think about what is next to come.
भाई predict करो कौन सी team chicken निकाल लेगी.
Is up there. It's going to be TT Project, could be given a golden opportunity to at least reach the podium. But compared to the previous game on Miramar, right, Jackie, here it's open terrain pretty much the entirety of their compound. So actually, they could spot teams from a mile away and make sure no one gets even remotely close
bro, please stop. यार किस चीज की समझ नहीं आ रही है आपको? जब ऑलरेडी पोस्टर के ऊपर सारे रीजन्स लिखे हुए हैं फिर भी समझ नहीं आ रही मैं क्या बताऊं आपको. पुश करने जा रहे हैं. गलत पुश किया इन्होंने आई थिंक. ओ लो. और ये फिनिश क्यों कर रहा? फाइट ले.
As he will strike with the shot. Good drive connection onto Vicious. Reset from We Strong.
Zone jana hai, zone jana hai.
Back into the safety of the zone. Zone trying to nip at his heels. He wants to get him in the vehicle. Should be okay to save.
IC उतार देगा इसको वैसे ही.
You've got the setup for the rest of the team there with the Vicious taking shots. Oh, it's all going southward quickly.
He just lost the driver. He can't go anywhere, unfortunately. That is it for 777. What an unfortunate way to end it. But yeah, Vicious, the way they engaged that one, I think was very...
वालों का MSI है क्या बात है. वैसे भी अपना PMGO का 14th of May को bro.
So it was just not meant to be. The 2-2 split of Vicious was punished. Still getting 12 eliminations. So even if they go out now, Jackie, this is still an amazing game from Vicious that we were expecting from this squad after how they performed in the Romanian PMNC. DG77, a team that again
DP dominated boya kya baat hai.
Strategy continues. They still have 2 players straight up north of TT Project and 2 players to the western edge. The amount of control and presence they have in this circle is absolutely ludicrous. And teams got to be careful. Put the respect on the name of DG77. One final distance happening is TGM and Mad Esports. As even if you win that fight, guess what? This duo of DG77 does not want to let you to survive that rotate. There's actually a really strong nade coming out from Mad.
भाई डिजिस्टन हैसन निकाल लेगी. अगर यहाँ पे डिजिस्टन मर जाती है लेकिन डिजिस्टन कैसे मरेगी? ओके यार ब्रो मैं क्या करूँ उनके MSI है तो. PMWC 1 से तो 2 टीमों ने जाना है PMWC. मैंने इसके ऊपर वीडियो बनाई हुई आप जाके देख सकते हो.
Through the window, that should be an easy one if you can connect it down to 1v1, but it's just not meant to be. TGM eliminated, still decent amount of elims this game, but Mad Esports now, sure you won the fight, but the hardest task is yet to come, which is going to be leaving that compound when Ozrox and DG77 are proactively looking in your direction.
100% trying to get away safely now becomes the aim of the game. God, terrifying stuff. The compound encounter of the third kind, as it was paranormal the way they were playing it. I see.
Register ne nikal jana ye match easily.
As well. He has been so crisp from range. Man's got the 3x, but he's making it look like a 10 times zoom with how he's got the HD vision.
भाई stream को like कर दो यार जो नहीं आ रहे हैं.
Freezer as well. And the rest of DG77. Relatively uncontested for right now. A little bit paranoid about the back line, making sure they scan all around the ridges here, clear their angles, and be safe so that no one can encroach onto them from behind. Meanwhile, monitoring the situation back over towards Mad, so when they make a dash out through their smoke line they've set up, he'll be honed in. Pretty good from these sort of positions as well, so I'd rep him to win it. Should be decent chip damage, if not a nice conversion on them the minute that smoke starts to fade.
A few cover flares, of course. We're getting to the true late game of this Rondo game. So, cover flares are going to be all around the place. Good knock onto TSX as they do get eliminated by the blue. And yeah, just deny. That's an impossible transition. Might as well just give the points to that blue zone. He is trying to peek it though. But just not going to be meant to be. GG well played, Mad Esports. Again, making it really fine these games when they don't commit to the hot drop. So hopefully they can get some good lessons out of these matches today. Just try and fix it as effect. Again, this guy, long range also with the AUG. His spray and his utility play has been absolutely through the bloody roof. As now he's going to be shifting his focus over onto Vicious, the duo of IC. And Narvalo, the French lad, is trying to make his way deeper in this zone. And they do still have some cover flares, I believe. So that can maybe allow them to create a decent foothold in the zone.
ब्रो साउथ एशिया आप पोस्ट जाके देखो ना, उसके ऊपर प्रॉपर्ली मेंशन है। मैं आपको ये मैचेस एंड होते हैं, मैं आपको दिखा भी देता हूँ। आप पता नहीं कौन सी पोस्ट देख रहे हो, मैं आपको पोस्ट का लिंक देता हूँ, वो जाकर देखो। यहाँ पे प्रॉपर्ली मेंशन है एक एक चीज के कहाँ कहाँ से वो आ रहा है, स्लोट्स आ रही है ट्रेड का।
Talking of impact, my God, strong right arm on Icy. Throws that nade directly on target, waving bye-bye as he blows their team all the way into the final four with TT,
दोस्त ने ला देता
Ozorox and Vicious being our final four here. So they moved themselves into a good position for the last game of the day then to scrap out on this one. Ozorox again, another opportunity.
ब्रो ये मैंने आपको लिंक दिया, जाकर पोस्ट देखो, वहाँ स्लॉट्स मेंशन है सारी।
Run of things on the 2 games played for their debut from their group. But can they do it in style this time? Will they just be surviving, or can they actually take the fight to these teams?
We'll have to see how things work out. Good spray, and that's going to be converted into a knock onto Leon 44. Ozorox, though, in a kind of distance, maybe looking to see where phase 7 goes. By the way, I didn't see if you spotted that, but there were a few cover flares coming out from TT Project, so they're kind of trying to change the layout of their gas stations.
अभी स्मैश अनाउंसमेंट नहीं हुई यार पीएमजी साउथ एशिया की, देखो अनाउंसमेंट होती है कि नहीं।
Spotted them. Guess what? That could really be a surprise factor that teams are not fully prepared for. So these cover flares, again, able to throw a spanner in the works, hopefully, in favor of TT Project. And the circle did shift, and you guess what? The gas station is still in play. But DG,
अभी ना मैचेस स्केड्यूल नहीं आया पीएमजीओ का, तो उसमें पता लगेगा। फ्री फायर पाकिस्तान का लैन का वेन्यू कहाँ का है, एनी आइडिया? ब्रो कराची से है, कराची से।
Ozorox are the team that have to commit to a big move here, Jackie. They have to do something, otherwise
एक क्वेश्चन नहीं है, एक क्वेश्चन नहीं
every
है।
single one of their members.
Yeah, dude, that's the scary thing, right? It's exactly what we saw previously, sort of paralysis by analysis for this team, where they leave it too late before they try and go for a play. So then you don't even get the option. You're just forced at the mercy of the other teams around you that have already gone for the heads-up maneuver. So they've got to decide to make a play sooner rather than later. You have the vehicle right there. They just don't want to be caught with their pants around their ankles, debating whether or not if it's the go signal to make a move on this. Smoke down, drive a little bit towards the backside, see if you bait out the shots first. They're trying to create space between them both. First man falls, there's only one in the vehicles. The bad boy is still alive, but this doesn't help them in their overall mindset of being able to get further forward. The eyes light up from TT.
44 ही बचना या 44 अच्छा वीकेस के दो बंदे जोन में हैं, अच्छी पोजीशन लेके जोन में हैं।
Icy as well, looking to see if he can steal away some extra points, spamming in the periphery of the smoke here, tracing with the bullets downrange.
That was some beautiful vehicle tracking from Zerich with the York. With the 6x scope in particular, he was just right on those shots. He was able to connect almost everything with that spray, so really good execution from Zerich. But yeah, that's it. The blue zone going to be the true deadly enemy of Ozorox, as they're going to be out and not able to make their way into the podium. As here, we're down to the last 3 teams, TT Project, DG77, and Vicious. But it is going to be a 4v4 v2. And really, looking at Vicious, they're just hoping they don't get involved in any skirmishes so they can maybe claim that silver medal. Now, looking at Neos actually does have also a cover flare. And looking at the fact that we still have 1 circle to pop. It could be a hard shift. It could center up. You want to hold on to those cover flares until the bitter end of this game. It can really make such a huge difference in these open-like endings. As a few cover flares also dropping down, I think thrown away by Vicious themselves. And it does go the way of Vicious. So they could be looking here, possibly, Jackie, to go in a proper 2v4v4 scenario and maybe subvert expectations and get a chicken dinner here on Rondo to wrap up day 1 of knockout stage.
It certainly could be. It feels like it'd be the prime time for them to do it. Stab their way through the remaining opposition here and walk away with that chicken dinner. Leave no stone unturned, though, if you're going to go for a play on this one. Don't leave it up to fate. A head-to-head between TT Project and DG77 seems to be the forefront focus on it, with a maybe late-round backstab from Narvalo and Icy potentially being the thorn in their side if they do see a window to third-party onto it where they could close some of the spacing. Dream scenario being these two teams engage, leave themselves in a weakened state. Then you could
Pity और डिजिशन आपस में लड़ पड़े हैं फिटे हाथ नाइस वन नाइस नॉक उठा लिया नॉर्वालो ने भी एक नॉक किया 16 के
TT Project and DG77 go to war with one another, and now the Vicious are driving forward. They want to seize the day.
विकेस ले गया चिकन यार 2v1 ना इनका ऊपर आउट ऑफ जोन हो गए विकेस वाले जोन को किल दे देना क्या किया यार
accepted his fate on that one, and the Vicious with the third
मैं
party
अपनी
plays
पीसी किस
will
तरह कर
snatch away
सकता हूं यार मेरी पीसी कुछ भी नहीं है Core i5-10F है 2060 GPU है और बस यही है और 16 GB RAM है
And yeah, TT Project
enemy ME वाली
7 were just not ready for that off angle whatsoever.
वो लगी है SSD लगी है
Romanian chicken dinner here this time around from this squad that dominated in their respective regional PMNC, and here 16 eliminations. I was almost hoping that we did see them secure a few more of those eliminations, maybe to get a 20 elimination chicken dinner bomb here on Rondo, but it was just not quite able to work out in that way, as of course they weren't fully involved in the fight. But I like it, the timing as the fight devolves and fully wraps up for these two teams. They slowly, with the car, push up even more and more deeper in the circle and able to actually just push out the final player out in the blue. So beautiful execution from Vicious. That this is, I would say, Jackie, way closer to our initial expectations for this roster and what they could bring to the table in PMGO EECA.
Yeah, when they came into the lobby, we were expecting them to hit us with a big salute and being able to pick up a chicken dinner somewhere along the day with how impressive this team really can be. And they show us that firepower sooner rather than later. Yes, game one wasn't what they wanted, but this is a perfect display. IC individually proving just how powerful he can be from a distance, right, the entire time, harassing every team in the lobby. Good chip damage, good conversions. Let's have a look at the overall. Elims, nearly 700 damage being sported. Koa, 5 Elims preceding that as well. And it was Narvalo in the late game that was very good in terms of his follow-up impact as well from that little split they had, playing off of the off angles behind the tree line. Fair play to them, Max. Nice to see the Vicious finding a big scorer on that game.
I do wish, though, that Dorian and Koa didn't go for that, I would call it very ballsy push, right? Sending two players in the car, in the Dacia, trying to actually just get those eliminations. I think they just got a bit desperate to swipe under the rug all of those
मेरा अपना ग्लेशियर वाला यार की करेंगे
their own transition, but unfortunately, it was a bit risky, and they did get punished, losing members, half of the squad. If they did have all the members, I think this could have been a 20 elimination game coming out from this squad. But sometimes it's just not meant to be. As check out the match summary.
मैं मोबाइल तक खेडी नहीं गेम विच नहीं गेम में कभी खेडी नहीं प्रॉपर्ली इन देते वाओ वगैरह खेडे दो तीन दफा सही चलदा मेरा ते
some mad scenes on that one. The whole day he's been delivering with some big plays. Yeah, so a bit of a calmer
control use
the overall elims, but not in terms of the way we saw the quantity and quality of those frags come from. It was certainly explosive to watch. Makes sense as well as selected winning team MVP there being Icy, who really did live up to his name. He was so damn cold when it came to elims, he just could not afford to let it go, playing with a frozen level of lethality on that one, mate. Fun to watch.
I remember stories from the very early days in PUBG Mobile Esports where Icy would try and weasel his way into tournaments. He wasn't old enough. He couldn't play based on the rule book, and he was trying his best. And when he turned 16, well, it was an absolute field day for this guy. He was dominating all of the European region, and he'd not only been the MVP of the match, but also been our top fragger, top performer, with almost 700 damage to his name and able to make it so deep in this game. Really good stuff from Icy on Narvalo in particular. And also Kawhi is up there with 5 eliminations of his own. But I do want to highlight some players such as Sanich, for example. Good to see them not go for these weird hot drops on Rondo. It shows a lot of potential, right? That if they can fix those early stages of Phase 1, Phase 2, Sanich and his squad, I think, could genuinely be really high up on the rankings. But right now, the survival time is really what they need to focus on.
Let's have a look at the rankings off the back of that one as well then for our 5th and final game of the day. In terms of the points accrued, you can see obviously the top dogs with the big elim game and the placement points itself. being the overall victors there in the Vicious, walking away with a 26-point game off the back of it. Going to be very happy with how that one went down, making up for earlier transgressions today, so they won't be upset at all about Miramar anymore. Towards the bottom side, familiar faces. It's not been the best run of things for some of our teams here. Surprising, of course, for Aurora. They had that one moment of greatness battling in the blue, but just couldn't really get much more from it. Amix as well, only the 5 points. 777, only 4 points taken. Let's see what that means then for our end of day one rankings. This is the lay of the land at the end of day one of Knockouts, Max.
And what a step up from Vicious, going up from the bottom of the rankings with that chicken dinner, able to climb up to 6th place. There's still a relatively big gap, as I was mentioning earlier before this game started, a big gap between 5th and 6th place. So right now, that's really what you want to focus on, is getting rid of that gap. So if you're the likes of Vicious, TGM, Afterlife Go, etc., you want to make sure you can get close to that 40-50 points entering into day 2, so you can be in the conversation of the teams that could be reaching the finals throughout the knockout stage alone, which would be a big achievement. But yeah, DG77 have been looking just so deadly. I love their 2-2 split game plans. I would say it's very similar to TT Project so far macro-wise. DG77 and TT Project are looking like the most